and not want to deal with that.
So some bans to come through here. I expect aimed towards the mid lane, although you can protect top lane just a little bit. But I think
พี่กิฟ
top
ดี
lane
ใจ
is
ไหม
going to
ค
be
รั
a
บ
little
แม
bit
น
of a
ยูกำลังจะ
different
ขึ้นหัว
story
ตาราง
because you can pivot the Varus around.
แต่เดี๋ยวก็
So
ต
you're
ก
not
เขา
exactly locked in to what that matchup is going to look like. I wouldn't mind just protecting the Annie as best as possible.
Yeah, Aurora is normally the one we see into
What?
Annie.
Yep.
Azir just generally high prio, but normally we get Aurora into
สวัสดีครับ
Annie
พี่กิฟดีค
specifically,
รับ
so it wouldn't surprise me if
พี่
that
เห็น
next ban D plus is the
เทเลอร์
Aurora.
0.5 POE เมื่อกี้
I
เห็น
also
ละ ดู
like
คร่าว
Azir when there's a
ยังไม่
Nico
ดูแบบ
there to lock
serious
people
แบบจริงจัง
down, allows you to get that Emperor's Divide into a position that you like it. And there is the Lulu going to be taken away as well.
Man,
so
you
Korea
take
doesn't have
Tinu
the
le, no?
option of going towards that one.
I mean, they're fully committed to the prospect of this being a Varus top. Both of these bans are sort of suggesting the Varus top is what we expect
อีก
to
นาน
at
เลย
least
แม
more
นยู
threat.
28
And there's still a
Ui,
good
Wallace
opportunity for
Lee
Korea.
Sin
Korea
wa.
had a fantastic Bard highlight earlier in the season.
Ooh.
Bard Varus is a pretty solid lane here. They actually don't go for
Man,
the
Jack
Aurora,
ด้วย
instead going for the Jax.
มีสิทธิ์ที่
Bard
วาลัสจะเป็น
away
ท็อป
from
เลนเนี่ย
casting.
Yeah, and that suggests that they do want to be playing this Varus in the top
แต่
lane.
ยากว่ะ
As the Aurora that you
เพ
were
ราะว่า
talking
มัน
about,
มัน
because
เป็น
it did
second
slip
pick อะ
through, is going to be likely snapped up here by Loki. Gives him a good lane.
วาลัสท็อปยากอยู่ครับ
The Anivia would also be kind of okay, although I feel like it's
Ooh.
not quite as powerful. And he does have that lack of mobility though, so if you do manage to wall her off, you can get some guaranteed damage down there. Similar to the Anivia into Ryze matchup that we've
พี่
seen
กิฟ
so
ทำ
many
ไมอัน
times,
ดับ
but
ทีหนึ่ง
this
ปี
is
นี้
going
กับ
to
ปีที่แล้ว
confirm
ไม่
that
ต่าง
that
กันเลย
Varus
ครั
is
บ
heading towards the top side of the map. As
3-3
Smash
เหมือนกัน
is
ไง
considering a Jhin picker. What is going to be? Is it just Jhin Bard? You could just lock in Jhin Bard here if you'd like to.
Jhin Bard makes the most sense in this situation. Pretty solid lane. And I think with the way Brianna kind of played out this draft, they end up having a mid matchup they feel comfortable in, but they make sure they get full information on this top lane matchup. They make sure they know it's the Varus before they lock in their top lane pick, so they have that forecasting isn't. Even though they kind of had the sense it could be the top lane Varus, doesn't kind of go into a blind. He knows the matchup he's going into,
Ooh.
and they end up picking the Aurora. So this could be Aurora mid and Nivea top.
Yeah, what's the top lane matchup going to be? It looks like it is going to be the Anivia top lane. Casting taking a note out of Zeus' book. He has been our resident
เอาว่าวาลัสเจอกับแอนนิเวียท็อป
season.
มหกรรมความบาป .com
Nivea mid.
All right. I mean, it's all a bit the same. As the Aurora is going to be a little bit more safe up there on the top side, which does make a little bit of sense. So
Yeah.
that's what they're going to opt in. Never mind. Oh, we're switching back. I'm just not. Look, let's just wait. It should be confirmed now. I think that swap was very late, actually.
Maybe down to the second.
Yeah,
in the
normally,
last moment.
because we don't actually have the countdown anymore. It was that if it reached 25 seconds, then you had to have everything, all your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
You know? But I don't know. It looked like it was earlier than the 25 seconds. Caught me a little bit unawares.
I remember a big thing it used to be was that making sure you had the right defensive runes when it was armor and MR shards.
Oh, yeah, true.
But that doesn't matter here because they're both AP, and it also doesn't matter here because they removed them. So,
เฮ้ยเหมือน
you
เค
know,
เลีย
not
เลย
really worried either way.
Wow, it's sunny in here. I thought that was just us because of these lights, but apparently it's just all of Lol Park is just a bit glary. Maybe it's because of all of the star power on both Hanj and Breon
คนดูก็เยอะนะ
and Kia. There are a lot pretty
DK
credible
แบบ
players.
แฟนคลับเยอะด้วย
They swapped to 29 seconds. Just to confirm, let's get into the rift. Wow. I know we're on the D+ side of Lol Park here today, but that was a very, very loud cheer. So plenty of D+ fans making it out. And let's see whether Hanj and Breon can get enough Brotax in order to, you know, create a louder cheer for game number 2. Whether they need it or not is going to be another big question because these drafts are kind of wacky. I think the Varus has been understandably very, very powerful on that top side of the map. The Dusk Till Dawn build is kind of insane.
Yeah.
But it was first picked, right? There was plenty of time for Hanj and Breon to come up with an answer. It is the Anivia at this stage. And sometimes when there are these coveted picks that are banned all the time, when teams finally do get their hands on them, they cannot necessarily be as powerful as what we would expect. Here on the bottom side, though, Teddy and Namgung going up against Korea and Smash, and Korea and Smash
หวัง
doing
ว่า
a
แบบ
decent job.
ก่อนเบอร์ท็อปเลน
Quite
พวก
really,
ตีไกล
like,
น่าจะ
just
หายไป
the
สัก
on
ที
hit
นะ
just does so much.
Yeah, that was something as well.
ทั้งวารัสทั้งเวนเนี่ยแต่ว่ามันจริงๆแล้วก็
poke Varus a bit with his Q
ถ้าสมมติว่า
damage. They put extra AD ratio onto his W.
อัพบัฟ
Yeah.
พวกแบบว่า
Bonus AD
ไอ
is already having that much
อา
impact
เคนคอมเม
now,
ตอ่ะ
even
ให้
just
พวก
like,
AD เพิ่ม
you know,
อ่ะพี่ว่า
Doran's
น่าจะ
blade, AD
น่า
shot,
จะดี
a
อยู่
little bit of a difference.
แบบว่าลงแบบ
Does
เอ
do
ช็อก
a
ได้
lot
ไป
in
เจอ
this
พวก
early
นี้
trade.
ได้
So
อะไร
I
เงี้ย
think the big thing for this top lane matchup is the fact that you end up with a range top. Because so often we see Varus into a melee top, like they pick the Varus, they expect a bot, they lock like a blind
แต่ตัวอย่าง
Renekton,
พวกแบบ
and it's
ลัม
just
โบอะไรเงี้ย
nightmare fuel.
มัน
But
เจอ
the
ได้หมดเลย
Anivia
นะเว้ย
doing
ยกเว้น
pretty good
วา
with
รัส
trades.
คือ
Passive
เจอวารัส
cannon
มัน
as well.
You have the egg as
มัน
like
ไม่
the
ค่อยแฮป
second
ปี้เท่า
health
ไหร่
pool and the safety for a gank, but
แล้วดาเมจ
also
ไม่พอเพราะมันเอา
you
เอ็กซอร์
have
มาด้วย
pretty good gank setup onto the Varus.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty easy. Because I think with the Renekton, you're kind of suffering, and then eventually, oh, gets a cannon as well. That was good.
That was very smooth by casting.
And then eventually, you like try and flash on the Varus and set up your jungler. But
Nice
with the Anivia,
casting.
you know, you can survive the lane
ตัดทีพีซีวูได้ดีฮะทำ
relatively
ไมซีวูต้องอยู่อีกเว
comfortably
ฟหนึ่
and
ง
still have that gank setup that other picks like a Renekton would have.
Well, currently, Shiu has been denied going home, but I think that he's happy to just catch this wave, both of them on relatively low health, and if you're away from your turret, as the Anivia, the egg
เดินปากกวาดโดน
necessarily be as powerful. Now,
ตรงนี้
Casting's the one that has to move pretty far up the lane.
โอ้ฟาร์มโคตรไวเลยว่ะ
As
ลีซิน
Gideon
แม่ง
is in the area, does spot Lucid here with that
ไม่ตัวที่ฟาร์ม
Scry's
ไวจริง
Bloom. Lucid now knows that Gideon is there as they put wards over the wall at exactly the same
มี
time,
สมัยอยู่สบาย
exactly the same place. That was very cute. Q going to spot out Gideon here, who does actually get hit here by the follower. Showmaker over there just to make sure that Gideon doesn't have any opportunity to
คอ
fire
ว่ะ
back.
คอปูล่างว่ะ
So Deep
บาด
with
มา
a slight advantage early.
With the mid prio, it might be a bit tricky for Gideon to get in here. He's a little bit lower on HP as well. We saw Loki just get chunked out a bit in that trade, so going to be double scuttle
สองปู
for
อ่ะ
Lucid. Also has Korea moving up to secure it.
อุ้ยแล้วไม่เอารีบไปเอาปูด้วย
As well as the Q is going to
มาฆ่านำกูก่อน
Not able to get himself out of the way, and that is first
โอ้ย
blood
ช็อต
over
นี้
to Korea. Only cost him a flash, but that is a
คือ
big
ทำทุกอย่าง
deal
เหมือน
to
ทรง
start
แบ
off
บว่า
this
ไปเอา
bottom
ปู
lane.
แน่นอน
Such a
แล้วก็
great
แบบ
transition
สกิปปู
down,
แล้วไม่
had
จะ
the
เข้าเจอนี่ไป
vision onto the
จัดการ
enemy. Nico,
นำ
great
กุม
read there to find the play. One of the things
แต่
as
เมื่
well
อกี้ถ้า
playing
ลีซิน
Nico
ได้น่าจะ
into
มันเลย
bot,
ตรง
it
นี้
doesn't
ดู
happen here
มี
because the
ดีฟวาร์ด
bomb
อยู่
is already on cooldown. But you obviously want to use your W to get away, and it can just set you up to stun yourself. So
Yeah.
that's always a danger in this matchup. There obviously didn't come into play. That was a pretty easy setup. But I think Namgun just expected to be safe in that situation and ended up getting punished.
Oh, double flash was actually thrown out towards the top side of the map as well. So Casting and Shiu trading up there. Does mean Casting is going to be going back a little bit earlier. Teleports back in with the makings of a catalyst. And I imagine Shiu is going to be looking for a back time as well. There it is. Has the Swifty boots, which will be very valuable when that ulti does come on through.
I think as well, playing into Anivia, the Frost, what's it called, the Q?
The Flash Frost?
Flash Frost, yeah. It's so slow that like having the Boots of Swiftness just makes it so much easier to dodge, especially now that you don't have that flash available. Or even just the wall, like being able to walk around it faster. You can see now Shiu already.
Yeah, not to mention
So he's path out of it.
Yeah, the combo is, you know, put down the ulti, then put down a wall, and you have extra slow resistance as well, so it makes it even more beneficial. Shiu does manage to nail that cannon. High value there. So it is just the Boots of Swiftness to come on through. No damage yet here for Shiu.
Yeah, I think Varus base damage is just so high that, you know, you can just invest in that movement speed, especially into a lane that's so skill shot based. Level 6 now there for casting though.
Chains of Corruption does come on down here as Gideon moves over.
Ooh,
Lucid
die.
here a little bit later. Wall is there as well, and they're just fighting on the ulti. That is not what they wanted to do. And Lucid gonna go down for the double for
เฮ้ยแต่
Gideon.
ยังยิ้มอยู่อ่ะลูซิด
Bunjin Breon really finding some success here in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Shiu just ended up standing there in the ultimate, getting caught up in the CC, obliterated, and then Lucid, unfortunately, trying to save his top lane, gets caught up in the mixer as well. Not really how you want to play that 2v2.
Absolutely not.
Close.
Smash and Career as well. Doing a bit of battle here towards Namgung and Teddy. Namgung a little bit short on that one as Cosmic Binding also goes wide. But that topside little scuffle is going to be a big problem here for DK because it was Lucid that had a little bit of an advantage in the jungle. It was Shiu that was able to get some zoning done against casting, and now that is all being nullified with that gold advantage that they have picked up. Obviously, it is not a gold advantage universally, and it's just like 200 gold, something like that, which isn't real. And the Drake should be going over to Lucid here on the back end of the play as Gideon finishes clearing out his bottom side jungle.
Yeah, the impact though is, I mean, we'll see the replay first. So she would just, you know, standing aggressively, ult goes down, stun connects, he's already half HP.
ไม่ได้เลย
Gets basically into, I mean, doesn't even need the execute
แล้ว
from
ตีหวาน
Gideon,
ไม่เสร็จเลย
but he uses it on the Lee Sin and just chunks him.
ต้องแฟด
They
นะ
were just
แฟดหลุดตัน
partying on a glacial storm, which is
Yeah.
probably not what you want to do.
Really isn't.
โอ้มันเก่งจัง
The
วะแอนิเวีย
immobility of the Varus kind of suffering there, especially with no flash available.
Immobility, beautiful word.
คือมันถึกเว้ยแล้วก็มาหน้ามันพอมันซื้อ Lord of Age มันไม่มีปัญหา
Yeah, true.
To be immobile, I think, is to be stopped.
He did get stopped there though when he got
That's true. He was immobilized for a
ice ball
moment.
thrown at him. Yeah. I
แล้ว
think the
กำแพง
thing
แม่ง
though
โคตร
now
ดี
is
อ่ะ
that Gideon being the person with the gold, you know, obviously having like a fed laner is always nice, but when it's a Pantheon ahead of the curve, he's the one who's always going to show up to the plays. He's the one with the like semi-global ultimate who can be wherever he wants. He doesn't quite have that first item completed, but that's such a huge spike, and Shiwu have to play such a safe game here.
Yeah. Level 8 here for casting as well. Does have his catalyst complete, just going to feel a whole lot better. Also has a CS advantage by about a wave, but that should be neutralized momentarily as Shiu does pick that one up. Teleport back here for Showmaker as well. And Bro just holding on to that slight advantage that they picked up. And Korea going to come on over and just annoy Loki here momentarily. That is
in the
just,
cannon.
It's so frustrating, isn't it? Did he just lose a cannon because
He lost
of it as
the
well?
cannon because
My
of it, yeah.
gosh.
Oh,
Casting also
yeah.
lost a cannon. We need to make sure that Teddy just got his cannon in the bottom lane. Otherwise, it's just 3 lanes that lose cannons all over. That's half a kill.
Yeah, big
More.
gold swing.
Massive.
Okay, Grub's going down. The TP being committed as well. I mean, it is just Loki's, so he'd be going back to mid regardless, but it is a pretty focused commit from Bro, and D+ instead just focus on picking up some farm on their side laners. End result is 3 Grubs for Hanjin Brian in this situation.
Pretty nice. Smash is going to be able to get this wave shoved in though, and just walks around reloading for a few moments. Korea coming on over, does look for a Cosmic Binding, but just gets a Meep slap off and is just going to back away. Deadly Flourish goes wide. And Loki actually taking a lot from Tibbers here as man drop towards top side of the map as Casting was tanking up that turret, but I think he should be all right. Flash just barely up and available now as he dodges out of the way, and Shiu will survive. Still has to give up a lot of the lane as now Lucid makes his way forward. Where did he come from? That was insanity, and Trusha Barrage is not going to be able to hit Shiu here, who was backing in that brush. So D+ able to find an angle back into this game.
Yeah, I think Hanjin Brian went for that play because Shiwa's flash was nearly up.
Yeah.
And Gideon rushed it before recalling, so he had gold for Sundered Sky, didn't buy it. Instead goes for this top play. We'll see what happened mid first. Lucid just wrapping around by the Raptors. And this is the power of Annie Lee Sin. You know, the flash done into the Sonic Wave, can't miss it.
เป็นคนแรกๆเลยมั้งที่แบบเห็นแบบแอนนี่แม่งได้แฟดเข้า
The rush was, oh, we need to get him before his flash is up. His flash came up as they were diving him.
ปกติแอนนี่จะโดนแกงแล้วก็ต้องใช้แฟดหนี อันนี้เป็นแฟดเข้า
I mean, she was just dead flash or not, right? You have point and click CC, and it'd represent a lot more damage having that guaranteed crit auto. So I think just a bit of a rushed play, and the end result is D+ getting positive play, counteracting a negative one on the top side.
They do get the flash again though. So I guess he could just go for it now that he's completed the Sundered Sky.
คือแม่งจะ
And he is
เอาวารัสให้ได้อะ
he is going top, and there is a lean from Loki as well. So Shiwu just says, you know what? I don't need a lane.
Yeah. Casting is just going to clear up this wave as well behind the turret.
แล้วมาข้างล่างกันหมดเลยว่าโรเทตแบบหนีแพนเดออน
Currently 25 CS behind. It's a large number. As Lucid down here spotted on a ward though. So they're not going to go for any sort of cross-map dive. Really good defensive play here from Hanjin Brian just to make sure that they're putting down the Varus without making anyone else in danger.
Yeah, getting a good amount of
damage
grubs as well. But you can see D+ go for the cannon play. Ton of vision on that bot side, and they move in there. And now they're actually looking for Loki mid. Shiu has his ultimate, but is spotted.
Yeah, Lucid looking to make his way over as well, but he might just be able to get some decent damage onto this outer turret. Casting as well is just going to be able to take this. 3 grubs, and there was only that 1 plate remaining. So this is still going to be a good play here for Hanjin Brion, despite the fact that they are at a bit of a gold deficit for now. As Tibbers makes his way back to lane. He was a very busy bear.
So it kind of works out in a way where top lane ends up really far ahead for Hanjin Brion as a result of this, but both mid and
รวยจัด
bot
แอนนิเวีย
suffer.
เงิน
So it's
1,700
kind of trade-offs. You can see the gold lead pretty even. D+ were further ahead before this, so in terms of total team gold,
แต่ว่ามันก็ต้องรอ
benefiting,
ไอ้
but,
Lord of
the
Age
bot side of the map
อีก 8
kind
นา
of
ที
suffering to make sure casting gets a
เล
sizable
นกลาง
lead.
มันไม่มีป้อมเนี่ย
There
จะ
also
ลำบาก
now might be an opportunity for Shiu to freeze if you would like to, but you do give up a fair bit of map control if you do that.
ดิฟวาดอย่างเยอะ
Now just moving over towards this Drake.
DK
Second
Emma
Dragon
Puck.
going to be a cloud this game. We've already got the Chemtech out of the way. Thank you very much, Orcs. And Korea just looking for some chimes. We'll be able to collect them. As Namgung just saying some Nico things.
Yeah, D+ already had a ton of vision down here from when they did that bot side lean. So we see Bro clearing out some of the vision, but there's still some wards behind. Don't really have a great TP flanker, but we see Bro now moving
แอน
into
นิ
the
เวียยังไม่
dragon.
11 นะ
D+ look like they want to contest.
อีก
Teddy
นิดเดียว
already
จริง
down his arcane shift.
Yeah, Lucid landing some
เขา
Qs
รู้สึก
here
ยัง
pretty
ได้
nicely.
ยัง
but
ได้แต่แบบ
safeguards
โค
the
ตร
himself out of the way
ไม่
with
ได้
casting in the area though, and with Showmaker nowhere in sight, it wasn't an opportunity for them. As oh man, it's not exactly a great
มังก
soul
รลม
day here today.
เอ้ยมังกรน้
She finally with some time with the lane. Misses a bunch of farm.
Yeah,
as
just
we
missed the
saw
cannon
there.
by himself. A little unlucky.
Yeah.
We see D+ not wanting to overcommit for the dragon. Hard to play into the Anivia, and I think the thing is with TPing the Varus down is that they had some wards that would set up well. If you had something like a Renekton, right? Or maybe a Gnar, there was definitely angles where you could TP in for the flank. Flanking Varus, not really a thing.
No.
And I
ำต้อง
think
วับกลับ
that's
เรื่อยๆ เลยว่ะ
one
ซีวู
potential issues with
เลเวล
playing
9 กับ
Kingdom
11 อ่ะ
of Hanjin Brion is so often when you enter Anivia, especially a Fed one, you want to come at multiple angles. If you all come in from one direction, it's very difficult. You're going to get met with walls, with the Glacial Storm as well.
วาลัส
This
ท็อป
D+, you don't have anyone who's like amazing as a flanker.
ไม่ได้แบบ
Lee Sin can find
enjoyer
flank
เลยอะ
angles,
คือมัน
but
ส่วนใหญ่จะไม่ค่อย
I
enjoy
think
เท่าไหร่
the
นะ
main
วา
thing
ลั
is
ส
just having like a snap engage is what we're going to look
จริง
for
ๆวาลัส
from
กับเว
D+.
ทั้งสอง
So
คนเลยมัน
if you don't see the
สอง
angle
ตัว
for
นี้
it,
มัน
if you don't see the angle just to
ไม่ค่อย enjoy
explosively
เท่าไหร่
go
อะ
in, we may see them just forego the fight instead, as we did there.
Yep, it's just going to be on Showmaker to find his angles. As does get a stun here towards Loki. Just takes
ใช้
half
ส
of
กิล
his
ไม่โดน
health bar.
แย่แล้วโลกิ
Make that 2/3. As Tippers will be drawn back.
โชว์เมเกอร์เลน
And
ผ่านเฉ
Showmaker
ย
is
เลยแอน
going to
นี่
send Loki home. It might be the end of this turret. Just have to see. Steady now has this wave to deal with. Does so quite comfortably. Trinity Force now online. Still looking to put together his Muramana. As Loki actually deciding to stick around. We'll be able to evaporate this wave pretty comfortably.
Yeah, does have the red buff and fillable running, so a decent amount of sustain. But also, I think once the tip has been dropped, there's not nearly as much
Yeah.
threat.
ฟีดเลนว่ะซีวูข้างบน
Shifting some shapes here. As Lucid just decides to hit it a
เหมือน
whole bunch.
คามิลเจอ
That
เว
is
น
not
เลย
the real one. Still 700 gold lead. As the Anivia not quite enough to
เป็นตา
provide
ที่
a
โห
full
ดร้ายมากเลย
advantage for the team.
ครับ
But as soon as he shows up, it is going to mean that Showmaker leaves the area. This answer to the Varus top lane, even if it did require
ช
a
อบ
little
ดา
bit
บ
of
ใคร
help,
ครับ
has worked quite nicely here so far.
Yeah.
Question is, can you keep him down?
แอบชอบดาบ
Is going to be sort of on my mind.
I mean, that's the thing. You're still going to have the value of the ultimate on the Varus, even if you are a bit behind. And it really just comes down to can they set up to defend the Anivia. They are still on the Herald. So last time we had an objective in the Herald pit was the Grubs, and Bro got it pretty uncontested. We're going for this again.
ชอบดาบโบรมากกว่านะพี่ว่ามันดูแบบเมดคอนโทรลดีอ่ะดูคอนโทรลแบบทั้งนีโกะออโรราแพนดิออนตีอะไรเงี้ยมันดูดีอ่ะ แต่คนดู enjoy เวนพี่นะเมื่อวานนี้ข้าวอร่อยหนักเลยกินจนเลอเปรี้ยวอ่ะพี่ว่า
Can we approach this? Do we have the right angle? No? Okay.
Yeah, hunkering down is what it feels like.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the turret falling down, so D+ in this moment to actually get themselves a little bit of an advantage in the play. As one more time, Showmaker throws a
Showmaker
bear
วันนี้แบบ
at Loki. Loki just seems to
มา
be
จาก
at like 1/3 health the entirety of this
นี่
lane.
ต้อง
Has
ห
to
นี
use
เรี
the
ยกว่าโล
ultimate
กิ
defensively
ต้องตีหนี
to get out
ว่ะ
of the way of Showmaker, who is just feeling very happy in this lane right now. True Shot Barrage will stop the back here from Shiu, but there was no one there to follow
วัน
up
นี้
or
มี
anything
ตีบอล
like
กระดุก
that.
ไหม
Just
ครับ
gonna
มี
buy
แน่
a
นอน
little bit of tempo.
เราต้องจัดทุกวันวันละชั่วโมง
Just
เพราะว่า
nice
แม่ง
to be annoying sometimes.
ดูจากทรงแล้วน่าจะเล่นเป็นชาติแน่เลย มันโหดเกินอะบอสอะ
Namgung able to heal himself out of the way. Shiu does now have that hex plate done, so Chains of Corruption can come out a whole bunch more.
So she with that ult TPing just to catch the wave there. So, you know, they've been holding the TPs for these fights, not really committing them, not using them.
แต่วันนี้ไม่รู้จะ
in a side lane.
ไอเกมที่แทนนั้นนี่จะ
Losing
ยัง
out
ไง
the
นะ
tempo from
สุดท้ายไอตัว
ultimate
เกมโจรสลัดนี่
TPs in.
เดี๋ยวรอคำตอบ แต่ว่า
ultimate there from Teddy.
มัน
But also just kind of indicative of
ตอนนี้
how
มี
Deep Plus are kind of playing
ตี้
at the moment.
ตี้ครบแล้ว
They
มี
really
มี
haven't
พี่
been
มีไนท์
overfocused
มี
on
อั๋น
moving
มี
now.
ว่าน
It is 45
4
seconds
คน
on Dragon Ocean Soul, not the highest prio.
กับเกมโจรสลัดของเรา
Really showing a huge inclination to be fighting everything. So
แต่ว่านัดวันเล่น
too surprised.
ยัง
But they do
ยัง
have
ต้อง
few
รอ
on
ไน
the
ท์ตอบอยู่
map. And if you look at the vision setup people
Yeah, I
have
was gonna
around,
say that is so many.
ว่านบอกได้เรื่อยๆอยู่แล้ว
If they don't get this dragon, it's
อัน
gonna
ก็
be
ได้
a
หมด
huge waste of money.
100%. And Bro right now are
แต่
gonna
ดับบี้
go
ไม่
in
เป็นไร
top
บ้านแดง
areas
แล้ว
towards,
อ๋อไอ
they won't get all of them just because there is that line so much deeper.
Yep.
But should be
ช่วย
able
คน
to
ที่
pick up a
5 ด้วยไหม
bunch in the river.
จริงๆได้8 คนแล้วนะ แต่ว่า
See,
เดฟบอกว่า
Showmaker is just
เอา
pinging
แค่
the turret
4 พอ
though. Might be that they're just not that interested in this Ocean Drake, because Lucid will be able to pick up this blue buff.
แต่พี่ถามไปแล้วว่ามันไม่ได้มีใครตอบอะไรมาแทนบอกไม่อยากเล่นไฟไม่ได้ตอบพี่หวงไม่ได้ตอบ
Going to grab this
มันก็เลย
dragon
แบบ
as it
เอาแค่นี้ก็ได้
spawns. And she is now rotating around. He's going to get spotted here
Yes,
on
this
this
is the-
ward.
It's the big thing. A TPing
Well,
and
I'll optimize
is a
it.
lot more threatening than a virus.
It absolutely
Please,
is.
one.
Showmaker is now making his way in. The curtains have already been called, but a bunch of these bullets are going wide.
Ui,
There's
Anivia.
Deadly Flourish as well, as they do get the snare. As
มีไข่อยู่
Showmaker
แต่ว่าจะตาย
finds
ข้างหลัง
the
แอด
backline, but
โชว์เมเกอร์มาสวยนะ แต่ว่าตายไปแล้วดิ
doesn't hit him. They do get
โอ้ย
the egg onto
โอ้โหเนี่ย
casting,
มัน
but
ก็
he
น่ารำ
uses
คาญเลยอะ
that to
แอ
keep
นิ
himself
เวีย
alive. And now Shiu has to flash away.
เฮ้ย
Loki
โลกิ
gets over the wall. The Deadly Flourish is there to try and save him, but it's not
แย่แล้วว่ะ
going to work
DK
as Gideon puts him down with
กำลัง
the
จะโดน
help of
โบรแล้ว
Teddy.
เกมแรก
And Bro with a great 2 kills
แอนิเวีย
as
แม่ง
well
รวย
as
แล้ว
the
แม่ง
Drake.
The
โคตรน่า
response was
รำคาญ
so
อะ
good there from Hanj and Brion. They just turned onto the flanker and managed to take them out. The problem with it being an Ezreal is that even if you do a ton of damage to him, if the follow-up's not there, if you don't finish him
แล้วจะออก
off,
เรียนดีด้วย
it's
จะ
so
เป็น
hard
ดับ
for
ดา
the
เม
rest
จ
of
ด้วย
the team to reach him. Everyone kind of moves in when they see Showmaker. The flash done, the follow-up, Teddy disengages.
Showmaker แบบ
They kill casting in return, but only into the egg.
ไปด้านหลังสวยแล้วแต่
So
ว่า
they
ไม่
can't really
ไม่ได้
do more here because I know casting is going to come back from the egg and be that threat again. And I think, unfortunately, Showmaker just didn't get the follow-up he needed.
Lucid still looking for casting here, but not going to be able to find him. They want to punish that egg being down, get at least a little bit of value from that lost team fight. Not quite able to. Teddy comes on over and gets some of that overgrowth. And Smash
พี่วูตัวนี้
just
หาย
doing
ไป
his
จาก
best
เกม
to
แล้ว
pick up waves. You can see
Completely.
Goldie has now switched over towards the Bro side, but it's only 500.
กับ
But
วา
still,
รัส
as
ของ
this
เขา
game goes on, I'm feeling the tempo
สนุก
vibes
ก็สนุก
shift
เลยวารัสอะ
towards
จืด
Hanji.
ก็คือแบบจืดแบบ
That's where my
หนักเลย
Where's your? Do you have a gauge?
I feel like, you know, I feel like the picks on the side of D+, you know, like the Annie
แล้ว
Lee Sin,
แคสติ้ง
this
กำลัง
is a
จะ
combo you wanna be finding-
15ซี
I
วู
mean,
เพิ่ง
Jin as well.
Yep.
A lot of
สาม
these
เวล
picks, you want to kind of be ahead of the curve, making the plays happen. They've just been kind of passive, letting things go.
Oh my God.
A lot of objectives going over to Hanj and Brion, and Hanj and Brion seem decisive, you know?
Yeah.
They're
ปัญหา
hey,
เดียว
we
ของ
wanna
โบร
fight
ตอน
this
นี้คือ
objective,
โล
we're
กิไม่รวย
TPing in, we're getting it. You don't fight us whatever, we've got the
แล้วมัน
objective.
ออโรราที่ไม่รวยอะ
Pace setters for this
ไม่ค่อยดี
game.
เท่าไหร่
And then when it came to that
เฮ้ย
fight-
เปิดเลยเหรอ
Oh, no, what?
ไม่มี TP มี TP ว่า
Lucid
casting
is almost just straight up dead.
เนี่ย
There's the
มัน
ulti,
ไม่
but he
รวย
goes
มัน
between the
มัน
worlds,
เบา
doesn't
ๆบอกไม่
provide
ถู
so
ก
much more in the
โอ้
meantime.
นิโก
Shiu
ตาย
has found the Nico, and she is
เฮ้ย TP มาด้านหลังว่า
extraordinarily
casting
dead. Lucid's going to survive there towards
ไม่ได้
that
เรา
top
ต้อง
side,
ไป
so
เด
a
ฟ
little
กลาง
bit of an advantage here for D+, but not a whole lot to fight for at this point in time.
Yeah, a little bit
เลือด
of
ป้อม
a-
แม่งโอเค
Okay, turret does go down.
Okay, all right, to find that one. Namgun gets caught out. Not sure exactly how that happened, but just not quite having the damage to take out Lucid. It was super close, and they do commit the TP from casting.
แต่ว่า
so
มีแอนิเวียที่ขึ้นเรียนดีมาชิ้นที่
the
สอง
side lane a bit harder to match.
ก็โอเค
Gold still dead even.
Yeah. And now Shiu is 50 CS behind, which is a very large number. And it's just the Chains of Corruption also gets value against the Nico,
Yeah.
as he can just get the follow-ups done if the Shape Splitter
จริ
does
ง
come
น่า
on
ซื้อ
through. Kind of
ไอ้
like
นี่
it.
เนาะ
Yeah. So, I mean, this game is still very
Mikhail.
close. Hasn't been a ton of kills. There is still the potential for D+. Like they have the engage options if they find a target who's isolated. But it does feel like in a structured 5v5, it is harder for them. Now, they are looking for this Varus in the bot lane. No flash and Shiwu. I think you're probably just dead.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Does get the chains of corruption down, tries to avoid the snare, but does not do so. That is going to be the end of the Varus. Almost kills Namgung on his way out, but Gideon easily has enough damage. Down he will go 1 and 3 now on this Varus that was first picked, if we remember. And it's the Anivia answer that is working out very, very well. Level 16 now for casting. Does have that Rod of Ages fully stacked up.
มีความสุขกับ Anivia
as to why that's happened. Is now Smash.
โอ้ยทำอะไรเนี่ย
Snagging him there. Really nicely aimed from Teddy. Picks the angle of escape.
และอีนกแบบน้ำแข็งตัวนี้แม่งกำลังจะกลายเป็นบอสว่ะ
Get some good damage on the tower.
This is Jin though. He's able to clear out that wave relatively well. But casting is just unanswerable. I don't know what you're supposed to do about this bird. Just having a great time.
ยังไงวะ
And the thing is, we've seen T+ have good vision setup around the dragon.
แต่ว่ายังปราณีนะไม่ได้ออกแบบเซราแบบซูส
Massive spread of wards. Didn't find the right angle and said no, we're not going to do it. Now with
คืออันนั้น
45
แม่ง
seconds from dragon, they have
ท่ายากมาก
you know, it's
แต่อันนี้มันแนวน่า
it's
รำคาญว่ะมันโซนแล้วก็แบบโดนปลายๆแม่ง
moving over and starting to clear
ถ้าซื้อ
some
ตั
of
ด
these
ฮิว
out.
ด้วยนี่น่ารำคาญจัด
You know, if they were reluctant to play
สวัสดีครับพี่กิฟต์คู่ที่วันแข่งวันไหนครับแข่งเสาร์อาทิตย์อะที่วันแข่งแบบ2 วันติดตารางแอบโหดอยู่แต่เพราะว่ามันจะเป็นที่วันโฮมการ์ด
Even like there's other games where there's tankier
โฮม
targets
กราว
who at least get some benefit. Everyone's quite squishy, but still not something you want to give over for free.
Yeah, Korea going to make his way out with that magical journey.
มันน่ากลัวเหลือเกินนกตัวนี้มีอัมการอีกเฮ้ยแต่ซิบูถ้าเกิดได้ป้อมซ้ายนี่
As Bro have full vision control.
ไม่ได้
Teleport now to bring in the Varus. It looks like DK do not want to be giving this one up. But I think once Bro is set up in an area, it is just so hard to find any sort of angle as the wall does come on through. Casting here in this brush.
โดนเตะนก
onto the Anivia.
นาฬิกา
Looking to try and lock him down, but he goes
แหม
golden.
พอดีเป๊ะ ยกมา
connects onto Showmaker, but it may have done enough
ซิ
to
บูโด
move
น
them out of the
ตัน
way.
แต่ว่ามันยังไงวะน่ะ
Still, it is only
ไม่ค่อย
Namgung
สวย
that's
แล้วว่ะ
gone down for now.
อ๋อยังไม่ได้
Over
ดู
to
สิ
the Bros. One kill in the fight going DK.
โหถ้าเกิดนกได้มังกรน้ำนี่แม่งโคตรฉ่ำอะมาหน้าแม่งไม่หมดเลย
T+ looking for a little bit more, trying to circumvent them and stop them from getting to mid lane.
Yeah, Korea with that one ward in that brush is actually able to find out where they're moving.
The Showmaker still has Tibbers. He held it there, was aware of the Seeker's Arm Guard and casting. There's a lot of things that went on during that fight, a lot of little micro interactions. So Lucid finds casting and gets this great kick. I think casting pops the stasis because he expects the Tibbers, but Showmaker holds it. So then Namgun has to go in to get space for his Anivia to get out and sacrifices himself. And I think saving the Anivia was really big for Bro because it stops D+ from being able to chase more after the dragon goes down.
Well, they're going to do it again.
Yeah, so last fight he died to save his Anivia. This fight he just died. He just died, yeah.
Call it he died.
So a less impressive death, we'll say. Less valiant.
Yeah, last time he was an absolute hero. This time he just tripped. I think is kind of
สวัสดีค่ะคุณลุงที่วันแข่งวันไหนล่ะคะเสาร์อาทิตย์มึงเรียกคุณลุงกันเหรอไอ้ป๊อกกี้
does have Smash there alongside him. True Shot Barrage spots exactly what's going on. 4 versus 5 would be the angle here as D+ look to try and catch casting, but Korea going to miss that one. Casting was already decided to go back towards that top lane. The pull of the red dots actually saving his life as Lucid going to be able to steal away this red buff. Chains of Corruption goes wide.
เดี๋ยวมันมา V2 แน่เลย
50% of his health bar.
มันล็อก
Still, D+ I think fishing for a little bit of an
น่าจะล็อกอินมาแน่
They
เลย
definitely wanted more of that pick, and I think the thing is, Bro was so far away from the Baron, but the two
แต่
problems
ใช้ยาก
were
เนาะ
firstly
พี่ว่าเรียนดีแม่งใช้
quite
ยาก
slow
ว่ะแอนิเวีย
Baron from D+ there. I mean, this pick is
เหมือนจะใช้ง่ายแต่ว่า
slides
ถ้ามันมีคนโซนให้มันเป็นตัวโซนอีกตัวหนึ่งเสริมให้น่าจะดี
But I think the thing is that the Baron
โอ้ยอมรับความจริงไม่ได้นะ
and then the True Shot Barrage came in
มันมีด้วยเหรอคนที่เรียกพี่อยู่ตลอดสมมติว่าแบบพี่เรียกพี่ชายพี่แบบห่างกัน7 ปีกับพี่ชายอะเรียกพี่มาตลอดวันหนึ่งพี่อายุแบบ40 แล้วมึงก็เรียกเขาว่าลุง
Dead support, but very close to
ทั้งที่มึงก็อายุเพิ่มขึ้นตามพี่เขาอะมึงเรียกพี่มาตลอดแล้วมึงก็ไม่เรียกเขาลุง
So had a bit more health in the pocket, but you know, definitely without that locket would have been very low on HP. So
คือยังไงคือมึงอายุมึงพอสแต่อายุพี่เพิ่มคนเดียว
Does come on through here as we are missing cannons all over the place today. It is kind of ridiculous. This gold lead as well has not gone above 1,000
วัน
on
นี้มีสาว
either
KX
side
แบบเมื่อวาน
all
ไหม
day
ครับ
long.
นี่รอแอบ
It's
รอ
so
ดูอ่ะ
incredibly close, and I can't help but feel like that benefits the bros, as I feel like this composition will just last that little
ที่
bit
ลุงพูด
longer.
ก็
I feel like
ถูกนะ
D+ really want to be able to explode their targets. And if things are a little bit too even, they may not necessarily reach the DPS
เอาเป็น
threshold.
นาได้ปะ
That's what I'm
นา
talking
กิฟ
about.
เนี่ยอะไรยัง
it
ยัง
looks
พอ
like
ได้
it's been
นา
crazy all over the place, but really just the
คือ
graph
ลุงนี่
is
มันคือพ่อพี่ชายปะ
Yeah, it's just very small.
so it hasn't
มัน
varied
ขนาด
by
นั้นเลยเหรอ
but
นา
the
ยัง
missed
โอเค
cannon
เลย
there
นา
looks
กิ
like
ฟ
a massive jump. That point where 2 cannons got missed, didn't top. Wow, what a swing!
It was actually about like it looked like 200 gold on the UI. It was kind of crazy. Showmaker able to dash cannon his way out of
เรีย
the
กลุงดู
glacial
เป็นผู้
storm.
มาก
Looks like
บารมี
casting is just a huge problem here in this game. And I was actually talking to Dagon earlier on today. We were talking about
แล้ว
this
ถ้าเรียก
matchup,
ทวดไม่หนักเลย
and
แบบไม่
he was mentioning
บาร
the
มีเลยเหรอ
fact that Showmaker and Loki, their stats are both
ปู่กิฟแล้วกัน
not
ไม่
exactly the
ไม่ซ้ำกับ
highest
ลุงไหน
here in the LCK. In fact, probably the lowest out of all of our mid laners. He thought that was something that the bros are going to be able to play around, and I actually thought that Shia was playing pretty well over the last three
เอาเลย
games.
เต็มที่เลย
So far, casting has been having
พี่
a
เปลี่ยน
great
ตัวเองแล้วเป็น
time.
สตรีมเมอร์ที่แบบ
And it's the
ตามใจช่อง
lane
แชท
that
ละ
I thought was going to be a bit of a
จะ
problem
เรียก
here
ลุง
for
เรียกปู่
Brion that
เต็ม
has
ที่เลย
actually
ไม่ว่ากัน
become a huge problem for D+.
Yeah, problem they need to solve. Soul is on the cards. 45 seconds.
ไม่ว่ากันจะเรียกพี่ว่าอะไรก็ไม่ว่ากัน ไอ้กิฟเหรอ
There's
แล้วมันทำไมวะ
deeper line cutting in towards the blue buff.
เรียกไอ้กิฟเหรอ
And we see casting picking up a Zonya's completed. So had that broken Seekers, now has that. Flashes back up again. GA for Gideon. These are some really big buys in this fight. Really high value. And now D+ are trying to move in here and get access to the river. Should be able to do a decent job off it and clear out the banana brush there off that control ward.
And Smash really wanted to complete his Infinity Edge. He's relatively close to that.
บางคนตัวนี้ต้องเอาให้ได้แบบโบรแบบ
relatively soon for Teddy as well for
จะ
4
ได้แบบ
items, but
สบายละ
it's this Jin that is very far ahead on the DK side.
ดูสิไม่กล้าเล่น
Rhea able to get into this pit.
ดูสิตอนนี้เงียบกรี๊ดตั้งแต่ไปโดนแก๊งข้างบนแบบคือไปช่วยซิวข้างบนแล้วตายคู่แม่งเงียบกรี๊ดไปนานเลย
As casting
แต่ว่าเล่นยากเพราะว่าโดดเข้าไปปุ๊บมันเจอแอนนิเวียโซน เล่นไม่ออกวารัสมาว่ะจะมาแฟรงก์ว่ะเชคอรัชั่นแบบสวยๆได้ปะงามๆใช้ไอ้นี่ไม่ค่อยดีว่ะติ่งไม่ค่อยดีว่ะแคสติ้ง
Spotted on vision, but is looking to just break up the phalanx of the bros right now. As Lucid will be able to use that Q to get back on top of this dragon.
โอ้ยเท็ดดี้โดนได้ว่ะลูซิดเท็ดดี้โอ้โหโลกี้ล็อกเก็ตเบลเข้าไปช่วยรับแคสติ้งไม่ได้แล้วตรงนี้ต้องถอยเอ๊ะตะกี้แคสติ้งเหมือนกดอันติเหมือนกด TP
just fall apart.
Just beautifully played there by D+. Trying to look for more, won't find it, but should be able to go for the Baron on the back of that.
Oh,
no one died.
Goodness.
For D+. 3 kills picked up, and even with things
กลาย
like
เป็น
the
ว่า
GA in pocket,
โบร
the Zonya's picked for casting just wasn't enough.
มีพุ่มที่ดีกว่าแบบแต่เพราะมันเป็นพุ่มคือมันเป็นมังกรน้ำเว้ยไอ้พุ่มบานาน่ามันเลยแบบไม่ได้ priority แบบ 100% เหมือนมังกรตัวอื่นถ้าเป็นมังกรแบบที่ไม่ใช่มังกรน้ำพุ่มมันน้อยกว่านี้มันก็จะแบบพุ่มบานาน่าจะสำคัญมากเลยแต่พอเป็นมังกรน้ำแบบมันแบบว่าพุ่มมีแบบเอามีพุ่มเพิ่มอ่ะเล่นยากมากและแคสติ้งก็พยายามอยู่
He has to back off on low HP. The 4th shot hits, so everyone has to move to cover him. Meanwhile, we see Gideon jump on a shield, but the Tempered Fate buys time. This from Lucid dives in.
Oh man, yeah, the safeguard just gorgeous.
So well played, and then kicks the Pantheon into his Varus to finish off. They clean up the Anivia, they clean up the Pantheon, so they can get that Baron without any contest. So just really well played. And again, you know, there's difficulty if you just go straight into an Anivia, but it felt like there was this sort of measured hit a target, but don't overcommit.
Yeah.
Follow up and move in and out at the right time. The D+ just did so beautifully there.
And I really think that they had to play it that well, right? You were talking about item spikes, that was on the Hanjin Brion side, but also just the composition over time should be easier and easier for Bro to play out in these team fights. And DK do need to win the finesse battle, and they absolutely did in that last fight. They're going to have to keep it up, though, as we were talking about, this is the largest gold lead that we've seen all game long, but at 31 minutes, 3K is not exactly a massive amount. As now Shu is in, I was going to say trouble, but he's dead, ladies and gentlemen. He's just not going to survive, as he does try and get a bit of damage back onto Teddy, but just sort of caught trying to push up this lane. Not exactly the most safe split pusher that you have. And now, with a few extra people here on the Bro side, they are just going to push DK away. That is going to mean that Rebel Baron power play shrinks to about 1,000. And yeah, 3,000 gold lead. No, not in this game. This is a game about having no gold leads at all.
Yeah, just, I mean, hard as a virus to be playing in the side lane against the Pantheon, especially when you have so many mobile carries you can follow up so easily with the Aurora and
แต่
the
โปรดักชั่นของ
Gideon.
โปรดักชั่นของ LCK ดีเนาะ คือเขาจะมีจอหนึ่งที่แบบเป็นเรียลไทม์แล้วจอนั้นมันก็จะแบบคอยซัพพอร์ตว่าแบบมีเหตุการณ์อะไรที่แบบสำคัญแล้วก็มีจอหนึ่งที่เป็นคนที่แบบพร้อมแล้วก็จะมีแบบได้รับคำสั่งอย่างเมื่อกี้ซีวูแบบบวกเนี้ยก็บอกเลยว่าซีวูปุ๊บไอคนจอรองก็จับภาพตรงแถบซีวูเลยเอสเรียลอะไรเงี้ยตอนเขาไปบวกซีวูก็จับภาพทันเขาทำงานโคตรดีมันเลยแบบไม่ค่อยจะเห็นว่ามันไม่ค่อยพลาดช็อตสำคัญเพราะว่ามันมีแบบข้อมูลลับมาก่อนนะ
Just say that you shouldn't have played Jin.
Oh, okay.
It's not about the item build.
ถามว่ารู้ได้ไงเพราะว่าไอจอที่ขึ้นแสดงกับจอนักแข่งอ่ะมันดีเลย์ประมาณ3 วิ3-4 วิ
I know that Hanjin Brion just lost a team fight, but I do feel like a whole lot had to go right for DK in order to make that happen.
ไอแก็บ3-4 วินั้นก็เป็นแก็บที่ทำให้จอหลักมันจะรู้ว่าเหตุการณ์อะไรเกิดขึ้นอะไรอย่างนี้เอาง่ายๆก็คืออย่างสมมติว่ากุมาชิเล่นวาลัสแล้วลาสบาลอนได้ก็คือทีมงานรู้ก่อนพวกเราประมาณสัก3 ปีได้
A lot did go wrong for Hanjin Brion in the last one, but I think going into this next fight, they don't have control of the area compared to the previous couple of Dragons where they started with control. Oh, Showmaker over the wall.
Yeah, does find the tip as Chains
of
Corruption lands as
well.
And Gideon is taken down as GA was so close to coming back up as Tempered Fate is going to catch casting. And Showmaker has this gun ready for him. Lucid gets on top. The egg is just going to be scrambled, and Korea locks down that kill for his team. D+ finds 2 and now can look to break open the base.
Showmaker is playing so well around this vision, and I feel like Jonah Strong's having a field day with the vision toggles.
Oh, he is.
Just be able to show, oh, he's looming, he's a threat, he's there, and then getting this pick on the Pantheon that follows up with the Bard ult onto casting. They get 2 kills.
โรนำเยอะด้วยอ่ะคือโบแบบที่ว่า
Just great angles being found by the mid lane of D+ here.
นำเยอะแต่ว่าคืออย่างที่พี่บอกออโรรามันจนเว้ยมันเลยไม่ค่อยแรงแอนนิเวียมันมีเงินมันเลยต้องไปซื้อดาเมจแทนแล้วพอซื้อดาเมจมันเลยไม่ค่อยถึกอ่ะ
As D+ going to be 1 away from that Ocean Soul as well. And we might, I mean, this still could be a game that goes to Elder Flip territory. But I am still a little bit worried here for the Bros, as DK have just been playing so well around this draft that can be a little bit difficult to navigate.
Yeah, I mean, that start of the wall, over the wall was so good, and especially into a Pantheon who can block so much damage.
Yeah.
But he lost most of his health bar before he even got a chance to because of the stun and the lack of vision. So just a great pickup, great angle. And now 5,600 ahead. D+ have a massive lead. Baron in 30 seconds. They're definitely the ones with control. You can see a ton of vision on their side. There is a little bit of warding that Hanjin Brion have got down. You can see that control ward they have just north of the Baron pit. and there is a ward as well nearby. So they should have a decent amount of information if D+ go for it, but
looking for casting here as
เสียงคนดูสปอยตำแหน่งศัตรูด้วยเลยดีเลย
not able to find Smash there. He just walks it off. Smash has been playing unbelievably well. He's able to take down Namgung here. Gideon goes in, but I think he's going to be taking the Death Chamber exit from this one as he dives on top. Does manage to take down Showmaker, but he'll sacrifice his life for it. Speaking of sacrifice, it is going to be Shu falling as well. And if Gideon survives here, there might actually be an opportunity, but the curtains are being called, and Smash, he's looking to prove to me that Jin is actually a good champion, and maybe I need to stand up and recognize 6,000 gold is the lead, and DK are actually looking to try and knock down these Nexus turrets and win game one.
only Teddy to defend here.
Yeah, he is able to arcane shift his way out, and he is just dead. Lucid able to finish him off with the help of Smash, and this guy with 5 items completed is just destroying Hanjin Breon. He's now going to turn his sights towards this Nexus, and they will win game number 1. D+ really playing that mid to late game out absolutely beautifully.
Yeah, a game which, you know, a lot of fights weren't taken by D+ when they didn't see the opportunity, they didn't see the right angle for it. But as soon as
น้องส
Showmaker
แมท
started
เก่งไหม
playing
คะ
around this lack of
หาย
vision,
โดนแบนแล้วเหรอ
it felt like Hanjin Breon just didn't know how to deal with it. I really struggled, really fell apart there. I think
ไปฟังลุงนัทเป็นวิทยากรช่วง Q&A ลุงนัทเจอแต่คำถามเด็ก Gen Z ซะเยอะเลยถามยังไงอะเด็ก Gen Z ผมดูตั้งแต่เมื่อคืนแล้วต้องยิงกี่นัดถึงตายอะมันจะมี4กระบวนท่าของเขาถ้าเราข้ามถ้าเราแบบผ่านทุกกระบวนท่าคือมันก็จะเข้าเฟส2ซึ่งเฟส2มันเข้ายังไม่เคยผ่านเฟส2สักกระบวนท่าเลยไม่รู้ว่าเฟส2ก็มี4กระบวนท่าอีกหรือเปล่าคือโดยสรุปคือตอนนี้ถ้าเรายิงมัน4นัดอะมันจะเข้าเฟส2แล้วพอเข้าเฟส2ไม่รู้ต้องยิงอีกกี่นัดถึงจะตายแต่ว่าเฟส2มันก็จะยากขึ้นมากอะ7 เฟสเหรอผมไม่น่าโดนสปอยเลยว่ะกูพี่รู้ยังสาเหตุที่เอ็มโบโมฟอร์มตก
Overall, they still were able to win the game, but I think a lot closer than it should have been because the draft of Bro here a lot stronger, a lot more standard.
Yeah, I mean, I personally didn't mind the DK draft all that much. I like how they were really trying to focus around getting priority in a lot of different areas of the map, but the fact that they didn't ban the Aurora instead scratching my head. Like, obviously, yeah, the Varus might have trouble there, but we don't see it very often. Maybe something they're seeing in scrims, but yeah, obviously the Aurora, the Annie was very good for the side of Bro, but they couldn't quite.
ก็น่าได้โพสต์ภาพกับแชมเปี้ยนของลีกออริจินในสตอรี่ประมูลเกมการแข่งขันกับลีกในเตะที่เกิดขึ้นในบ้าน
Bro and Brew style game as we got Drakes and we got a lot of them.
แล้วไม่เกี่ยวอะไรกับเวกอะ
All the Drakes.
งงว่ะเอ็มเบอร์โมเรื่องจริงปะเนี่ยไม่น่าใช่เรื่องจริงปะแกเมนเวกเอมเบอร์โมแกเล่นด้วยเหรอวะที่อังกฤษแกมันเล่นได้เหรอวะ
Yeah, it just felt like that flank was definitely a little bit discombobulated, a little bit off from the rest of the team. This time, Bro, they are trying to protect their dragon really hard, and they end up going pretty deep for this one, especially after Lucid got the kick. But you can see that Bro, especially Namgung, is like, we are going into their jungle. I think just a little bit of an overextension from them, so they can't continue the fight, but at least they got the Drake, which led to the Ocean Soul Point.
Yeah, this was kind of the opposite fight where they just decided not to hold on to their position and be aggressive, and then this fight here is one of the big turning points, and this one gets taken away here by Lucid. And Shiu gets caught in the edge here.
ที่ไม่ได้ถาม
They want to follow him or push the right
มาตัดพอชีวิตหมดอะไรตายอยากไม่อยากทำอะไรเลยควรจะแก้ยังไงดีครับ Q&A ทำยังไงให้อยู่ในแสงได้นานดังไว
Yeah, especially you're not proactively using the Nico ultimate. He kind of like ults and then immediately gets stunned by Tibbers, and DK are the ones that are able to just fight front to back. It just felt like
What the fuck แล้วนายตอบยังไงวะมีแคปมาปะมันตอบยังไงวะหมดตัดพอชีวิตหมดอะไรตายอยากไม่อยากทำอะไรควรแก้ไขยังไง
Drake setups that we saw there, it was D plus Kia trying to work into Hanjin Breon. into that Anivia. This time, you're really looking for something out of Namgung. Wasn't able to find it. They get picked off.
มีรายการ
control of the
อยู่
game that
แก
they
ตอบ
had to
เมน
that
เวก
point,
เหรอ
which felt
Holy
okay.
shit.
You know, at least they felt like
เห็นใน
you
มุม
know,
ว่า
they
มี
had
ช่อง
a
ทวิต
small
สตรีม
lead there, but they weren't able
แก
to
สตรีมเกมอยู่นะ
transition that into anything as
เอา
we
เรื่อง
look
ชิปเป่ง
towards
แล้ว
game
วะ
number 2. They are selecting first pick are the Bros. D plus Kia then selecting blue side as well.
I want to see a strong jungle pick for Gideon. I'd like to see him try to pick up something like a Jarvan if it's available, play through mid lane a little bit, try to get Loki ahead. And if you could play through Gideon's early game and stabilize the mid game and be a little bit more decisive in team fights, I think you could definitely end up having a win here if you're Bro. Like, I think this is actually a winnable series.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Gideon is having one of those days where he really looks like he's on point. We saw a lot of this from him even last year, which was really good to see. And he was able to show up at least early on the Pantheon. That was good. You know, Teddy had 3 kills as well. Shout out to him. But as a team, they couldn't put it all together very well. But individually, I do agree with Wolf. I'd like to see Gideon get something he can carry on.
Yeah, one guy that needs to step up here for D plus Kia is Shiwu, I think on the top side of the map. Those ranged carries seems to be something that he'll continue to work on as we look towards game number 2.
ลุงตอบประมาณควรไปหาหมอไหมผมโชคดีพื้นฐานเขาควรดีเรื่องนี้ผมให้คำแนะนำไม่ได้จริง
to see what he can get done. Thankfully, not going to be on the Varus again if you are Wolf, as he didn't quite like the Varus performances thus far. And I would agree that they have been a little bit subpar, you could say, Orcs. Where, as far as your, outcome-focused assessment is concerned, would you say that Varus is a good idea for Shia moving forward in their next series?
Only one. So I think
จริงเหรอเล่นยันนักการเมืองอ่ะ
Beautiful.
แอลใน
Not going to have a
EU
chance to see it
What?
here in this next game, but hopefully next series, Shia brings it out. 100% win rate. Can't really complain.
Can't dispute that. honestly.
Exactly.
I've tried.
Yeah,
But it's hard to.
it is. It's,
ควรหา
I
หมอ
would say
ถ้า
that
อาการ
it's
มันมีผล
nearly
ต่อ
an
กระทบกับชีวิต
impossibility.
แม่ก็ต้องทราบ
But
เป้า
here we
หมาย
are into the draft for game number 2. The Bros this time going to be on the red side with first pick, and let's see what they can actually get for themselves based on that one, as they will have the first ban, and let's see what it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the picks.
แต่
that
เป็น
were banned
มันเป็น
last
มัน
time
มัน
were
เป็น
just these
เหมือน
high
อาการที่แบบ
bio,
ยุคพี่มันไม่ได้มีใครแบบ
picks in general.
มานั่ง
So
บอกว่าเป็น
expected
อะไรเงี้ย
things crazy to come through.
พอมัน
Vido being the
มัน
first
ก็เลยไม่รู้
ban
วิธี
last
แก้
time
เว้ย
was T plus banning away the Nocturne. It's just going to be Orianna coming through.
All right.
สุดท้ายแล้วก็คือหาหมอ
Crazy
ดีกว่า
there.
หมอก็น่าจะอัปเดตอาการได้เรื่อย
Really had that early impact, but unfortunately just kind of got picked off later in the game. So we'll see what Gideon can get his hands on. I think that's the problem with a game one like that is a lot went right for Bro, so it's difficult to triage because I think as Space said there was a lot of positives to their draft.
Yeah, it's like do it again, but win.
Yeah, so I think a bit harder. In some ways, if the game goes catastrophically bad, it's a lot easier just to go, oh, well, everything went wrong, just throw it all out
Yeah.
and start fresh. But when the game was close and a lot of things were going right, it can be tricky to make little adjustments because at the end of the day, they did just kind of get outplayed in some of the bigger fights. Karma
Job.
banned again. Rumble, I presume, is going to be banned here.
Oh yeah, Rumble does need to be banned. Let's see what they do decide to take away though.
Who
Because
Rumble?
that Jarvan is looming as well.
I discussed
Why
it for a
Rumble,
long
ah?
time.
Ash.
Ash
ๆ
instead.
โอ้
So it's going to be Rumble first pick from Hanjin
Rumble
Beyond, and we'll
โคตรดี
see what D Plus will play into it. We've seen a lot of times. So Rumble's gone through twice, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Both times it's been into Ambessa. It did win both times, but Shiu is a very good Ambessa, so I expect they probably will go with the same strategy. Some of the picks we've seen into Rumble before have been like the Aurora, but that's obviously banned away. So yeah, we'll see what D Plus look to get their hands on, given they've sort of handed off such a powerful pick over the casting here. You obviously want to secure a lot in return for that.
Well, I think Jarvan is probably going to be picked up for Lucid, as far as the tier list is concerned.
Yeah.
And he's just going to play Jace.
Okay, Jace here instead. I mean, Jace was pretty high prior on the top lane in recent patches. Obviously a range champion as well, so it doesn't have to just be in the face of Rumble or get melted. Jarvan, as you said, makes a lot of sense. Also, you never want to play into Jarvan Rumble, especially when Ezreal has been taken away. That sounds very unfun.
ตะกี้
Yep. It's also J5, which is pretty cool, because Jace is also a J. So
รู้สึกกินน้ำสำลักเหรอเมื่อกี้
of your Jace.
Oh, but Jin's gone, so they
Oh
can't
no!
elevate it to J6.
Oh, it's really annoying. Are there any other
Ooh,
J
Hong,
champions that we could?
There definitely are, and yet
อ่ะ
I'm struggling.
Yeah, same. It's Janna. They need to play Janna.
Yep.
That's the only other J that I can think of. That is a Yunara Lulu though. That is the response.
Yeah, solid bot lane combo, and Jarvan. I mean, you have to use your ult,
นึก
but
ถึงเมื่อวาน
not
นี้
as
คน
much of a
จีน
threat when it comes to
ที่
team
เป็นผู้หญิง
fights
จีน
to
หน้า
the
โชว์เมเกอร์
Yunara
เหมือน
Slash
จริงนะเนี่ย
TF can
พอมาเห็น
be
หน้า
the
โชว์เม
option
เกอร์แล้วแบบ
Showmaker, obviously a classic for him.
เฮ้ย
Has that point and quick CC
เหมือนว่ะ
and is not going to be what they pick up. They go for the Ahri instead. Not the
Doesn't start
most
with J.
setup. Obviously, you know, we see Ahri often with like Vi, point and click CC can easily follow up. With the Jarvan, you know, if you connect, great, but you're kind of conditional on either the charm connecting or the flag and drag connecting to get the follow up coming through. Does give a lot of momentum though when it comes to the fight. So if you get that initial sort of pick off, you can definitely run over your opponents.
I've got an update, by the way.
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt, and I don't hate to interrupt, actually. There's a lot of J champions, actually. There's Gmo, there's Jari. Jari's already been locked in,
Yeah.
actually. Jorik.
Oh yeah.
Jinx is the obvious one.
Is Jinx with the J? Oh, I guess so.
Yeah, it's not Yinx,
Yeah.
but it is with a J. And Jinx Janna could be the bottom lane.
True.
So there is a possibility.
Jigs, my favorite.
Oh, Jigs! Jigs
Yeah.
is a great one. In Korean, it is just Jigs.
Man
Yeah.
not
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant.
เ
But everyone's just letting us know that in fact, every champion can start with J if you really want it to, if you believe hard enough.
What's the worst one that just like doesn't work if you try and make a star with a J?
I was about to say Joey, but that's also Zoe in Korean.
And also from Friends.
ยูมิอะไรสักอย่างแน่เลยว่ะเซรียูมิอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
We had bands come through. We don't really need to talk about them. It's
Oh,
jungle
kid,
focus
one
on the
more.
D plus side, and then we have some support.
Genectin.
Genectin. Genectin's fantastic.
It's great.
What are you talking
คา
about?
เฟ่เทส
Brilliant.
เหรอครับ
Are there only good names that like
ว่าแต่พี่ได้ดูลุง
Jify them?
ลุงเล่นเกมมัมมี่กับตี้เมื่อวานบ้าอย่างฮาเลยจริงเหรอบัต
Gisante?
Gisante?
เกมมันเหรอ
Yeah, the harder it seems, the better it actually ends up.
Gisante
เกมผี
just
มัม
sounds
มี่
like
เหรอ
Casante's little sister.
That's cute.
Jejwani
ไม่เขาเลย
gonna be.
เฮ้ยมีเซจูนี่
Oh,
มาจากไหน
that's a
วะ
good one. Jone?
Drundle.
Trundle
Jone.
is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
As Korea is going to try his hand at the Thresh once again. Hasn't necessarily had a whole lot of success on this one in the past, but could work out here. But I do love this top side for Hanjin Breon. Rumble, Sejuani, Yone. This has been a combo that we've seen so many times throughout the years that has so much power.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a strong team fight composition. You have the top side with the engage. You have the bot lane, the Yunara, Lulu for the follow-up for the cleanup. On the side of T plus Kia, I feel like if they get on top of your Jace or your Aphelios, you're going to have a bad time. You obviously have these strong carries that can protect them. If you can start to get kills, you have the momentum for the Ahri. But I feel like just at face value, I kind of love what Hanjin Breon have brought here.
Yeah, I would agree. I actually think it's very, very powerful. Looking forward to seeing what they can
เล่น
actually
จริง
get
ไว้
done
บอ
with
โม
it though,
แรง
because
ซิ
we
เวอร์
liked the draft the last time around. I also have a
เกม
massive
สนุกนะแต่ฟิลิปปี้แบงค์
Jank
ว่านสลิว
is one
ทวี
that,
คูณความสนุกอ่ะ
production
สนุก
have
มาก
come
พี่
up
จริง
with,
เหรอ
which is
เชี่ย
pretty good. Drom is incredibly difficult to say.
Drom is anything that's JR, like the Drundle.
Yeah, Drundle, Drom, also not so good. Jillian, and Jacko.
Jillian and Jillian.
คากูดฟีดจิลิงเอมเบรโมเซิร์ฟอียู
Jarius. I like Jami. It sounds like you're wearing your pajamas.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. That's what we wanted to talk about as we headed towards Summoner's Rift for this game number 2. Let's hear some fan chants. All right, Hanjin Brown fans really need to raise their voices. We need to get the bro tax in. Blitzcrank is also very difficult to say.
Blitzcrank.
That's a brilliant one. I just want to say thank you to production for coming up with that. That was next to impossible. Giovanna, easy. Don't worry, that was no worries. Did they just write down Jarvan?
T1
Because that's already with the J. That's where this all started. Jambessa? Jambessa is brilliant. In fact, we should actually just change every single name of every single champion to start with J. I think it's just more fun.
I think, honestly, we've proven that at least for a large pool of champions, it's
Showmaker
better, or at least as good.
Yeah.
There's a couple where maybe it's more difficult, but I think it's worth the cost of those champions for the benefit for the rest of the roster. There's a lot of champions in League of Legends.
Exactly.
So, you know, the payoff, I think, is there.
Yep. We just need to JFI everyone. I'm not going to say that one, Degon. That's not the one that I want to say. I actually thought I was about to Ron Burgundy that. You guys might have an idea as to which champion had a J put in front of it that I decided not to say. Be proud of me, as I have just saved my career. Okay, speaking of career, he is looking to try and lock down the kill here as Namgo has to flash. The flash forward from Smash is not going to get it done, but does at least get the flash out of Lulu. Teddy turns up on this wave though, and the barrier has to be used here. Severum as well to get a little bit of health back, but now Lucid makes his way down. The hook needed one more chance, as Lucid is just going to tidy up these kills. The barrier is there, but I don't even know whether Teddy should have used it, as meanwhile, on the top side, a very cute play there is just going to get nullified entirely. That was a very cute time to get stunned with the permafrost, but is ultimately going to go down. But a 2-for-1 on both sides of the map.
Yeah, level 3 ganks coming in big here from both sides, but I feel like D+ much happier with the outcome there. And ultimately, it's Namgoon overextending a little bit, getting caught out, and then both sides just overcommitting. But the thing is with an overcommit, is it only...
Loki almost unbound his soul in a different way.
Yeah, you know, just went to the other side. Could have been. But yeah, the point I was making is overextending in the bot lane is a lot more severe when the enemy jungler turns up. So initially, Korea gets this hook onto Namgoon, which is great. They get a lot of damage down, but Namgoon waits to the last moment before flashing and baits Smash in. And that means Teddy's like, okay, you overextended, I can punish. But then he goes super aggressive here as Lucid is wrapping around. And this whole time, Lucid is just like seeing the situation unfold. And it's like, oh, this is pretty good. Oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is a freebie.
Great bait, boys. And CV Max also pretty happy with how it's going. However, then he looks at the top lane, which is where it doesn't go so well.
Yeah. It was honestly a nice attempt from Shiwu with the flash and the knockaway, but when they have flashes too, you're just dead. I will say, a little bit awkward with him frozen in the air, and then like, who's taking the kill? Casting definitely should have got that kill, so a bit unfortunate Gideon got it, but at the end of the day,
not too bad. Not the end of the world. However, it is still looking like the lane is hard.
It's still a huge lead for D+. The thing is, right, Shiwu still has pressure in the lane, still has a bit of a CS lead. He's not really that far behind. But jungle's ahead because it has an extra kill. Mid is ahead because Yone is struggling in lane. Bot lane is ahead because they got CS, and now...
Oh, goodness me. They have no flashes! As Career is going to tank one more shot, Smash is going to take the next one, and Lucid is able to get himself out. Namgoon just realizes he's supporting no one, as Lucid decides he wants another turret shot because they deserved it.
And something to think about, Teddy used his barrier after he was already dead in the bot lane.
Yeah,
like, you remember, he used it after like everyone had circled around him, and there was no chance of him getting out. If he still had the barrier there, like, I don't think he survives, but maybe it's a scenario where they can get a trade kill, they have to invest a bit more, take an extra tower hit, so...
Well, I think Shiu's dead again, as we've just got guaranteed kills on both sides of the map for both teams. By the way, production is still just listing J champion names. They've also gone so far as to say Jarvan the Jorth.
I like that.
Should it not be Jarvan Jajorth? You really should just...
Jarvan Jajorth.
Or Jokta Jundo.
Jokta
just like, just Twisted Jate is very difficult. And should Jablunk be Jajlunk?
Jajlunk? That sounds horrible. This
is very bad. Do you want to talk about this replay?
This was pretty straightforward, but yeah, maybe the extra barrier there could have resulted in an extra tower hit. Have to be committed. Hard to say, but didn't have that available. This was pretty easy setup. I think when I think about Jajlunk, you know when people say stuff rolls off the tongue?
Yeah.
This is the exact opposite of that. This is not that at all.
It careens off the tongue. in a chaotic way. As Shiu and Casting just fighting one another. I'm starting to think of player names with J at the beginning. This is really frustrating.
Jasting.
We are jasting right now. Showmaker does have to flash to get out of the way of the ulti from Loki. The wraparound from Gideon would have almost definitely been a kill.
I've got a player name.
Oh, yeah.
J in the front instead. So instead of Shiwu, Jiwu.
Whoa, that's crazy.
It works so well.
Man. All right, well, I wonder whether that will be what they decide to do. I don't think we're subbing out Shiu just yet, though, as it turns out. Plus, Shiu is on Q and DRX and not on D+ Kia, so it's not exactly a substitution that we will be seeing at any time soon. It's all right. D+ still with a lot of shove, as Great Charm's going to connect onto Loki, who just wanted to utilize his Unbound Soul momentarily. Lucid's got Cataclysm now. But Teddy does have Flash, so does Namgun. So this could be a more difficult dive. Smash, pretty far up here, does get hit by the Arctic Assault, does need to take the Lantern to get out. And Lucid, he has a Flag and Drag in order to do the same. So D+ will survive, but the dive will be denied.
Yeah, I think, obviously, negating the dive is big, so
nice job.
Credit to Gideon for that. But I think you could have waited a little bit longer. You know, your bot lane had all summoners available. If you wait for them to commit to the dive, they can survive long enough, and by that point, you're guaranteed turnaround kills. I think because he showed before they committed, they still had all the tools to get out again. And, you know, negating the dive still has a lot of value, but D+ is still 2,000 gold up at 7 minutes. So I just think that maybe if you held off a little bit, played the patient game, they could have really got a big turnaround play there.
Yeah, it could have been good. However, at least mitigating, losing a bunch of kills and things like that towards that bottom side is a good move. Casting here without a gold lead. Even though Shiu has died twice, it hasn't seemed to have mattered for how this lane is going. His career is going to leapfrog Showmaker towards this minion wave as it crashes towards them. And so a lot of tempo being held onto here by D+, even through resets.
Oh, they are setting up for the grubs. Once again, Bro TPing in, committing heavily, saying we are going to fight
They
this.
like the grubs.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gideon. Gideon grubs.
True.
Gideon drubs.
Gideon drubs. Exactly right. That's what I was thinking. As there's a knock-up on the career as well, as Gideon looking for another angle here, as Lucid gets a nice double knock-up. Shiu makes his way down, and Gideon is just dead to start this one off. Cataclysm comes on through as Casting tries to keep himself alive, and Lucid somehow survives through it all. Still Loki's able to get at least one back, but it's only onto the support, and Showmaker just drifts on by to collect a triple kill. And I have a feeling the game might be Jova.
This is a subscription test.
Indeed. Showmaker with a pop-off Jari performance there. Because that's the thing, you know, you commit so heavily on this play onto the Dresh, and they put so much damage into him, but you're not getting the resets. Javan Jajor goes back in, and then because you're getting these kills, Jari is just getting so much momentum of the plays. You know, the Jonate does get a kill back onto the Dresh, but it's just more and more resets for Jari. And oh, Jari is so excited about that one.
Jaisa indeed. Our whole prompter is just full of, it's just a mess.
You know, production started writing
J's.
Jasta G, and I thought they were writing Jasta John.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I was actually dying during that replay. I could not handle it at all. Okay. Should we go back to normalcy, or is this game so done that we could probably just continue J-ing? It might just be the way.
Yeah, this one's looking like a bit of a tricky one for Hans and Brion to get back into.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. They do have tools, right? I mean, this composition is still really good. The problem is they're incredibly far behind, and so it almost makes no difference as to what their comp is going to be. And that's a malignant stun here for Showmaker. He also has the ignite, you know, like he's able to snowball this so beautifully. The new
skin for Jejuani.
Oh, it is the pug skin.
Oh my god, that is so
it is
ridiculous.
Absolutely adorable.
It's huge.
All right, well, we've also got a little bit of damage towards Smash here as Teddy just flashes on top of him. The Moonlight Vigil does come down, but it's not enough damage. And that is just Teddy wiping the floor with Smash. Hook is going to connect here onto Gideon, but it looks like that's what he kind of wanted as the pros outnumber them. There's the knockup, but it's a polymorph to come on through. Teddy will finally go down as the Cataclysm is invested. And Namgung
เรียบร้อยแล้วครับเรียบร้อยแล้วไม่รู้ต้องรอคนซับว่ะ คือตอนนี้ถ้าเกิดสมมติว่าซับใช่ป่ะจะมีโอกาสเป็นเสียงเคเลียส่วนใหญ่แล้วก็จะมีโอกาสเป็นเสียงเฟเกอร์แบบนิดนึงมีโอกาสเป็นเสียงโอเนอร์แบบแรริตี้เลยเพราะเสียงโอเนอร์แม่งโคตรดังถือว่าว้าว เคเลียก็คือเสียงน่ารักก็ยิงสแมัไหม
But then look at its eyes. It's just
It's like I'm taking so much more damage now. It's adorable. When he flashes out of the way as well, he's like now really sad, running away, Pug. Oh no.
That skin is just so over the top.
Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. But Joe Maker is now 4-0-1.
Yeah.
He can make anyone into Joe.
He is very Jed.
Indeed. Jed?
Fed.
Fed. Because I thought you meant like.
เรามาดูว่ามันจะเป็นยังไงวะที่ไม่รู้มันจะเป็นยังไงเหมือนกัน
Oh my goodness! Look at this skin. That is just phenomenal. I know we're not salespeople when it comes to skins, but I mean, if like we just owe it to the world to own that skin. I'm pretty sure.
I think I'm always
send the message to say make more skins that are this awesome.
You know, there's always the
แต่
glasses
เซตูนี่มันวีคจริงอ่ะเนี่ยมันเจอลูซิดแบบเข้ามาไล่แบบเนี้ยก็ทำอะไรไม่ได้แล้วอ่ะแม่ง
You know,
like the edgy
โคตรเซ็ง
skins.
อ่ะ
yes, the edgy
cool
skins. That's
stuff.
the right word. But just the
มัน
goofy
ไม่มีอะไรไป
ones
สู้กับเขาอ่ะ
up so peak.
Yep.
ไม่สู้ไงอ่ะโดนแย่งกันโดนดูดิ
Also
Ui,
able to take
Lucid.
the Grump away. Unfortunately,
เดี๋ยวนะเขามีนั่นนะ
might be taken away as well. However, they do just make their way out. Looks like Gideon is going to survive. As casting's overheated here towards the top side. Shiu goes to the skies. The equalizer avoided here as he goes into range form. Shock blast is going to miss. And I still think that casting's in a very awkward spot.
Casting
Speaking of awkward spots, Teddy and Namgung finding themselves on the wrong side of this one as Showmaker just drifts his way in once again. Doesn't find the charm that is able to very comfortably take down Teddy for his 5th kill of the game.
Yeah, this game is really not going well for Hanjin Brion. At this point, Showmaker so
50นะ Showmaker
doesn't really need to connect much of his abilities. It's that point where you're just ulting and pressing W and someone dies. Casting didn't go down. He does have flash, so I think he was looking for an all-in angle.
อุ้ย
As Loki as well, also looking for a bit of an angle here.
เห็นนะ
But there is control vision. And it looks like Shiu is just going to go home. Smash should be able to take down this turret as it's not even 14 minutes into the game yet, and it's a 6,000 gold lead. That is a very large lead of gold.
Yeah, that's substantial. Significant. And Teddy, again, he's trying to make something happen because he knows the looming threat that's coming in. But like Showmaker doesn't get like the return on the Q, doesn't get the charm, because he doesn't need to. He just has that much damage. And I think that's the point where Ahri kind of hits critical mass. Because if you hit like if you're at the point where you have to hit everything to kill someone, you're still strong. But if you're at the point where you don't need to hit everything,
Yeah.
oh man, then Ahri just takes over games. 10-stack Medjai is picked up as well.
Yeah, I think that he had 10 stacks on his Dark Seal for quite some time as well. And so now just wants to keep
แต่
adding
เหมือนยูฟ่า
pages
แชม
to
เปี้ยนลีก
that
จริง
book.
ตอนเนี้ย
And this is when you should be very scared of
ดีเคก็แบบได้แต้มอีกแล้วว่ะ
as Showmaker is having a bit of a day.
ทีวันแม่งก็ยังเหนื่อยวันนี้เจนจีคิดว่าน่าจะชนะนะ
With a victory here, if D+ are able to keep this up.
ไม่น่า
As
แพ้
he's pushing in a side lane for now,
DN
we'll
Super
be able to take even more money. But there are bounties on the map. It's not even 15 minutes yet. This is shellacking territory that we're heading towards.
Yeah, this is pretty brutal. I mean, especially game one, Hanjin Brion had a big lead, managed to maintain it for a lot of the game, and they just got outplayed in the team fights. This game, they have a lot of team fighting power, but I don't know if they're going to get there. Every lane is over 1,000 gold down.
Well, there's a teleport in. They're looking to try and get this shutdown gold from Showmaker, who just spirit rushes away. Does have a blast cone here as well, as there is a fight on the other side, and Showmaker is heading over there. That is going to be the Glacial Prison coming down, but it's a flash hook from Korea to lock the kill down for Smash.
It's gone.
Now Loki looking for a bit of an angle, gets a nice little
Bro,
knock-up,
game
but I
นี้
just don't think they can commit to this without their jungler here. Slurkle comes on through as Korea gets himself a little bit of a shield with the Lantern, but the Bros, they just can't commit to this, even with Shiu towards the bottom side. They're just not strong enough.
This is a problem with going for like this
มันต้องเป็น
collapse
บู
play
ของปะ
onto an Ahri. Is you have so much mobility, you can leave the top lane, you can evade the gank they're going for, and you can actually make it to the fight going on in the mid lane. So like there was just no real chance they were going to get Showmaker, but he's able to join in here. The ult has to be used on him defensively, but Korea with a flash,
หมดความชอบธรรมแล้ว
CC and the follow-up is there, and you know the mid and top Loki and casting just kind of awkwardly standing there like, oh, yeah, we were trying to catch him.
Yeah.
How bad.
Didn't quite work out. That is a couple of pages added to Showmaker's Forbidden Book as well. I do want to shout out Korea. He's 100% kill contribution here at 16.5 minutes into the game. Pretty impressive for the Thresh.
So far.
Yeah, maybe it's not. I think Showmaker is the obvious POM, but maybe Korea is the thinking man's POM. That is going to be a dragon against the flow of play here as Lucid is going to take the Herald exit.
โลไปชนะใครมา1
No follow-up and Teddy just
แต่กี้เปิดดูเป็นฮาวาไลครับ
rides over the top of them. Down goes Gideon as well. The equalizer is not able to do enough at all.
ไม่ไหวว่ะไม่ตี Thunder เด้ง
does next to nothing as well. Showmaker just dancing around the battlefield, reset after reset, and that is a clean ace for D+ Kia, and they're going to follow Shelly towards this in the bottom lane.
I think Lucy just had the perfect team fight. You know, starts off by placing down the Combat Herald, doesn't get the Dragon, so maybe that's the one criticism. But he has the Herald ready, so when they engage onto him, he soaks all this damage up front, but it doesn't matter because he goes into the Herald.
คือจะใช้แผนเหมือนฮาวาไลไงที่แบบลัมเบอร์วันติแล้วก็โลกิแบบโยเนอันติด้วยอะไรเงี้ยแต่ว่านั้นมันแบบเซกากับซูเตอร์ดิมันไม่ได้อะเลนก็ไม่ผ่านแล้วอะ
Showmaker with all these resets was just crazy.
And now it's a Lucid POM.
วันนี้พี่ไม่ได้ใส่เสื้อเกจีมาเชียร์พี่โชว์หรอครับประธานคนรักกลุ่มคนรักโชวี่แห่งประเทศเฮ้ยเดี๋ยวต้องใส่เดี๋ยวพี่ต้องไปเปลี่ยนเสื้อละเพราะว่ามันจำเป็นนะเพราะว่า
I don't think you're giving it to Shiu this game. That's probably for sure. But even Smash was
เพราะตอนนี้เจนจีฟอร์มไม่ดีเนาะ
that's
แต่ฟอร์มพี่ว่าดีกว่าทีวันแล้วตอนนี้
Smash has just been like consistently solid.
Yep.
Which often doesn't get the POM over the flashy, but still deserves a lot of praise.
ใส่มาเชียร์หรือใส่มาแช่งผมขอถาม
And now
11,400.
Yeah.
It's a very big lead.
Substantial.
They have a lot of jolt.
Oh, they do.
And we were praising the bro composition, right? Hanjin have a lot of really good champions that can work quite well together. Just unfortunately, this game fell away from them extraordinarily quickly, and they got no value out of overloading the top side of the map and foregoing bottom lane. As there's the ulti from Loki, but it's going to be interrupted there by Lucid. Needs to flash the charm, and it's just bro trying to use everything to survive and having nothing to do any battle.
เมื่อคืนที่ตอนที่ไปนอนพี่แม่งมีเพลงไอ้นั่นอยู่ในหัวตลอดเลยไอ้ฟีเวอร์มีมอะ
Minion wave is going to be conga lining in, but it's going to take a little while still. They just stick around, take it down after those minions fall just before.
พี่ถามจริงนะพี่คิด
is going to come back up again.
พี่คิดถึงกูมายูชิกับซูสไหมที่วันฟอร์มแบบนี้ปฏิเสธไม่ได้ว่าไม่เกี่ยวกับฟอร์มแต่ว่ามันก็คือต่อให้ฟอร์มดีมันก็คิดถึงอยู่ดีเว้ย
So let's say you commit your engage onto Smash Shiwu, they flash, you don't get the initial kill. You're now just going to get chased down by Showmaker, and it's just impossible to escape when he's getting these constant resets.
ชุดตำนาน
I mean, he can also just run at them. He's got a 25 stack Magi's.
Yeah.
It's going to be very tough. He's also got a dash cannon on top of everything else. There are barely any items on Loki right now. Teddy does at least hit 2, but you really want that Infinity Edge before you're really hard carrying a team fight.
Smash
โลที่ไร้หลอดมองแกน
i.e. LDR. He's so close to having that trio, and on Aphelios specifically, that just makes your ult hit like a truck.
He is really going to be hurting, as the Baron has
that
just spawned 11
OFTK
seconds
Man
ago,
U
and I imagine
cast
D+ are well aware of it.
พี่ว่า
Thinking about potentially
เอา
going
จริง
for
มัน
an
คือ
ult
คลาส
next time they win a fight.
พี่ว่า
I
สำหรับ
mean,
พี่
it
นะ
could
มัน
just be
คือ
game over. As Lucid
มัน
looking
คือ
clear
แม
out
นยู
vision.
ปี
And
2007
there is no inner turret here. They can just go in if they would
ยู
like
ฟ่า
to.
แชมเปี้ยนลีกมอสโก
Quite have
เชลซี
the,
แบบจอห์นเทอร์รี่ลื่นล้ม
personnel to
ปี
make
นั้น
that one happen. Smash is clearing out the mid lane. Shiu doing the same thing on the bottom side, and the map is very small if you're Hanjin Breon.
They can honestly just start up the Baron. They have the DPS with Smash with those weapons.
Yeah.
Showmaker's playing for picks as well.
พี่คิดยังไงที่ทีมอื่นชนะเจน
Very
จีหมด
difficult to
ยก
approach,
เว้น
especially you have
จุ
a
ด
Lulu support. How is Namgun going to approach this without just dying?
It is. Look at the Baron's health bar. It is just.
เอาง่ายๆนะ
Charm is
เล็ง
going to
ถึง
connect there as Gideon
เล็งถึงเวอ
takes
ร์
half of his health bar.
แมน
The
ยู
Baron
ไม่ใช่แมนยู
just
ทีวัน
gone. Nothing. That Hanjin
เล็ง
Breon
แค่
can
ถ้วย
do
เวอร์เว้ย
is close to a 14,000
ให้น้องเพลสหน่อย
gold lead. 21 minutes.
Pretty sizable.
This is probably the most one-sided game that we've seen all season.
We've had some really one-sided games.
It is true, but I do feel like this is getting up there.
Là
It's
mang-
close, but we've had some games
เตจูนี่
where
แม่ง
like
ออกแบนเดอร์
one
ไพชิ้นสอง
kill or one grub up perfect. game.
That is true.
So
โคโรพาสแบนเดอ
They
ร์ไพ
did drop 4 kills.
it's definitely
Holy
very
crap.
it's up there, but we've had some super one-sided games, but it's in that realm, which is especially crazy given how close game one was.
Yeah.
It's been, D+ have kind of switched on from a game that they won. Weren't happy with just a close game, and now we're in a
ถ้าจะเอาดี
fantastic position.
ๆ ตอนนี้โดรานต้องคืนฟอร์ม
Gonna
ก่อน
pick up the dragon. Didn't get that dragon early, so they don't have soul, which would have been a huge boon. But with Baron in hand now, they're already up to the
จริง
inhibitor
นะ
towers.
มันก็
So
พี่คิดว่ามันก็จริง
they're
เพ
going
ราะ
to
ว่า
start cracking on the base. And I think for Hanjin Breon,
ข้างบนมัน
tends
มัน
to
เหมือน
be the
มัน
approach
มัน
you
เล
see
น
at
มัน
this point is you try and pick someone in any lane. Jace is
อย่างที่
probably
อย่าง
the
ที่บอกจริง
easiest
ตอนนั้นมัน
target because you have
50-50 เลย
protection of the Thresh with them at all times, and Ari
มัน
is
เจอใคร
obviously
ก็
easy to get.
50-50 เลย แต่ถ้าเจอพวกคีนกับ
Ooh,
Sivu
Charm is quite
perfect
going to
นี่มัน
work here as
หลุด
Glacial
เลย
Prison did fly on forward. Showmaker wanting to protect that book that he's been stacking up so diligently. And this just all buys time for Shiu to absolutely obliterate this inhibitor turret on the top side of the map. But Jace, with free time on a turret, just kills it.
Yeah.
As the hook going to go wide here from Korea. But, I mean, the damage is just being done, right? You just drop your wallets on them, and these inhibitor turrets will fall. Showmaker still moving towards this bottom lane aggressively, despite not having ulti, not having flash.
This is kind of the problem with going for the Ari, is that getting Showmaker's ult and flash is nice, don't get me wrong, but you commit your big team fight ultimates for it,
Yeah.
and it just means T+ can push up the other lanes, no problem.
He also
Shiu
does the
inhibitors
least
down.
damage to turrets out of
Yeah.
the other two lanes that were getting pushed, right? Smash and Shiu both just
แต่ปกติ
obliterate
แล้ว
these
ว่า
structures.
มันไม่ควรเป็นอย่างนี้
And now
เนาะ
they're still
คือ
able to move on over and get
ทีม
all
ที่แบบ
three of these
แม่ง
inhibitors
ฟอร์ม
if they
ดี
would
ได้
like
แช
to.
มป์เวอร์มันควรจะรักษาทีมไว้ได้ แต่มันรักษาไม่ได้ด้วยเงื่อนไขของ
Even in terms of being
Fair
resources,
play.
by the time your engage is back up, Showmaker's ult
เอ
is
อ
back
การ
up
เงิน
as
อะไรเงี้ย
well, so he's not even an easy target.
มันควรจะ
after
แย
you
ก
get
จากการตอน
your
ที่แบบ
engage back.
Well, they're still
ทีม
gonna
ฟอร์ม
look
ไม่
for
ดี
it,
อะไร
and
เงี้ย
as, yeah, Showmaker just walks his way out. Does have to use the ulti, I guess. Does have another charge on that one, but they are still sieging here as Shiu just dives on in. They're going to look to separate the Jace from the fight, but Gideon's also looking to get separated from Summoner's Rift right now, as the first Nexus turret will be going down. Smash with Gravitum in hand, as well as that Infernum. These ultis will
คือ
be
ถ้าเกิดปีนี้จบ
very
ปุ๊บ
scary.
ปีหน้าโอนเนอร์หรือเคเลียไปอยู่ฮาวาไลด้วยนี่กูแบบซึมเลย
They're looking to take down Smash. They will be able to do so, but the Yanara is traded for it. Gideon goes down as well as Shiu just flashes out of the way. Showmaker not a whole lot of mana right now, but I don't think he's too worried about it. It's casting on his last legs in this one. Still, without Lucid and without Smash, I think this siege is over, although the Bro base is also just kind of over
จริงเหรอ
at
โอ
the
เนอ
same
ร์
time.
โดนขันถึง
Only the Nexus
2028อ่ะ
left, and I know we've seen a lot of historic
ก็แค่ย้ายทีมเชียร์พี่เฮ้ยแล้วเฟเกอร์ไม่มีทางไปอยู่แล้ว
This is still, it's a hard sell. Teddy does a good job here of getting the damage down onto
คือมันจะ
Smash.
เป็นทีมที่แบบเฟเกอร์หนึ่ง
And
คน
because
สู้
they
กับ
still have the tower helping, it does mean they're able to make this fight relatively favorable. Showmaker low mana with no ult. That momentum we saw in earlier fights doesn't come through. It makes a big difference. The problem is, as you said, base is in shambles. Showmaker just picked up a Rabadons with that 25 stack Medjais. I think it's just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, it's not exactly enough of a defense there because, of course, they went 2 for 2. Yes, you get some shutdown gold, but as we can see at the top of the screen, 15,000 gold is still the advantage here at 25 minutes, and that is an obscene amount of money that DK has. You were talking about that Rabadon's Death Cap. That one does get completed. There's also just a cheeky Phantom Dancer here for Smash. And you got 3 items done here for Shiu as well. As this Nexus, even without a Baron, I mean, there is just nothing protecting it. And the Nexus turrets aren't going to be up for another minute and a half as well. As Gideon just throws the Glacial Prison to Narnia. Lucid goes in, looks for a bit of an angle, but Loki is separated. And there is the Cataclysm to lock them all down. Down goes Gideon. The equalizer placement was decent there from casting, but unfortunately, it just does not do enough. And D+ Kia with an absolute slaughter here in game number 2 will take down the Nexus for a 2-0.
จริงเหรอเคเลียหรือว่าเปิดตัวโฮมการ์ดต่อสัญญาแบบปู่
Such a struggle for Hanjin Brion really to have any sort of way in on that one. Game 1 was close. I think gave the fans a lot of hope. Gave Hanjin Brion a lot of hope that they could maybe find a way to stay in this series. But Game 2 made it clear that there is a gap between these two teams. And when D+ play it right, play it correct, and have Showmaker on form, they're a hard team to match.
Yep. Everyone in chat saying
เอาอะไรมีสัญญากับเดลไลท์2 ปีนะพี่ไม่เอาเคเลียอยู่แล้ว
JJ's all over the chat right now. JJ's. I hope this isn't a thing forever, but maybe it can be a thing for every single D+ versus Brion series. We just bring back everything starts with J. And just one more for the road. Jojath is brilliant.
Jojath, yeah. You know what? I can't even remember why we started doing this.
Neither do I. I think it was when Jason Jarvan were locked in.
Oh
and then
yeah,
it all just kind of went ridiculous.
You said five.
There were 5 J's.
Jarvan the 5th, yes.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh,
you know, I like to hang on to that because I feel like so often we start something and I have no idea why we started it, and we still have it months later.
Yeah. Sometimes things start as well, and even at the time where like this shouldn't be a thing, but then Tempo Vibes still exists now.
Oh,
and that just,
you know what? I'm gonna say it. I much prefer this to Tempo Vibes.
I know you do, because we didn't like it at the beginning. I was even like a little bit upset that I'd done it, and then I just kept doing it. As Jarvan comes on in, and Lucid just kind of wins the game here.
Yeah. Janara, I think Jetty had some good fights where he was really trying to make things happen, but just a lot of threats on the opposing side made it difficult. And Joe Make on the Jari was just really taking off, really finding the momentum. And it felt like you just weren't able to lose the fights gracefully because you'd get so much momentum. And this fight from Juicid was just, with the Gerald, was so great.
Yeah, the Gerald play was fantastic. And unfortunately, the jumble was just a bit of a jumble this game.
Yeah, a bit all over the place.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jumble's first loss in the LCK proper.
So I guess the Jace angle, because his name actually starts with J, gives him enough power in order to get over the top.
Yeah,
and also,
make him more powerful.
Yeah, because if you change the Rumble's name to Jumble, it doesn't feel nearly as scary. And it looks like D+ were very calm at the end of this game. Oh, never mind. Korea starts popping off. Penta.
I love just watching these and seeing how quickly they start talking about Penta. This is definitely a game where you start talking about it early because they're so far ahead. It's open Nexus.
They could have just attack moved.
But it's always,
base.
You know, it's Ruler and Gen G. I feel like one of the ones who started so quickly. Ruler's like, oh, I've got to kill
Penta.
It's okay.
This is one of the most linear graphs that we've seen for quite some time. This was an absolute slaughter. D+ Kia really feeling like they are getting back on the horse after some difficult matches, as Showmaker is the one that's able to pick up the POM this time around. I think him, Lucid, or Korea are all pretty good choices, but 807 with his fully stacked Majai's having a day out on the Ari, looked absolutely brilliant on the Annie as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think game 1, just like the pockets of vision, he was playing around to get some of those engages. Like, there was the one onto Teddy, there was the one later onto Gideon, really set up the fights. And I think that game alone sort of put him in, he's having a good game, having a good series. And then game 2 was just, I mean, no-brainer. So definitely deserving of the POM. But I always like it when there's a bit of a spread of votes because there was a lot of good play from D+ today.
Yeah, honestly, just a bit of a return to form. And oftentimes you talk about the opposition being not necessarily the most dangerous, but for D+ Kia, the Bros are a legitimate threat. because they just randomly lose to the Bros all the time. So the fact that they really showed up here today, I think, is a huge deal. You can see Showmaker there just waiting to get into his interview, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Showmaker especially because he had been struggling a little bit in a few of their matches despite the fact that they had been picking up some wins, and so this was a huge return to form for him. And it will be great to hear from him about exactly what the turnaround was.
Yeah, and I think when Showmaker's in good form, he can just be so dominant.
Yeah, well, let's just hear from him now, shall we?
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Showmaker on the side of D+Kia. Congratulations! Thank you. You must feel amazing. And with that victory over Hanjin Brion, you just claimed your first winning streak of the season. And now you have climbed up to all the way up to 3rd place. How do you feel? You know, we knew that our matches this week would be quite crucial. And before today, we were actually 6th place. So it really felt like it's about time that we climb up. So it just feels amazing that we were able to win today. And this is your first POM this season. And while watching Smash and Siu take all the POMs, were you proud of them? Yeah, I mean, I was really proud of them. And honestly, as a professional gamer myself, I do have a lot of ambition regarding my own individual performance and career. So yeah, I felt a little regretful and I wanted to get this POM. And Hanjin Brion versus you since last year until today have been trading match wins and have had a 3-5 record. So what did you focus on the most in preparation for today? I think we just try to refine our in-game plays as well as go over the draft and execute as well as much as we can with the plays that we had in mind. And so game 1, early to mid game looked pretty tough for you guys. So how were the players reading the game as favorable? Yeah, in game 1, there were some moments where we struggled, and I think other than the Varus lane, we were actually pretty good. And I think my teammates did really well in the end, and honestly, just being able to teamfight well actually just paid off. And Showmaker, do you remember this moment in this Fog of War? Your performance was amazing. Yeah, we had really rough vision over here, but because we were able to sort of pin down the Ezreal here, honestly, our combo was a little lacking here, but honestly, the angle was just too good for us to lose in this team fight specifically. And it looks like D+Kia definitely seems to prioritize the Lee Sin and Annie comp. And out of 4 appearances in the LCK, 3 of those were by you guys. So how do you rate this comp? Honestly, Lucid is so good with Lee Sin, and in this combo, I feel like Lee Sin is the really crucial role. So I feel like as long as we have faith in how good Lucid is, it actually does go well for us. And it looks like you guys created a 2k gold lead by 20 minutes in game 2, so where did the gap start? Honestly, during that 3v3 skirmish, it went really well for us, and I think we were able to speed up with all the ganking afterwards, and then it ended up becoming a very snowbally game. And after that win against T1, your head coach CV Max also spoke very highly of your winning mentality, so it looks like it really worked well for today's win as well. So how did you end up developing that winning mentality? I think it's just the numerous practice that really pays off. I think the experience is what ends up giving us the confidence, and I think just being able to execute it on the real stage is what actually helps the most. And Showmaker, you just hit 700 total games in the LCK, so a belated congratulations! What kind of mid laner do you dream to be? I'm really happy that I have played 700 games, and as a mid laner that I've dreamed of becoming, I think this is something that I have been saying since my rookie days. I just want to be a consistent player, and I will try my best and work even harder for that. And after that fantastic performance from you, your next opponent is DN Supers. Your mindset? DN Supers, they're preparing for their next match behind us right now. Well, fighting for both of us. I hope that we can continue the winning streak. And that's all from Showmaker, and back to the desk. Thank you.
On Quantum, they felt like the scrim results they got with him were good. And I think, with 3 potential supports that they could have put in, I think regardless of your feeling on each individual, I think it's good that they pick one and commit to one.
Yeah,
I think this is what we think is right for us.
Well, players making their way out now. You can see Quantum with
ที่ไม่ได้ดูนานมันเปลี่ยน
as well. Maybe that plays a part into it as well.
เปลี่ยนเหรอครับแชทเปลี่ยนซัพพอร์ตแบบ
definitely valuable.
ใครวะน่ะ
He has some pretty difficult work ahead of him though, up against Duro, who I think he did meet in Challenger
แล้วปีเตอร์ของพี่อะ
a couple of years ago before Duro made his explosive
Where is my
debut
Peter?
To the LCK. And even then, it was a
Quantum เหรอ
difficult time for Quantum, who has
Quantum
been
เวอร์ชัน
pretty
ตั
up
ด
and
ผม
down
เหรอน่ะ
with his performances. But let's just see whether Odin is actually onto something here or not. Whether Quantum will be able to give them better results than Peter or Life.
I think the thing is, this is a hard matchup generally, playing into GENG. But if there's ever a time where the DN Supers can upset GENG, this is the form GENG have to be in. So I think sometimes you have a player who's been pulled up, and it's when they're going up against a top team in the league, and you think, wow, this is just brutal. This is just such a hard position to be put in. And the thing is, the last match they played was against KT. That was really the difficult match. That was the one where it's like, how are you supposed to win that? Because they're the top team right now. GENG, based on what we've seen so far, they're middle of the pack. This is a winnable match based on what we've seen so far, if DNS can perform at the absolute best. And this is a team where they've struggled. They haven't looked great. They have had a lot of hardships. But if these players play at their best, we know they are capable of a much higher level. Now, if GENG play at their best, it's a wash. But they've been struggling. I think that's the thing, is both of these teams have been struggling to play at their highest level from what we've seen so far. And unfortunately for DNS, GENG's baseline is a good amount higher, but it's within reaching distance for sure.
I would agree. And I also feel like sometimes the man that was just on your screen just has his day. Goshik is certainly able to get pretty incredible things done. We then just immediately pan over to Chovy, which does kind of then
สวัสดีครับโชวี่สวัสดีครับ
GENG also have their days.
วันนี้เอาจริงปะเนี่ย
Sometimes Chovy is just
วันนี้เอาจริงหรือเปล่า
impossible to
โช
beat.
วี่
And Closer has his work cut out for him in that mid lane if he wants to make something happen. But we have, like you say, seen
มีเกมผีไหมครับช่วงนี้โหวันนี้มีเกมเล่นกับอันนี้เกมผีป่ะวะไอ้แบ็กลูมนี่เกมผีป่ะ
Whether we're going to see the Canyon that just doesn't really do anything until later on in the game. Also, I think the draft is going to be very interesting. Last time we saw GENG play up against HLE, I'm pretty sure it was in that Saturday showdown. I just hated the way they drafted. I'm not going to lie. It was not really inspiring.
I think a lot of things have kind of been going wrong for GENG. I mean, obviously, for them to be in this position, but a lot of their sort of worst traits, things that have been criticized.
วันไหนนะวันนี้แบ็กลูม
kind of been like, well, we're not a huge
ไม่มี
fan of
ผีเหรอ
this. We're not a huge fan of the
กู
draft.
ไม่น่าใช่
but they're still winning
คว
a
อน
lot
ตัม
of
เวอร์ชัน
matches,
แบบ
so
น่าจะไปนี่ปะ
Canyon, little
ทหารอะไรอย่างงี้ปะ
on the rift, but
พี่เจ
they're still winning domestically every match.
ฝากเอารถไปเก็บ
So
เลย
is it a big deal? And the thing is, in
เอารถเข็
LCK
นมา
Cup, they were playing extremely well. So
ไม่เอาก็พี่เจจะลงไปแล้วก็พี่เจลงไปแล้วก็เอารถเข็นไม่เก็บ
the drafts were good. Canyon was super
คนมันเยอะ
proactive.
ไม่
So
ไหว
it's just weird that
ต่อ
after
แถ
they
วขึ้น
lost
ลิ
the
ฟต์อะ
first stand,
อย่างกับญี่ปุ่น
regressed
ยี่ลิฟต์แม่งเหลือตัวเดียว
not even because obviously
ร้อน
they
ชิบ
were
เป่ง
great
เลย
in
ร้อนแบบ
the LCK Cup. They're playing worse than that. They're playing worse than they were last year, and it's just worrying. But we'll see
อยากกินมาล่า
if and when they can bounce back. They have gone for second pick, so the opportunity to go for counter pick. I will say something that I've found with GENG. They don't tend to give a ton of priority towards Keen in terms of like giving him counter pick or in terms of the draft.
เดี๋ยวพี่เจเอาข้าวเปล่าพี่ด้วยอย่าลืมข้าวเปล่าอย่างเดียว
Given they've gone for
แล้วก็เอาเนื้อเยอะพี่เนื้อสไลด์พี่เจ
towards a support role.
I would really like to see GENG draft a lot more reactively.
พี่ลองโบนัสสุกี้ยังไม่ได้ลองเลย
Had this idea of what the best looks like and then just sort of not cared about what the opposition gets. That sort of
GENG ตรงคงไม่ถึงขนาดแพ้ DNS หรอกใช่ไหม 2-0 เกมละ23 นาทีครับ GENG
the things that they're giving up and being able to
2-0 DNS
counter appropriately, but
เกมละ23 ไม่ถึง
because they banned Rumble. That is a good move.
Yeah. Safe bet. Karma probably going to be another one of the things that gets banned away here. Normally it's that. Varus, Orianna.
Yep. So it could just be a Varus ban to finish it off, and that's sort of very tier-listy.
I mean, what DN Supers could do is they could ban like Nocturne, and then, okay, they just go for the Varus. So I presume GENG go for the Orianna here.
Does that mean a Ryze first pick or something like that?
I think the Ryze first pick has kind of fallen out of favor.
Especially when Chovy's most played is Anivia. That's a good point.
Yeah. I was saying they could maybe go for the Nocturne and then ban, and then GENG ban Varus, and then they get Orianna first pick, but instead they ban the Varus, so it's just straight up there. Seraphine first pick. So this is a little risky because I think GENG are a team who will pick stuff to kill it, to punish it. You know, Dura's had
วันนี้เปียวซิกล่างเวอร์เหรอ
We know he'll play Pike as well.
จะตัด Ash ไหม
Pick away the Ash
Yeah.
as well.
You know, that's a question. Will they just pick away the Ash as a denial? We will see.
You could also, Ash Jarvan could be an option here, and then you've got the Jarvan on your side. Jarvan obviously is going to be top of the tier list as far as jungle, especially with the Pantheon ban, so this is a bit of a no-brainer. But it's about whether or not they do decide to go for the denial of the Ash.
ถ้าเซเลฟิน ADC เป็นไงวะ
I think very important to make sure you have a good 2v2.
คุณเจอลีซินแน่
Whether you want to deny the Ash or you want to go for
คุณ
something
เจน
that
จี
punishes. So
ลีซินของเปียวซิก
now. If you leave it until after this, the second rotation of bans, might be harder to get your hands on what you need to deal with the Ash Seraphine.
Let's see exactly what they're going to do. They are taking their time. The Azir going to be locked in for
ปล่อย
Chovy,
แอชมา
and you can see even the camera guy didn't expect that would be the pickup here.
So Ash Seraphine
Ash
is out.
That's
Super strong
crazy
trio.
strong.
Yeah, really strong pickup. You know, we always talk about the healing
ดกดำหล่อมาก
Zinzao, buffing him up.
คิดว่าให้เป็นคนที่หล่อสุดในลีกแล้วตอนนี้
You
เพราะว่า
have
ดกด
the engage threats as well when Zinzao goes in.
คือแบบจมูก
One of the things
แบบ
with Zinzao is he's not
ห
like
ลายๆอย่าง
the best primary engager. You know, his engage is I dash in on you.
Yeah.
But when you have an Ash Seraphine, you don't need that. So this is such a strong core for DNS already. And for
Is it just
GENG,
Jace?
it might just be Jace. That does seem like the sort of thing you'd expect at this point.
Yeah, they can then protect it. It's going to be Nautilus
เอา
instead.
นอนมาจัด
Okay,
การ
so they are grabbing
ว้าว
something
ดูโรได้เล่น
to make
นอ
sure that
ติ
they
รูส
have something to respond to
ว้าว
Ash
GENG
Seraphine, and
ปรับ
it is
แผน
something that
ว่า
Nautilus that has pretty consistent engage.
เลือกซัพพอร์ตให้ก่อนแล้วดูโรได้สบายใจ
So hard to avoid.
ไม่เลือกเจสด้วยเป็นพิกที่ดีด้วยเจสแต่ว่าไม่เลือก
Does have a lot of threat onto
เอา
these longer
นอติรูสให้ดู
range
โล
picks.
ก่อน
I think, you know, something like Alistair gets destroyed level 1. Leona, you can just take cleanse into it, and the range isn't as high on the Zenith Blade. But Nautilus has a lot of kill threat. Jace will be banned though.
แบนเจสเลยละกัน
Kind
เรา
of expect that. I like the Akali ban. I think Akali Zinzao would be so hard to deal with the healing and shielding.
LeBlanc also just protecting
อา
Chovy's
เซียนเหมือนจะ
here in this mid lane.
สบายนะ
Actually,
แบน
I feel
มิด
like
ไป
the Nautilus
3
for that
ตัว
reason as well, because if you did lock the Jace,
เหลืออะไร
then
วะ
you'd sort of be forced into Sion and
ต้องเป็นตัวที่แบบ
Yorick
เจโฟ
bans,
แกง
but
แล้วแบบ
instead
เซ็ง
they
ด้วย
open the floor
ไล
with
ซ์
that
เหรอ
one. Jin going to be taken away from Ruler
มัน
as
จะเป็นไล
well.
ซ์ปะ
I say gleefully. And let's see what Ruler is going to be locking away here. They could secure the bottom lane if they would like to. They can already see the enemy bottom lane face up and then give King counterpick. And I would suggest that is what they do.
พี่ว่าท็อป
Not a whole
เล
lot
น
of
เป็น
easy
เคซัน
options.
เต้
Maybe
นี่
it's just
ดีเลยนะ
Ezreal, speaking of easy. Because of course you can just kind of
เอาซิ
say
ก
no
มา
to the lane. But this does it even better.
รูเลอร์ครับซิก
As Ruler
เลน
going
บ
to
น
lock
ต้องเป็น
away the
ADC
six.
ถ้าเกิดกดเคซันเต้มาปุ๊บเจอเวนเลย100%พี่ว่าตอนนี้แม่งมีโอกาสเป็นเวน เวนนรกเนี่ย 70% คีน ต้องเลือกท็อปเลนแบบเล่นหนาก็ไม่ได้ ตัวอะไรวะ ลำบากจังเลยอ่ะ ตัวอะไรที่มันจะเป็นบายพิกแล้วเลนเน็กก่อนเลนเน็กเจอเวนก็ลำบากอีก
and the damage in his Q just to destroy the waves
ทำไมไม่เป็นเวนตรงนี้วะ
Supers though go in the Aurora
เขาคงไม่อยากให้แบบมันเป็นเคอร์เรนคอแบบ
Because
พร้อม
maybe
กับ
Kane wants to play Vayne.
คาตาลิซึมแบบอัน
At
ติ
this
เจโฟ
time,
แหละ
they don't have an AD carry. So
คุณ
maybe
กดแทงมาคุณโดนเลนเน็กโดนแน่นอน
and into Renekton.
เวนรูเน่ เวนรูเน่
Well, they're
he
gonna do it
gone by
anyway.
the
So
name
Renekton
of
blind, he
Wayne
play
Rooney
Nah, and there.
no
No, Jarvan, pretty strong combo together. So don't have a traditional AD carry in this situation, but a lot of ways where if they get on top of this backline, but the
Wait,
DNS
so
they
bad,
can't just
right?
explode them.
เอามาคอมโบ
I
กับ
think both teams
อาเซีย
have ways to punish the opposing backline quite comfortably. Lots of threats.
แต่ว่านาเป็นตัวเคาน์เตอร์เลนิก
Could
แบ
it
บ
come
ฉ่
down to execution there?
ำคือไม่
I will
ฉ่ำมาก
say,
แต่ว่า
though,
เลนิกสู้
there's a
ยาก
lot of early pressure from DN Supers in the bot lane.
แล้วก็เราจะเห็นในโปรซีนนาแม่งโซโล่คิวเลนิกบ่อยด้วย
And I want to see
ประมาณ
Kanji be
แบบ
more proactive than we have before.
เลนให้
You know, if Quantum does
70
not
30
really overextending, go over these
ยิ่
heavy
งเป็น
trades
คีน
and
พี่
look
ว่า
to
น่าจะ
punish
ผ่าน
that. Don't just let them play the 2v2 out without impact.
Yeah, and I also think that they
เดี๋ยว
could
ที่วัน
focus on
วัน
putting
เสาร์อาทิตย์นี้
elsewhere on the map
โชว์
ahead
ฟอร์ม
as
ฉายไร
well,
ครับ
right?
เดี๋ยวคอย
Let
ดู
the
ดู
Ziggs
ในแชท
sort of just sit
ที่
there
วัน
and clear waves,
เสาร์อาทิตย์นี้
try not to die, do it more that way.
เพราะว่าเราได้
The year of Dudu, it was the first year that we
โค้ด
had
มาใหม่ปะ
here
โค้
in
ด
the
แบบ
LCK, and
โค้ด
so I guess
ลอง
yeah,
ปะ
year of Dudu might just be it. She could be onto something. Let's see whether he's Renekton into Nah.
พูดตามตรงว่า
Keen's Nah,
Easy Wu Lane
for
ที่ไม่
that
รู้จัก
fact.
ด้วยซ้
I mean, if he does win this matchup, I'm back on the year of Dudu hype train.
Yep.
And I was never really on it, but the years I suggested were not great.
ำจริงเหรอมา
There's been a
R2
lot of
นะครับ
years coming and going.
Yes.
You know, feels like
อ๋อช่วง
I think it
ราว
just
สอง
means going. Maybe Dudu's
Yeah.
going to stick around. As it's time, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump onto the rift for game one.
ตึง
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number one. The DN Supers take on GENG as Ruler on not an 80 carry.
ราวสองนี่มัน
Feels like he's
สัปดาห์
not
ไหน
the kind of guy that would do this all that often, but I
หมายถึ
believe
ง
he
week
has kind
6เหรอ
of brought the Ziggs into his
หรือว่า week
wheelhouse,
ห้า
you could say. You've mentioned
ประมาณนี้
wheelhouse
มั้ง
before a couple of times.
yeah, it's what a weird.
It
He learns
is.
so much about
ดาเมจ
Wheelhouse.
พอไหมเนี่ยไม่รู้เลยอ่ะคือ
I do.
ถ้า
I
ruler
don't have a wheelhouse.
ไม่
You know that?
คือ
you don't.
No.
Oh, me neither.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd have a wheelhouse. I
เพราะว่า
thought
อา
you'd
เซีย
be a
มันฟาร์ม
wheelhouseman.
No.
Huh. Strange.
Wheelhouseman. I don't.
Is that a person? I wonder if you could ever be a wheelhouseman. That's all right. Canyon going to be starting on his blue buff. That allows him to head towards that top side. Maybe a bit of punishment onto Dudu is in order. As no level 3 gank for the Jarvan bottom lane, though, which is the big thing to look out for. Might take away from said proactivity that we were expecting. But into this lane, do you really want to be ganking early? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it can be a bit risky. Like if they flash out of your CC and then just have the sustained damage. You know, Ziggs is very telegraphed, and you're running TP. You don't have the extra combat summoner in comparison. But so far, Close are taking a
Oh,
tower hit.
Closer.
Not ideal.
I do like that
Shall we
he
yuk
thumbs
niu
it
le?
up immediately, though.
Yeah.
On taking the turret damage. But isn't going to be great for his laning phase, as we know. Dudu going in, but will be immediately going out once more. Still actually farming quite decently here, as Keen hasn't quite dealt with this wave.
Yeah,
Does manage to get the cannon.
The Renekton do pretty good around the early levels, and it's if you can leverage that, that's where you can find a bit of an advantage. Level 6 as well, if you get on top of Mini-Gnar, can be like an all-in potential. But usually as the game goes on, you haven't especially pressured those windows, the Gnar will just outscale. So a matchup we've seen countless times, top laners be happy to take, and we've seen Gnar be doing really well in the LCK recently.
โอ้โหโคเซอร์แกกลับไปซื้อดาร์คซิล
Recently,
มา
yes, but also very recently, no.
Yeah.
As I believe he's on about a 5-game losing streak. But before that, was
ถือว่า
definitely
cheating
getting a
นะ
lot
นี่
of work done as Chovy is going to take a bunch of damage, but hasn't teleported yet, so he's just going to wander back.
I think people bought into the hype too much, you know, and just started like.
มาร์กนะอีก20 นาทีเจนจีชนะเว้ยเกมเนี้ยพี่บอกให้
I think that can sometimes happen. Where, like,
รู้เลยว่า
a pick is
เจ
actually
นจี
really
กำลังอยู่ใน
strong,
ช่วงแบบโมโห
but
แค้น
because the perception of it is it's really strong, people pick it without the conditions for it to work, which makes it not as strong.
Yeah, we've seen that with a lot of different things.
I mean,
ฟัง
Rise
เพลง
is a
ประมาณ
great
6-7 เพลงอ่ะ
example.
เดี๋ยวเจนจีก็ชนะครับ
As Chovy just wanders away.
Rise is really strong, but if you just blind it and they counter it, not so great.
And you just get a Nivea'd. I feel like a Nivea really did come out as a
นี่
big
ไง
counter as well.
ได้แฟดไปก่อน
The replay towards
Yeah,
top side,
you do have to
flash out.
flash.
อ๋อเป็นรีเพย์
Yeah.
เหรอครับโอเค
Due to that gang, so good angle there from Canyon. Unfortunate start to the year of Dudu in this game.
Yeah.
ปุ๊บไม่กันอ่ะ
but that was a good slice. So we're back on. Beautiful. Canyon.
Oh, that
แคนยอนจะมา
shot missed.
เรียกแฟดข้างล่างเหรอ
Actually able to see
มา
that
รับ
out
ดู
of
โล
it
แฟด
as Duro looked at
มึ
the
น
angle.
บอกไม่ถูก
Canyon shows himself
ดอกด
as the heel does come out.
ำดอกดำขู่ได้แฟดอีกแล้
Canyon
ว
deciding not to follow. And they're just going to get on to Quantum here as
ดู
well.
โล
Get
แฟด
his
เยี่ยม
flash
มา
at the
ก
same time. They drop the beat. Canyon is just
เชี่
happy to
ย
dance.
เป็นไปได้ยัง
Getting
ไง
forward
วะนะ
flashes is still
คือ มันควรจะได้เว้ยเพราะว่า
I think honestly, Dr. and
มันทั้ง
Quantum, well, Dr. in particular played that about as well as he could, given how terrible the conditions were at the start of that.
Yeah.
In fact, you hawk shot the enemy jungle,
มันควร
and
จะได้แบบ
you
They
end
did,
up
they won it.
missing where Canyon actually is. In hindsight, you know, they already had a ward in the tri-brush. Maybe should have sent it down the river instead. But obviously, we have full information and hindsight to give the sort of extra insight into what he should have done. Ultimately, they managed to evade it, but it was pretty close.
I was expecting Canyon to do the follow flash, but he decided not to.
The reason he didn't was because there were minions in the way. So if he follow flashed, Duro wasn't going to be able to really immediately follow up, because Duro had already committed his flash. So I think that was why he didn't go for it, which is why I think Dr. waiting until he got to the minions was pretty big. So
Chovy sidestepping basically everything there, as he does hit level 6. So does Keen, as we can see there, by pressing his R button that he just newly got available. Misses the house though. Bit weird when you try to hit like a little minion with a house and you miss. Cannon. Nailed it.
I do feel like I've never seen anyone throw a house precisely.
No, neither have I.
Seems pretty difficult.
Yeah. Keen just did it though and missed. So that's the sample size I've got for you.
Yeah, well, it seemed seemingly a little unprecisely.
All right. Chovy and Canyon now just going to return to the flashless bottom lane as Pioshik is there, gets hooked by Duro, who just flashes in. The wind becomes lightning, but Pioshik might become dead as the Empress Divide is flashed really nicely and he keeps himself alive for now. In goes Chovy though with those shifting sands, and I don't think Pioshik's making it out of this one. One more auto is going to be required as the flash does come in, and Chovy's going to be able to lock down the kill. In the meantime, Keen about to hit Mega, but Dudu has the Dominus rolling. There's the wallop. See whether Dudu's actually going to win this one out. Dominus is extraordinarily strong. And remember, no flash for Dudu, flash available for Keen. And I don't know, does he have to use it? That's the question, as he does flash away right as Dudu gave up.
Yeah, I think he was just holding it as long as he could, but just didn't trust the last second and just
ไม่เห็น
didn't
ว่า
want
คี
to
น
get
แชนตีไปตอนไหนแต่ว่าพอไม่มีอันตีก็
a close one there.
ต้องเสียแฟดเลย
Dudu showing the power that you get from having that ultimate available, and Keen's still not there. I think the thing with Nas, you often
บอกว่า
destroy
คีน
your
เลน
ult
ผ่าน
off
ชัวร์
cooldown.
ๆตอนนี้เริ่มไม่ค่อยดีแล้ว
So frequently, but did leave him exposed in that window here.
โอ้โห
Pioshik
สวย
was
อันนี้
kind
ดู
of
โล
just dead because so many
เพื่อสิกนี่
opponents were around
ฝี
him.
มือ
But he did make them
บอธรรม
commit a
ดา
lot of time, and Chovy happened to commit his
แต่โชวี่เอาจริงจัด
fastest
อะ
pickup considering.
Yeah.
Like I saw him get engaged and was like, oh, he's just dead.
แป๊บนึง
But
นะ
he managed to buy a good amount
โช
of
วี่
time
ลุนเอ
and
ลี่
get an
อี
extra
เหี้ย
cover
อะไรวะเนี้ย
release, so
Yeah, forced
What?
the flash trade. So obviously,
Asia
invested his
Lun
flash
Eli.
to try and escape, but getting Chovy's flash as a result, certainly high value. Having a look though, slight gold advantage here for GENG.
แล้วเมื่อกี้ฆ่า
And
ด้วยลุนเอลี่
Chovy is the one with the lead, which
Ooh.
is a little bit of a problem.
Oh my god
Dudu laning very well though. Perhaps it is his year to go back to that fan sign.
อาเซียเล่นลุนเอ
But
ลี่
we'll
แบบ
see whether he
ถ้า
can
เจอเลน
capitalize
โป๊
on
ก
the flash
หนัก
being
ต้อง
down
เล่น
here
อ
from
ย่าง
Keen.
นี้
Aggressive satchel here as
Quantum
Quantum then has to
by
walk over the minefield. That was beautifully
เจ้า
done.
เพิ่ม
Duro just not quite able to hit the anchor and elects not to auto attack, so Ruler is able to pick up the
Ow,
kill.
Chovy!
He connects onto Chovy in the mid lane.
Emperor
Wait,
DY,
get thrown out as Chovy
Emperor
does
DY.
manage to shift the sands to get out. Closer just
เสียดาย
with
ว่า
not enough burst
ได้แบบ
damage
ไม่พอ
to lock down the kill.
yeah, I think
เย้นี่
unfortunately
ซับใหม่เหรอ
Closer
คะ
had
ซับ
used
นี้
his
มัน
basic
อยู่ตั้งแต่
abilities,
ปี
had
ที่
his
แล้ว
ult,
แล้ว
of
อะ
course, but didn't have the full combo to hit on a Chovy there.
คือเมื่อก่อนมันจะเป็นไลฟ์กับ
I'm wondering how that arrow would have happened because they were like
ควอนตัม
killing the
อะไรประมาณนี้
Seraphine.
ปะ
Did Doctor like try and throw it at Duro?
This was a great satchel, by the way, like perfectly to knock it back. Max value there, and they got the kill.
Oh yeah, Doctor just ran up and
Ui,
just
tải
threw
bên
an
đây.
arrow at Chovy.
โคเซอร์ไม่
It's
ตาย
like, well, I'm not using this bot
โอ้
lane.
ดูมันดุจริงว่ะ
Kind of cute.
Did just see a play come out mid. And Closer got chunked
ส่วน
down,
ปีเตอร์
but being Aurora still managed to evade.
ไม่รู้ไปไหน
play.
แล้วตอนนี้
But does mean that Genji get
มีคนบอกว่า
off these
ไปช่วยเพื่อน
grubs.
บ้านอยู่
We did see one picked up by
มันเล่นมุก
Pioshik.
นี้ตลอดเลย
Yeah, Ruler trying to put some damage back here. Gets the satchel, double value.
มาดิครับ
This is some great Ziggs play.
Yeah.
The earlier satchel to knock Quantum back, and then that defensive
เจน
satchel
จี
to
เลน
split
ดี
them
หมด
away.
เลนบนมีแค่แบบตึงๆใส่ แต่ก็ยังได้ฟาร์มได้เรื่อย
Well, actually, what
คิ
we
นก็เล่น
often
แบบ
see in the
เซฟ
LCK is the
ๆไม่ได้ใช้ความเป็นเจนจี
I
แบบ
just throw it at you and do like
อะไรอย่าง
20
เงี้ยแบบว่า
damage
เฮ้ย
and then die
ก็
immediately
เซฟ
after. So I
มันต้องอย่าง
like
นี้ดีวะ
that he's actually using it for the displacement aspect.
พี่ว่า
of it,
นาถ้า
which
มันจะห่วย
is
แตกเลย ถ้า
actually
เกิดสมมติ
the
มัน
main
เป็น
component
เหมือน
of
เว
this
นอะ
ability.
ก็คือ
Yeah, surprisingly,
ไอ้
it feels like
ถ้า
a lot of
พาส
our
ซีฟ
Ziggs
มันอะ
players
ถ้ามัน
don't
ตีตัวอื่นแล้ว
appreciate
พาสซีฟ
that, but
ตัวที่ไม่ได้ตีหายอะเหมือนเวนอะ ไม่จะแบบ
am I?
Yeah.
มันจะแย่ไปเลยเว้ย
Suspicious.
It's just an observation. I don't know what it means, but it does seem like you are somewhat emotionally invested.
Perhaps a little bit.
อีกประมาณ10-11 นาที ไม่เกิน 12-13 นาทีประมาณนี้ เจนจีน่าปิดเกมนี้ได้
Yeah, and also picked up the Ludens, no tier board. You know, he's going to be pumping some damage out in this game.
Especially when he can build an extra item, which is kind of scary because I feel like Ziggs uses
มัน
items
จะไวหน่อย
effectively.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was something when the new quest came out. A lot of people talked about
ๆ หนูรู้ว่าพี่จะเจอเฟเจนจีแบ
the
บ
value from it.
Yep.
I know Maid's solo queue win rate has always been really high.
เฮ้ย
in the
มัน
bot
เป็นอย่าง
lane.
เงี้ย
It's continuing to be really
ผมมี
really
เสื้อ
high
เจน
with the
จี
quest.
มีหมวก
So
เจ
a
น
lot of
จี
people
ด้วย
were
ครับ มีตุ๊กตาอีก
Oh. Well, I have a feeling
ตายปะเนี่ย
he'll
ไม่ตาย
need to use a disengage.
โอ้โหหันไปสวนด้วย
But
โอ้โห
instead,
เจอระ
he
เบิด
throws it at the turret.
Yeah.
Because the rest of GENG were making their way down. They did get half the health bar out of Ruler, but there just wasn't
แต่ว่า
enough
ไม่ได้เปลี่ยน
damage
เสื้อ
out
ว่ะ
of the DNS
หา
bottom
เสื้อ
lane.
ไม่เจอเมื่อกี้
Yeah, ended up using the flash to get away from that one. Still had the satchel in pocket, so
พี่แค่2-0 เลย
actually dying there was pretty low.
เนี่ย พอเราบอกว่าเจนจีแบบ เอ้ย ดูจากทรง ดูจากอะไรหลาย ๆ อย่างแล้วน่าจะชนะภายในกี่นาที เนี่ย โดนแบบสวนกลับเลยอ่ะ
We've all been there.
We
มัน
respect
แตะต้องไม่ได้เลยใช่ไหม
teleport to come in from said Ziggs.
His ult
Ruler
in
makes
5
his way back
seconds.
down. Exactly right. As Pyosik goes
อะไรวะนั่น
in.
นี่คือสูตรอะไรวะแต่ว่ามัน
Cataclysm is down there as well as they get into the Crescent Guard to
ต้องหนี
try
แล้ว
and
วะ
kill Pyosik as Duro might be in a bit of trouble. Oh, the anchor just barely misses. Good flag there from Pyosik.
อย่า
Inferno Bomb isn't enough.
ไม่ตายเฉยเลย
Takes
ชิป
down
เดียว
the
สิ
kill onto
โอ้
Duro.
โหรอดแล้วได้ไทยอัมมาด้วย
Gets
เลือด
himself
เด้ง
out
ก่อน
of
วะ
there with the flag and drag, and Ruler is already out of dodge as well.
พี่ไม่ตั้งใจหา
Utilizing the satchel effectively. As Keen spacing very nicely here against Dudu on the top side, although the flash forward,
Wow.
that one's hard to be spaced. As
ตาย
anyway,
แน่
he
เลย
does
ว่ะ
manage
ดู
to
ดู
land another
เฮ้ย
boomerang
ไม่
to
ตาย
slow
ว่ะ
down the crocodile.
ดูทำดีมาก
Invest the
มันต้องแฟดแบบเมื่อกี้ไม่งั้นตาย เจอคีนไล่ตีจนตายอ่ะ
but you know is now safe for many other plays. I think happy with getting a flash advantage there. This play was kind of crazy because they
ตรงนี้คือ
jumped in
crazy แบบ
as
ดูโลแคนยอน
Pyosik
ผ
does.
สม
It's
แบบ
kinda
พ
like
ลัง
a
แบบ
change places situation.
Yeah.
ดูนะ ดูพลัง
You know, the cataclysm in, and then Pyosik ends up
คือ
outside.
แบบ
It's also really awkward.
ดูโลแฟดเข้าไปจะไปดึงใส่ควอนตัมแล้วเจอคาตาลิซึมของ J4 บังไว้
ult, which you don't
โอ้
wanna
my
be.
god
Yeah, Pyosik
ตรงนี้
close to
นิดเดียว
dying,
เลย
but
อะ
moves to the
จริงถ้าได้
adder.
เปียวฟิกจะถือว่า
The
คุ้ม
ult, so takes less damage. Still very close, but end result is a 1-0. The DN supers, which they are happy about.
And if Ruler
แต่
had
โชวี่ลุนเอลี่
called
นี่
it
แม่ง
off cooldown, he would have killed him. That's sort of how much Pyosik survived on.
เข้าใจว่าเจอออโรราแล้ว
They did
ไม่
die
แต่
in
มัน
that
เสีย
mid lane,
เสีย
but
ดาย
was able
คือ
to
ลุน
help
มันจะไม่
grab
มี
the
อารา
kill
คิ
there
ตี้
on that bottom side. That puts DNS on the board.
คงคิดว่าแบบไม่ได้แบบ
There is a Hextech
ต้อง
Dragon
ตี
up and available now. Genji got
ค
the
ง
first
เอาเลน
one
ก่อน
in
เน
an
อะไม่งั้นเลน
Infernal.
มันจะลำบาก
As
มันนั้นมันต้อง
has
คอยแบบ
been
หลบ
started,
ออโรรา
and
อย่างเดียว
also
มันก็
need
จิ้ม
you
ส่วน
to
คืนแบบ
apply as much
ช็อตเทรดไม่ได้เลย
concentration as
อันนั้นมันยัง
possible.
วางทหารแล้วก็
Went down to
ส่งไป
12
แบบ
HP. I
จุ๊
think
ๆ
Comet could have taken
ๆแล้วก็ช็อตเทรดใส่
Yeah, I think so.
เห็นปะดูช็อตเทรดมันสวยนะเว้ย
Yep.
Level
ช็อตเทร
9
ดดี
6
อะ
now, a big spike when you have your
ก็เป็นรูนที่
Q-maxed
มี
and he can kind of just
คน
run
เล่น
the
อยู่
waves
ประมาณกี่เปอร์เซ็นต์วะ
pretty easily.
Sorry, this is the day.
ไม่เยอะ
of
น้อย
cats,
น้อย
as
ถือว่า
at least
น้อย
Dudu gets his, and
ประมาณแบบ
actually circumvents the
40,000 มีคนเล่นประมาณ
wall.
2,000 อ่ะ
Sorry,
กี่เปอร์เซ็นต์วะ
Does eat the house.
no idea
Oh, sorry. Chovy's
โอ้
gonna go in.
สวยมาก โชวี่
Pyosik out of the way. Great catch
โชวี่
from Crescent Guard, but the Cataclysm is there
ก็
to
แปลกๆแล้ว
answer.
ทำไมมัน
Chovy
ข้ามไม่
has
ได้
to
สิวะ
flash to get himself out of the way, and it's
ได้แล้ว
actually
ว่ะมา
Quantum that's able to help lock him down. The
เฮ้ย
arrow from downtown is going to secure
ด
Canyon
ก
as
ดำ
well. As closer dancing
ฟอร์
around
ม
the
แบบ
battlefield, not able to get too much more, but it's a great
ฟอร์ม
couple
เว
of
อร์
kills to go
เอา
over
อีกแล้ว
to
ดู
DNS, and they only trade
ชู
Pyosik for it.
Yeah, this is kind of the value of that
ปักหวัด
Seraphim backing
ตี
up
หวัด
the
ทิ้ง
Zins out, helping
เชียร์
you
หลบ
stay
ใน
alive
พุ่ม
that much longer. I
โอ้โห
also think it's
ดู
funny
แม่ง
that you saw it pop up
ดู
on the
โหดจังวะ
screen, Canyon and Chovy, both Mercrex.
Yep, at exactly the same time.
Immediately
Ma.
after that play, like, yeah, maybe this is a high value buy. Yeah, I would agree. A lot of CC to come through, but I think think just the fact that Hiroshi can go in aggressively get that extra
ดู
effective
เล่นดีว่ะ
HP, survive that much longer. And honestly, the fact that his ult timed out as Ruler's ult connected was kind of
ต้องจดไปพี่อันนี้ต้องจดนะ
fortuitous timing for
กดหวาด
GENG
แล้วก็
there.
ยืนในพุ่มไว้ก่อน
So we'll see in this situation.
พวกนี้คือแบบโชวี่สวยแต่มันเป็นแบบ
Canyon gets jumped on again.
เผาเลย
Then the ult times out a little bit before, so that was a bit of time. But then Closer dodges away from the dredge line, gets the play on Canyon and able to clean it
เจน
up.
จีสเกอร์มิดจะขาดทุนหน่อยๆ2 รอบแล้ว
The Empress divide the first time around and then the anchor the next time. Still looks like GENG are going to get priority on this dragon, but DNS are in the area. There's the anchor to start up this fight as they're looking for Quantum to start this one. Doesn't quite have the encore up and available just yet as Chovy looking to get himself out of the way of Pioshik, who looks to engage instead on top of Canyon. Gets the knock up as he makes his way out, but it looks like this dragon should go over to DNS as a result.
แบบนี้โชวี่ได้จิ้มฟรีเฮ้ยโหโคเซอร์เป็นไปได้ยังไงวะเนี่ยคิวซิกตาย มังกรแม่งรีเซ็ตแบบ 2,000 โครีแครบโชวี่ยืนตำแหน่งโคตรดีอ่ะยืนแบบจิ้มเรื่อยๆแล้วพอเขาเข้ามาเปิดก็ Emperor Divide สวยอันนี้เจนจีได้2 ตัวแอโร่
He was trying to hit the turret with it as Ruler.
ได้เหรอ
He's going to take a lot of damage here.
โอ้โหถ้าคิวโดนเมื่อกี้อาจจะลงๆนะ
one ability and that is going to allow him to live.
Still had flash.
สลับเลนแล้วอ่ะ
Like, you know what, I'm good. But yeah, I think Chovy actually got such an insane amount of value in that fight by kind of just standing in the face of DNS. Because we see the initial play ends up with the engage not really working.
W ไม่โดน
Pioshik forces Canyon away here.
มันใช้ยากนะ
And he ends up choked, so he has to back off. But then Chovy holds his position.
Yeah,
and he's getting damage down. Close tries to clear him off, but doesn't connect
มันเริ่มตีมังกรใหม่ไม่ได้ต่อหน้าคนผู้คนขนาด
He ends up dying.
เข้าใจว่ามันเป็นเทิร์นของ
We don't have a jungle anymore.
DNS ที่ต้องเอามังกรเพราะว่าแคนยอนแฟกแอนแดกออกไปแล้วแต่ว่ามันแบบเลื่อนมังกรมันรีเซ็ตแล้วถ้าต้องถอยต้องปล่อย
relying on his mechanical skill to dodge enough skill shots so they win the engagement.
He absolutely did. Bouncing bombs now flying out here.
2 ตัวแล้วมังกรลมครับตานี้
that Ludens quite effectively. You can see these
ตัวไหน
waves
ที่ชอบ
do
มัง
just
กรล
kind
ม
of
มากๆ
explode
วะเดี๋ยว
now.
ขอนึกก่อนนะ
So it doesn't need to worry too much
ก็ดีหมดแหละ
about
เนาะ
taking any trades or anything like that.
And he's got the Shadow Flame second.
That's a lot of damage.
This is going to be the one-shot ult damage.
Aggressive satchel.
ในใจพี่แช่งเจนจีอยู่ใช่ไหม
It's okay.
นี่คือในใจก็คือแบบเราอ่านเกมโอ้ขนาดแบบในใจพี่เลยเหรอเนี่ยโอ้โหคือมองตาก็รู้ใจกันเลยขนาดนั้นเกินไปนะนี่ อีก6 นาทีเจนจีก็ชนะแล้วใช่ไหม
Yeah, honestly, I think an Oblivion Orb pickup would also be good. You know, obviously does delay your damage.
น่าจะ25ละน่าจะสัก9 นาทีเพราะว่าต้องมังกรมันไม่นิดนึงมังกรมีแบบช้านิดนึงแต่ว่ามังกรได้รัวแน่นอนเว้ยประมาณ25ได้มังกร
I'm helping, says the Ziggs, as Canyon is able to lock down the Rift Herald. It should be used.
ได้ทุกอย่างของเจทีตัวนี้
Also, Durago Mikhail's first, which, you know, we've seen this many times before in engaged supports, but not as much recently.
พี่ไม่ได้รักเจนจีจริงๆหรอก
Definitely respecting the Ash Arrow and the potential.
นักพากย์ที่เป็นกลางครับผมที่ Watch Party เป็นกลางครับแล้วเราก็สามารถที่จะพบความเป็นกลางได้อยู่แล้วพี่ไม่ได้เชียร์ทีมไหนทีมหนึ่งครับ
And we'll just continue to throw minion waves into this turret, and I feel like the use by date on this Renekton is starting to come up. It's what it's kind of feeling like right now.
It's gonna have less fun, you know.
Yeah.
Year duty's getting kind of towards like
it's getting
November.
Yeah.
Putting the Christmas decorations up.
กลางเบ้ไปปลายกลางใจทีวันเนี่ย
At least you know Christmas is.
Hater gotta be hate ว่ะตายไปไหนดูเคียวเวฟ
He's not looking forward to anything right now.
Oh my god!
Never mind. Maybe he's looking forward to hanging out with a dead Gnar under the turret. However, they do just
คินโดน
walk it
ป้อมมาเยอะ
off.
แต่มันถึกจัด
There was no one else coming.
ดกดรามัน
Ludo survives.
เกือบแบบว่าเหมือนตอนเฟกเกอร์ที่แบบกำลังโดนได้เลยแอโร่จากเพลส
You know, he will
เอาป้อมนี้ให้ได้ว่ะแต่ว่ามากันแล้วครับตรงนี้เคียวซิก
Yeah, does have now the backup of the rest of his team making their way in.
พี่ชอบการโรเทตแบบนี้มากเลยการโรเทตแบบเล่นไซส์หนึ่งแบบ 3-4 คน
and his very best is nowhere near enough because it's just kind of ludicrous the amount
ทีมที่
Ruler
ท
can
ำตรงเนี้ยดี
destroy with
ใน
only a
ลีก
couple of bombs.
ท็อปเลยพี่ให้ฮาวาไลท์นะเว้ย
It's just only 1,000.
ฮาวาไลท์จะเป็นทีมที่แบบโรเทตไปฝั่งตรงข้ามแบบ
arrows
คอสแมปเล่น
just
ดี
the lazy nature of the zigs throwing just tossing a bomb out without a second thought
แล้วก็จะเป็นทีมที่แบบเปิดการแบบแพ็กอัพแล้วเล่นด้วยกันแบบ
Chovy will take
ก่อน
a bit of
แบบ
damage here from
แรก
Koza,
ๆก่อนที่เขาจะตั้งตัว
the shoes that he's wearing
คือเหมือนมันก็ไม่ได้มีอะไรแล้วอยู่ๆก็แพ็กกัน4คนแล้วก็แบบปึ้ม ได้เปรียบเฉยเลย
Keen up towards the top side. So things slowing down.
but there is Dragon
game
in 45
โอ้ยทุกทีมที่ไม่ใช่เจนจี
It's a nice one.
movement speed pretty big
อะไรวะ
in this game
ผมมองในมุม
I do
มอง
feel
ของ
like, the DN Supers
คนวิเคราะห์
absolutely love Cloud
โอ้
Song.
my
Oh,
god
yeah, for sure.
Problem is they are a fair way away from it as now Dudu decides to go in at exactly the wrong time, has to flash.
อ๋อแฟด
Get out of the way of Keen and Canyon. Those slows would have kept racking up, and it would have been very, very difficult to get out of the way. However, Keen does transform and will be able to take down this first turret of the game. Rift Herald still hasn't been used yet, by the way, so they take first turret, and they still have Shelly for potentially this fight here around the dragon.
คือต้องบอกว่าเจน
I mean,
จี
we saw last series
พอมัน
the value
เมตา
of,
คือ
a Herald
เมตาซับเปลี่ยนนิดหน่อยแบบ มันก็ดูโลต้องปรับตัว อันนี้คือเจนจีใช้แบบตัวที่ดูโลเล่นได้แบบเล่นได้ดีอะ เจนจีเลยแบบเหมือนแบบกลับมาคืนฟอร์ม
They have some decent item spikes with the zigs on Luden
ซัพพอร์ตสำคัญมากอะ
They have the combat herald ready to go
ต้องดูว่าแบบถ้าดูโลได้จับพวกบาท
control of the river as well
หรือแอนนิเวียอะไรพวกนี้มันจะเป็นยังไง
That does get rid of Quantum, I guess, but they're not actually. He's able to regroup very comfortably.
คือถ้าเกิดได้เล่นแบบ Nautilus Rail อะไรเงี้ย
For this next fight, is Kane spotted on a
มัน
flank
เล
angle
ย
as well. Minefield does go down.
เจนจี
and
ปล่อย
there is that battle
Referral
herald that you were
TP
talking
มาแล้ว
about. Let's see
แอ
whether
โร่
they're gonna
มา
be
อั
able
น
to
ตี
utilize
แต่ว่า
it.
มี
There's the Mikhail's value to
มิ
come
เค
up
ล
through from Duro as well, as it is
อ๋อ
gonna be a great
ชิปหายแล้วโดนแย่งมังกร
Now Canyon
แต่ว่าได้ป่ะเอาหมด
doesn't manage to land a knock up onto
เดี๋ยวก่อน
Close and Quantum. He
เพียวซิก
doesn't get the flag and drag.
อยู่ในพิษ
As Pioshka's been
ควอนตัมมันติ
separated, Crescent Guard in the back
โช
of the
วี่
pit, he
จิ้ม
flashes
ไกล
away.
ๆดูดูทำไงวะ
Kane has to deal
จุด
with
จุดจุดจุด
Dudu as
ดาเมจ
Roar
ไม่พอ
is
ว่ะ
gonna try
คาดา
and
เมจ
back him up, but
วู้
Kane flashes to get
อุ้ย
out of the way.
ไม่มีแฟด
Now there is
อี
a
คูดาว
minefield that is
ตาย
being put down. Dredgeline
ดู
connects onto Dudu, does get a charged up Q.
เรียบร้อย
He has
ผม
nowhere
บอก
to go,
แล้ว
no flash and no escape as Chovy looks to go in. And
ไก่
Closer is
วี่
able
อันนี้
to walk it off. So it is just 2 kills over to
ไก่
GENG
โช
in
ค
exchange for the Dragon. Maybe not end of the world, however, they'll lose this
ใคร
out
ขี่
of
ลิฟต์ไป
turret
ตรงนี้
bottom
วะ
lane as well, and that gold lead will extend.
Yeah, unfortunately for DN Supers, it's just the one dragon that they have. So even though they denied the soul point, they still don't get much of a swing in their favor. This arrow is pretty good. The Mikhail's comes through, but they kind of zone away. GENG a good amount here. Problem is, this combat herald comes in.
อ๋อแค
I
น
feel
ยอน
like it's so
ขี่
strong
ก็เลย
with
แบบ
Jarvan because it means you can get in without losing any health.
ก็เลย
You then
ไม่ได้
still have your
มังก
follow-up
ร
engage.
เอาไฟท์แทน
And
นะครับ
Quantum ends up ulting very
โอเค
late,
นะพี่ว่า
trying to find a better
มันไม่ได้
angle,
แบบ
but
ต้อง
the
รีบ
charm
มังกร
only
ขนาด
lasts
นั้น
as long as you do, so it just doesn't really do anything.
ได้ไฟก็
Yeah, Dudu is in this aggressive
แจ่ม
position,
ว่ะ
but Keen flashes out and he doesn't want to go any further, so he just ends up dying in the pit. I think
อีโหลบพอ
honestly,
ดี
he
เมื่อกี้
should've-
มันไม่ได้ตั้งใจจะอีไม่โดน
knowing that he
คือ
didn't
แบบ
have flash,
คือไม่ได้
I
ตั้ง
think
ใจ
maybe
จะอี
he
ให้โดน
should've
อี
committed
โหล
to
บแฟน
playing.
แดกเฉย
Um,
จริงๆโดนแฟนแดกยังดีกว่าเลย
but the
เมื่
end
อกี้
result is GENG just further ahead, still ahead in Dragons, despite the fact that DNS got the last
คิดว่าโค้ด
one.
ใหม่ทีวันจะทำให้เจนจีชนะเจนจีได้ไหมครับ
And if you look at the spread between lanes, everyone has a
มันเป็น
slight
คำถาม
high
ที่แบบ
from Duro.
นึกออกปะ
And
พี่
I mean,
ตอบอะไร
Duro
ไป
doesn't
ก็โดน
really
เว้
need
ย
that much gold.
Yeah, he doesn't really care about it. On top of everything as well,
พี่ขอ
actually,
ไม่ตอบแล้วกัน
production has just told us that Chovy
เราดูผล
and
งานครับ
Roar
เราดู
were
ผลงานอย่าง
sitting
เดียว
on a bunch of gold heading
เฮ้ย
into
เกิด
that
อะไรขึ้น
fight.
วะเนี่ย
Same can be
มัน
said
คือ
for
สูตรแล้ว
Closer.
นะโอ้โห
And now on a reset is Chovy with a now full dash cannon and blighting jewel completed. And
Yeah.
Ruler has that shadow flame and blighting jewel for himself as
Ui.
well.
Oh,
And
มา
it's
แล้ว
going to
คาตาลิซึม
get
เลยวะ
more and more difficult
ไม่
because
ถึง
GENG still managed to win the fight.
พูดชม
even
ยังติด
without,
ขัดเลย แค่นี้
spending
ก็
that
ชัด
money.
แล้ว
I think that's the thing is that they took that mid tower, and they were sitting on, like, I expect they were sitting on a fair bit of gold, but they were sitting on a lot clearly.
ขอความเมตตาด้วยครับ
Prioritize the tower before the dragon. It
ขอ
was
ความ
a
เมต
risky
ตา
thing
กับ
to
สตรีมเมอ
do,
ร์ด้วยครับ
but it did manage to work out, and now they just
ผม
are
ทำงาน
so
ไม่ได้แล้ว
far
ครับแบบ
ahead.
เนี้ย
Picking up that tower, that tier 2 in the top lane as well, now at a 5,000
ท้อ
gold
เว้ย
lead.
ถามว่าท้อไหม
You
ท้อ
know,
เว้ย
Void
อย่างเงี้ย
Staff's going to be coming in soon for Chovy and Ruler, and there's not even that much magic resist on DN Supers, so to already have the Void Staff there, you're still getting good value from just like the pen on your base magic resist, but it just means that even if you do try and pick up magic resist, you're just not getting much.
Yeah, just
from it
feels
anyway.
bad to even buy anything, looking to try and mitigate the damage that Ruler and Chovy are going to be doing.
I mean, especially when you have like the Shadow Flame.
ต้องชมเจ็ดจีไปเลยพี่ทอก็ทำได้แล้ว
Like the percentage pen and the flat pen.
Yeah.
Just you do so much damage.
จิ้มมา
And they also do damage to these
ต้องเพิ่มเวลานิดนึง
as
ว่ะ
well as it is a Ziggs.
ตอนนี้มันแบบ
Canyon was just
นิดนึง
looking for a bit of
นิดนึ
an
ง
angle towards Closer, who
มันไม่
does
ได้ง่าย
manage
ข
to
นาดนั้น
sidestep it, but
DNS มันก็
still
มัน
a
ก็
fair bit of damage he takes
ดิ้นอยู่
on the return.
จะไปแล้วโชวี่
And the Supers are now just kind of milling
One
about,
to
trying
pay
to work out where they want to be
เชื่อ
on
ไม่
the
ได้
map. Genji with a whole
ถ้าไป
lot
เมื่
of
อกี้น่าจะโดน
priorities
เฮ้
everywhere right
พร้อม
now.
กับแอโร่แน่นอน แต่ดูโล่น่าจะแฟดไป
Yeah.
มิเคเอลได้อะไรอย่าง
And I
งี้
think this Mikhail's buy also just adds so much value because so much of the engage from DN Supers is down to like throw an Ash Arrow.
Yeah.
But as long as Duro is in the vicinity, that just doesn't function.
แต่เมื่อกี้
You know, you
คือ
remember that last Dragon
พี่วาง
fight,
แก้ว
it
น้
kinda opened with a
ำใส่
arrow and a
แต่ไม่ได้
Chovy
ปิด
just
ฝานะ
negated, so
แต่ใส่น้ำแข็ง
And
เต็ม
there's
ใช่ปะ
not- it
เปิด
doesn't
แอร์
really feel like there's a lot of clear
แม่งละ
follow
ลาย
after
น้ำแข็ง
that. They are sort of
คุณ
relying
พระคุณ
on
เจ้า
that arrow to really be impactful. Void Staff now
ปก
done
ติ
as
ไม่
well.
ไม่
It
ละ
hits
ไม่
three
ละลาย
items.
ขนาดนั้นเว้ย
That is a pretty dangerous first 3 items. If he gets Rabadon's next, my goodness, the amount of damage potential on the
พวกนี้แม่ง
Ziggs
ร้อน
is
จริง
extraordinarily high.
that's what you want. And I think for DNS, they need to try and find a way to set up vision, which is difficult because Quantum has to ward and he's very squishy. But if you can get Dudu and Closer approaching from like a flank on the side, that's where it can really work well. Because then you're not pressured as much to get huge value out of like the Ash Arrow. The Encore can get a huge amount of value. You can threaten the Ziggs and the Z on the back line.
แต่ช่วงนี้เขา
I
บอก
think they
ค่า
just
ไฟแพ
run
งใช่
straight
ไหม
at them. They're going to struggle. Ziggs doesn't do that much damage because the shielding.
Just softening them up. Yoshik actually taking a fair bit there. The satchels are sort of flying out from off the screen.
Yeah, honestly, the
โตไปข้างล่างสั่งข้าวผัดกะเพราตอนนี้แม่งจานละเป็นร้อยละขนาดอยู่หน้ามหาลัย
As the arrow is going to connect onto Canyon, there's another Mikhail's.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you were talking about.
น้ำมันแม่งแพงจริง
What has a longer cooldown, arrow or
Holy shit.
Mikhail's at this stage of the game? It's
โอ้
Closer, face
โปรเซอร์
check.
จะเล่นมาเพลย์
Not
นี้
sure about that one as Chovy will get engaged
ไปแล้วว่ะ
here by
Pyosik.
Yoshik. Emperor's Divide is going to come on through to get rid of him. And that is going
ถือ
to
ว่า
be
กล้า
the
เล่นนะ
end
พิโอ
of
ซิก
that
แต่ว่ามัน
one. Shifting Sands
แม่
pretty
มัน
powerful.
It is Mikhail's.
มันเข้าไปมังกรยากมันเจอแบบ
It
โด
should
น
at
โป๊ก
this
อะ
stage of the game, definitely, right?
Yeah.
As Dudu will now get walloped.
ดูไม่พร้อมเล่นแล้วอะ
And now Closer looking for a bit
เฮ้ย
of
แต่รู้แล้วจะ
engagement.
ตาย
Duro
ไอ้
holds
เชี่ย
his
แรงอยู่
position.
โอ้
There's
โห
the
สวย
knock,
มาก
throws
คิด
the Aurora into the wall, but he might pay for that one with his life.
เฮ้ย
The
เอ้ย
flash in
ดู
from
แม่ง
Dudu as
จะเล่น
well.
บิ๊กเพย์
Takes down Chovy,
ดู
gets
เกือบ
the shield
เมื่อ
from
กี้
the
เกือบจริง
shifting sands and the cataclysm.
ดูเกือบเอา
Will take
แต่ว่า
down the crocodile.
แต่ว่าโอ้ย
Still
จิ้มโดน
answering
ไปแล้ว
kills are going to be there. As
เดี๋ยวสิ
Duro goes down,
กูดาว
Keen
อี
and
กูดาว
Canyon are both dead, and the DN Supers might get themselves a
กูดู
drink.
เกือบแบบ
They find the fight
เกือบ
they
เอาหมด
needed,
อะ
you know, Lockdown doesn't get threatened. The
เอาแล้ว
backline
มัง
gets
กร
pushed
ส่งแล้วไง
forward.
แปลกๆแล้วอันนี้เจน
We
จี
finally get that value we're looking for here. This
โค
fight
เซอร์
started off
ทำยังไงให้รู้
with
เลิ
a
ก
really
มัน
high value ultimate from
มัน
Closer.
โดนอะไรขนาด
Already super
มันแรงขนาดนั้นเลยเหรอวะ
chunky. So you can play from a distance, but
คือตายจริงนะโคเซอร์แต่ว่าทำดาเมจใส่ดูเลือดจนไม่กล้าเล่นอ่ะดูนี้
getting both of those flashes out.
ดูโลดึงสวย
I
เลย
think, you know, it's feeling a bit more like his year. Even though he
Yeah.
didn't go down, he sets up for the rest of the team to push forward.
พรุ่งนี้ถ้า
that
เกิด
was
เปียวซิกมี
all,
อีน่าจะมัน
on
เลย
Dudu there. Being able to get in there, avoids a 1v1
ดู
with
เลือด
Keen
มีชัดดาว
once again,
455นะครับ
and then just goes straight for the squishy.
เงินนำอยู่
So you can
5,000
see
นะ
that gold lead
เจน
taking
จี
a
เอา
hit.
ดี
Genji,
So,
okay.
ๆเอาดี
Arrow's always lower cooldown than Mikhail's.
Oh, no matter what. Okay,
Yeah, no
there you
matter
go.
what. So it's 120.
อุ้ยแล้ว
for
เซราฟิน
base
ออกไอ้
Mikhail's,
หมวกนี้
Asher
ด้วยเหรอ
100 at rank 1.
ดีเหรอแชท
So if you just fire them off on cooldown, eventually he won't have Mikhail's.
Remember when support Ash was the thing as well? And then like Arrow was even
ของ
on
ดี
a
เลยนะ
shorter cooldown? You could probably get 2 in before the Mikhail's.
พี่อย่ายิ้มพี่
Actually, if
พี่
you
อย่า
get
ยิ้ม
to level 16,
เฮ้ย
then it is 60-second cooldown. So you
Hey,
can
there you
just,
go.
even with
มันเกินไป
no
อะเนี่ย
abilities, you can just get 2 in.
Love that.
แล้วพอทีวันแพ้ก็โดนพี่ก็โดนเล่นแบบเจนจี
Does have
เอ้า
3 items for himself now
โอ้
completed,
โห
as we see him on screen right here. But there is that Oblivion Orb that you were talking about.
พอ
Ruler has
ทีวันแพ้
now
โดน
that one
ยับเลย
picked
ที
up.
นี้
I hope he doesn't finish a Morellonomicon. I hope he really does just build a cool hat, because Ziggs really
ไม่
likes wearing
พอ
hats.
เป็น
Yeah.
เจนจี
And that's
ไฟ
the nice
แพ้
thing
พี่
about
ดูสะ
having
ใจ
the extra item slot is you can buy an Oblivion Orb and still
Like
do
what?
like Rabadons and then, you know, your last item.
คุณมองเกม
Yep, you build
คุณอย่า
Rabadon
จ้อง
on
อย่าจ้อง
very,
ที่
very
พี่
last item.
Yoshi
นี่ไงช็อตนี้แหละ
might be
มาละ
going down here, but the Crescent Guard
เฮ้ย
getting a
ทำ
whole
แปลกๆ
lot
ว่า
of
ใคร
value
นอน
as Dudu makes his way in. There's a nice
ปา
stun on a Canyon, and he just goes
มี
down.
มี
Closer goes between
ไปแล้ว
worlds, but Chovy
เฮ้ย
immediately follows
โอ้ย
him.
มีแฟด
Doesn't
ชูวิ
quite
โร
do
ติ
enough there as the Encore is going to get rid of him. And
เฮ้ย
this divide is going to hit onto only Pure.
วิ
That's going to be enough to get
วิโร
the kill. And now Chovy able to walk over the wall.
เฮ้ย
get
วิ
the
we oh my god we
And he's
even
unable to make his way out. Duro Now
Cái
going to
kiwi.
hold Dudu in position as Keen
อีติดปะ
wants to be able to chase after them. Would like
คือ
to
คิว
get
ไป
it.
แต่ว่า
Does
อีเหมือนไม่
manage
ไป
to get it now.
เซอร์แลก
These
เด้ง
Hyperprocs getting
คีน
very,
จะแบ
very
กเหรอ
annoying.
คีน
The beat drop is going to miss. Sidesteps beautifully
คีน
here.
จะเอาเว้ย
But is still not
Wow.
able to catch up. And in the meantime, Ziggs is zigzing.
Yeah, just playing the
Yeah,
mid game,
give
get
him
the
that,
plates,
dude.
get the towers. Genji's still really far ahead, but you're seeing these fights, starting to see the core of this Ashe, Seraphine, Xin Zhao getting a lot of value. The engage comes in.
ทำงานยากว่ะ
Yoshi
พูด
pops
ตร
the
ง
ultimate, gets a ton of healing and shielding, and survives for a very long time.
ๆต้องไป
Split comes in
ไปดู
before
แบงๆ
Sigma
กันดีกว่า
sees
ไม่ไหว
anything,
แล้ว
and
อะ
then Chovy ends up in a
รี
bit
เซ็ตเลยไง ไม่มี
position,
T1 ไม่มี Gen G เลย
gets clipped by the encore. You know, Keen does just one shot knock down.
ดูใหม่ดิ โชวี่มันติด
But
ติด
then
แล้ววะ
Chovy makes a bit of a mistake here and goes down to do that.
Yeah, doesn't quite
คือเพราะว่า
get the combo
ทหาร
to
มัน
work
ใกล้
out.
เกินไง
It's been a
มันเลย
big
แบบ
hectic game.
มันเลยกด
It's
คิวไม่ทัน
not
เว้ย
the clean,
คือ
calm,
โฟ
collected.
มันจะเป็นแบบ
Again,
EQ อยู่
this
แล้
is
ว
not the Gen G we've seen
แต่กี้คงต้อง
in
คิวแล้ว
years
อีปะ
past or even in the
ไม่รู้
LCK
ว่ะ
Cup. But they still have a gold lead right now. It's
แต่
2
ว่าเงิน
minutes
ยัง
until the
นำอยู่
next
ของ Gen G
dragon. Baron's still on the cards,
มัง
and
ก
a
ร
lot of
ถัดไป
summoners
ห้ามพลาดว่ะ
burned, you know,
ไม่งั้น
knocked
มัน
down
จะ
from the
มันจะ
start
ตึ
of
ง
the
แล้ว
year.
โซพอยต์มัน
There's still a
แล้ว
lot of
มังกร
flashes
มันจะ
down.
เป็น
They
มั
are
งกร
coming
ลม
in
สีด้วย
time for that next dragon. But there might be a window if you see someone overstep right now.
Yeah, there's also Baron to watch out for. There is a lot of Baron damage on both sides, but I'm looking at Chovy there, being able to do a whole lot.
เอาว่ะ
As Genji are
ผ่านวาด
teleporting in,
วาด
looking to take this. That is a very high value ward.
Yeah,
They
great.
also get a hawk shot
Mission
and
มา
a
เต็ม
scrying orb. So, yes, DN Supers know that this is happening. However, can they stop it in time?
จะหยุดได้หรือเปล่าครับผม DN Super ดูโลโดนไปนิดหน่อย ชิวๆชิว ตกใจหมดเลย โอ้ my god เพียวซิกหูละหาโดน2 ตัวชิบหายแล้วว่ะ
2 for 1, DNS take the Baron!
Just a great smite from Kyoshik and Gen G just feeling like, oh, we can comfortably go for the Baron. What's the threat? The threat is they engage.
แปลกๆแล้วอันนี้
They just kill your support. They secure
เกมมันจะเปลี่ยนเล็กน้อย
Take mid tier 1 as well. Suddenly that gold lead feeling a lot less secure for Gen G right now.
Yeah, Chovy was thinking about going for an angle, but could not quite find it there. And so let's have a look at this one more time. It did kind of feel like Gen G just gave DN Supers a Baron.
Yeah, Drew is trying to play bouncer, but he's the one person out of this trio who are in the pit who can't get out easily. You know, Canyon and Chovy can't easily disengage. But the Canyon's like, hey, I'll just go back in and win the 50-50. Well, Kyoshik says no. Secures the smite, ults to try and buy time. He gets jumped on, but his encore value is just
พี่ไม่รู้ว่าใครจะเป็นแบบ rarity แบบได้โอเนอร์เสียงดังมากแน่นอนที่แบบโอเนอร์ไว้เสียง50คือตอนนี้ใครซับใช่ป่ะจะมีโอกาสออกเป็นเคเลียส่วนใหญ่มีโอกาสออกเป็นเฟเกอร์ระดับแบบเทียร์ S ส่วนโอเนอร์นี่คือ S บวกสวยๆได้โซพอยครับเงินยังนำอยู่เจนจีอย่าแปลกๆเลยอุ๊ยเดี๋ยวนะคีนโดนยิงว่ะอุ๊ยคีนต้องแฟดออกเฮ้ยแคนยอนไม่พร้อมด้วยแคนยอนตีปัสคนมันแปลกโชวิมาหน้าไม่พร้อมว่ะมาหน้าไม่มีเลยวะอุ๊ยดันป้อมกลางได้เนี่ย
Look to try and take that one down. The standing gold on the map here, by the way, for the DN Supers
ไม่แตก
is
นะ
kind of obscene. It's 7 turrets to
มินเนี่ยนมัน
1
ไม่ค่อยดี
right now.
Yeah, it's a bit absurd. They really want to get value out of this Baron. I think they need to play through the side lanes where there is so many towers up and available. But, you know, they've just sent Closer back to deal with that top wave. That needs to be pushed in. And the bot wave, Keen is there now. So, I don't know how much value they're actually going to get on the back of this Baron in terms of pushing. They already have a huge Baron power play, but that's kind of been down to the gold they got, you know, from the fight. They got that mid-tier 1. But in terms of taking more structures, like the hope would be you get the Baron, you've only taken, you know, 1 turret, you can get a ton more. It does not look like that is going to happen.
No. Having a look at the damage dealt, though, Ruler is in a great spot this game. Now has his Rabadon's Death Cap completed. Have to find out what his next item is going to be. He's kind of covered all the bases as far as the good ones. Maybe a Zonya's, maybe something a little bit more defensive could be an option.
ดูเลอร์ตอนนี้กำเบลตี้ไว้เกือบ600ถ้าแตกทีนึงนี่เฮ้ยเดี๋ยวนะเหลือ250แล้วระบบเบลตี้ของไลออดนี่แม่ง
Horizon focus
แมคานิก
also.
แม่งคือเปลี่ยนรายวินาทีเลยอะ
Yeah.
อุ้ยดึงมาสวยแต่แอโร่เปียวซิกก็ตีทันปะแล้วซัดเลยครับผมตรงนี้ดูโลไปแล้วโชวี่ตึกจึกเซอร์แลกเด้งดูยอมตายแล้วมาแล้วมี GA เหรอโอ้เชียร์แล้วลูเลอร์ไม่ตายลูเลอร์ไม่โดนคิวไซส์สเต็ปสวยว่ะลูเลอร์มี GA เฉยเลยดูไม่เอาจริงว่ะแต่ว่าไม่มีอะไรครับชิวๆแต่ว่าเสียเงินไปเยอะเลยว่ะและชัดดาวของลูเลอร์หายไปแล้วเพราะว่าเงินตอนนี้มันกลับมาแบบเจนจีพอๆกันแล้วอ่ะ
This game is slowly but surely falling out of GENG's hands as Dudu going to take another turret
แป้งจ๋า
on this top side of the map.
ผม
That
เครียด
will be secured. Let's have a
แล้ว
look
ไม่
at
มา
this
ลง
one
กับ
more
พี่
time.
อ่ะ
The Nautilus is just paper, honestly. Like, you go in onto the Xin Zhao, but the Xin Zhao pops ultimate, and so he won't die. The Nautilus just gets obliterated. And then Keen goes in to try and set this play up. The ult from Ziggs
อุ้ยแล้วเปียวซิกเกือบตายด้วย
so much,
คีนเข้าไปเมื่อกี้กับค่าย
but
เดินรอไปตรง
Nautilus
นี้
isn't
เดี๋ยวหา
able
จัง
to
หวะ
do
ไหม
enough on its own in the back line. And Genji
คือ
can't
แฟ
find
น
more.
ๆเจนจีฟังพี่นะ คือถ้าทีวันแพ้อะเราอย่ามารอพี่นะคือมันไม่เกี่ยวกับพี่เว้ยอันเนี้ยมันไม่ได้เกี่ยวคือเราอย่าเอาความแค้น
Genji are kind of
อย่าข้ามกันด้วยว่าพี่อยู่เฉยๆเลยไม่ได้พูดอะไรเลยอ่ะ
positioning aggressively, but the DN Supers now have a kill lead, and the gold lead is gone. This is kind of
ไม่ล้อ
crazy
ผมสัญญา
how
โอเคนะ
extraordinarily
มัน
close
ไม่
a
เกี่ยวกัน
late
นะ
game between the DN Supers and
ไม่
Genji are.
คิดทำไม
I will say there is no flash on Dokdam, no defensive items. Dragons in a minute and a
คือ
half.
ผมก็เป็นมนุษย์มีรักโลกกดหลงอ่ะมันก็มียิ้มมีชมชอบมันไม่เกี่ยวกันเลยมันไม่ได้เกี่ยวอะไรกับเจนจีเลย
And have that extra wing condition. That is my game plan at this
คุณทำอย่าง
point.
นี้คุณไม่มีเหตุผล
Because I think if they lose the Ashe, they lose a lot of power. Because I think Keen has been struggling in some of these fights because Dokdam can just shred him, can just cut through him like butter. So we'll see.
Canyon has 4 items completed. There's also double recurve bow from Keen. That's fun. Not quite sure what it means, but I like it. I respect it. He's like, I want to
attack fast.
ตอนนี้พี่อยากจะโฟกัสที่แอชด้วยเวลาฆ่าได้มันเป็นยังไงวะมันแบบยิงไกลแบบมากๆเลย
Okay, we got the
ตอนนี้โอกาสคีย์เท่าไหร่
I think honestly, I
โอ
think
กาส
it's fine at
คีย์
this point just to have an
เกือบ 100% แล้ว 7-5
be sitting on
อีก
components.
ชิ้นหนึ่งก็ 100% แล้ว
We do have 30 seconds on that dragon.
DN Supers.
I think it's all about Dokdam. He has to be the focus. No flash.
ที่วันกับแมนยูนี่คล้ายๆกันเลยแม่งพักก็เป็นเดือนแล้วกลับมาถึงก็แพ้ แพ้ 2-0 ด้วย
Pull Genji across the map. Keen not really interested in that, as you can see here towards the bottom side, but Dokdam and Pioshik
มันโคตรบ้า
should be able to enjoy this if they wanted to, but Canyon
มันไม่ใช่ไม้จิ้มฟันนะดกดำอะบอกเลยว่ามันแบบ
Dudu is now going to get
อุ้ย
discovered.
สวย
Or is
โชวี่
he the one that discovers
อู้
Canyon? As
เฮ้ย
well off
ดู
to the side as well, so
ดู
decent
ดู
angle for the Ziggs.
โดนจิ้ม
Minefield still available as well, as the arrow is
แอ
going to
โร่
connect
มาแบบ
onto
เสีย
Duro.
เวสนี่เวสแล้วเลยล่างดันเอาอย่างนี้ DNS คุณพลาดแล้วครับผมไม่ได้ทำเวฟก่อน โคเซอร์อุ้ยสวยมากดูโลโคเซอร์ตายเอาสวยแล้วนี้จบแล้วไม่มีดกดำไม่มีโคเซอร์ดูโลก็ตายเสียบาลอนดูจะไปไหนดูจะรอดจริงเหรอดูไม่รอดหรอโหแล้วไม่เคลียร์เวฟด้วยแต่รอดจริงเปล่ารอดหรอจบเลยปะเย็นเพียวซิกพยายามจะตัดเวฟครับผมถ้าทำลายรถนี้ได้ทำลายได้วะแต่ฆ่าดิจะเอาฆ่าเฮ้ยไลออดฮัลโหลไลออดโอ้ my god ไลออด
Just a great brute force at the end from Chovy, grabbing those kills, using the power of the Ziggs to end.
Backdoor protection แม่งเจอระเบิดซิก
The backdoor bonus, and I think ultimately Genji knew that win condition at the end of that game. There were some struggles, there were some tough fights.
ดูพี่หวังนะพี่
Ash not having flash, we saw that brute.
เนี่ยพอพี่ยิ้มตอนเนี้ยเราก็จะหาว่าแบบพี่ไอ้นี่
And that was the end of the match. I think it's a bit unfortunate for DNS who put up a good fight.
They really
in that
did.
Mid-game. And Genji, you know, it's not a return to form, but it shows they still have some of that team fight excellence in them. but this is still a struggle for them. This is still a hard-fought game to get this singular game victory in this series. You can see from the goal graph, it was kind of all over the place. Willa with 48,000 damage.
ยังไม่พูดอะไรที่หลอดตัว
he built some good
ปรบ
items.
มือประชดประชันนะ
But you can see the goal graph is not GENG-esque. That's not what it's supposed to look like. The majority of the time, certainly a lot more
คือตอนนี้มึงไม่ได้ดูเกมละ
expected.
มึงมาดูพี่
Doing so
รี
much
แอค
damage,
เนี่ย
though, as you were saying,
มันไม่
I
ใช่
feel
เว้ย
like
ที่
these
ต้อง
damage
ต้องลองไป
numbers
ที่
are
แบบ
so
สำนัก
inflated
งาน
because
คุ้มครอง
Pure
สตรีมเมอร์ละ
so much damage.
Yeah.
It really was
Where's
impressive
the
what they were
damage
able to
peak
do.
graph, you know?
That's what I'm saying. We should probably be able to see it. Maybe the healing and shielding one as well for Quantum. But now DNS able to go back to the drawing board here as it is a best of 3. We're going to take a short break. When we get back to space, we'll be breaking down that game number 1. Then we'll have the second one for you. We'll see you soon.
จบนะจบนะคราวนี้ของจริงแล้วจบนะอันนี้ไม่มีการอะไรอีกแล้วนะ มันจบแล้วนะอันเนี้ยทั้งเซตนะอันเนี้ย
ทำไมแชทต้องรอพี่กิ๊ฟด้วยพี่กิ๊ฟก็เป็นคนเหมือนกันนะเว้ยแชทมีรักโลภโกรธหลงพอทีมที่ไม่ชอบชนะก็โมโหเป็นธรรมดา
ผมไม่รู้ผมพูดถึงเรื่องอะไร ผมใส่หมวกเสื้อครบหมดแล้ว
เมื่อพี่น้องๆในสมาคมคนเชียร์เจงแห่งประเทศไทยไม่ชอบนะครับที่ตบมือแบบไม่เต็มใจแสดงให้ถึงว่าไม่ได้เชียร์จริงๆแล้วมาแอบอ้างเพื่อจะเรียกยอดโดจากแฟนเจง
มาไอเนวี่มึงมานั่งนะแล้วมึงตบมือให้แบบเต็มใจหน่อยเป็นไงเต็มใจไหมอันนี้แบบที่1นะอย่างงี้ตบอย่างงี้แบบที่2แบบที่3แบบไหนเต็มใจเสียใจว่ะพี่เฮ้ยผมใส่หมวกกับใส่เสื้อแล้วคุณยังผมทำอะไรผิดอีกเนี่ยผมเต็มที่แล้วนะเนี่ยผมเต็มที่ละ
ประชดหมดครับแบบนี้ตีเจแฟนเจงครับจริงครับพวกคนที่คอยจับตาสตรีมเมอร์ว่ามีรอยยิ้มสตรีมเมอร์ก็มีรักโลภ
ดีขึ้นไหม
และเจง
เห็นไหมดีขึ้นนิด
เขาไม่เคยเชียร์ทีมทีหนึ่งอะไรนั่นเลยนะเว้ย
แสดงมากพี่
เครื่องหมายสี่เหลี่ยมคนหลอกลวงเครื่องหมาย
เฮ้ยคุณอะไรกันเนี่ย
เจงเล่นเหมือนไม่ได้เอาฟอร์มกลับมาจากเฟิร์สสแตนส่วนทีหนึ่งไม่ขอพูดถึงเฟิร์สสแตน
เนี่ยผมไม่ได้ทำอะไรผมอยู่เฉยๆเนี่ยผมก็โดนที1เนี่ยมันไม่ใช่เว้ยไม่ใช่แล้วเราต้องจับมือกันดีวะ
ขอให้เจงแพ้ตาหน้าพี่กิฟจะได้ยิ้มได้เต็มปาก
ความตั้งใจ100ความเต็มใจ0คือยังไงตอนนี้พี่ต้องสักหน้าเป็นรูปแบบเจนจีด้วยไหมหรือทาหน้าเหลืองไหม
ตอนที่พี่ทาหน้าแดง
The
ที
DN
หนึ่ง
Automotive
กิโลค
Supers
รับ
didn't make it easy. They did battle back and figured out how to use the composition correctly, but in one of the key fights there at the end, weren't able to get it over the line.
น่าสนใจ
Here
พี่
alongside Wolf and Valdez.
ตอนแพ้เยอะบอก
โอ้โหทำไมเป็นคนขี้ประชดอะ
Yeah, we're gonna start this one in the draft. Some early picks, the Ash Seraphine that we've, gotten used to here.
ลินเข้าใจพี่กินนะคะ แต่ถ้ามันไม่รักก็ปล่อยมันไปเถอะค่ะคนเรามันรักได้เกลียดได้ไม่ว่าเว้ย
เฮ้ยเมื่อนี้เหนื่อยเนอะพี่ต้องฝืนดูอะไรที่ไม่ชอบ
here where the Seraphine's going to get her ults extended by the Xinjiao. Xinjiao works incredibly well with Ash, but buy time to front to back.
ผมหัวเราะไปเรื่อยเลยผมนึกถึงเรื่องตลกสามชาติ ผมหัวเราะอะไรก็ไม่รู้ครับเมื่อกี้
Before it got banned in the second phase here, that did a lot of work in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Nautilus is nowadays we see it prioed very heavily. We see a lot of bans on it, a lot of picks on it recently when they can get their hands on it, but it doesn't have a very high win rate. So pretty interesting, but we got to see it also picked into Caitlyn Karma yesterday and now today against Ash Seraphine. So it was kind of cool that we got to see it once again in the hands of Duro this time and really just witness how this pick is able to take over games even in rough game lane states.
Yeah, there's a lot of these enchanters that lose to the engage meta, right? And so Nautilus going up hasn't been piloted as well yet, though. When we start early on, that Nautilus.
Oh, this is a really good angle here for Canyon's able to avoid the vision, goes over the wall here, avoids Scuttle.
He
comes down here. This is him and the Nautilus together being such a huge threat to get the flash out of Duck Dom, and then Quantum is turned on to here as well, which means that he also will subsequently have to flash. Now, neither of these bottom laners have their flashes for the upcoming objective fight.
And yet, Hex Flash on Nautilus, really good for setting up plays, and out of vision, excellently done by Duro. Pyosik feels safe, but his bottom lane has no summoners. Also, Chovy comes over here first, so GENG was kind of on the ball. They proactively looked for this pick on a Pyosik, and it just felt like DNS were a little bit too aggressively postured there, and that nets GENG an early kill.
This was a really strong early game skirmish for GENG, right? And you know, these are the types of calls that we haven't necessarily seen from them. They also get the punish here on a Quantum as Flashless following this one up with, again, Duro's Nautilus being a big key part of this. But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me in the early game for GENG was this is where they seem to struggle the most, around these early dragons where they're a little bit lazy with how they set up, or sometimes they go in a little bit too deep. But this time, they got sums early, made that gank happen, turned that into a larger win on that first objective fight.
Yeah, on Saturday Showdown, Hanwha Life Esports against GENG last week, we talked about how Hanwha Life Esports, they've been punishing getting those massive leads. GENG has been the opposite. If they have a lead at 15, they get the win, but they didn't always have a lead at 15. So you see
ไปกินข้าวมาพี่กลับมาพร้อมพร้อมขนาดนี้เลยเหรอ
Here's some of the
ไม่ได้ผม
not so good.
เข้าตาหลิวต้องหลิวตาตาม
Start a fight that they want to get into, but this was them not being on the same page, and Pyosik and the rest of the supers
ผมมี
punished.
คำถามถ้าทีหนึ่งกับเต็งตกน้ำพี่ช่วยได้คนเดียวพี่จะช่วยใคร
ไม่ช่วยเลยไม่ช่วย ไม่รู้จักไม่ใช่พ่อใช่แม่ด้วยไม่ช่วยใครสักคนเลยพี่อยู่ของพี่เฉย
Canyon goes in, and then Key is also trying to get into the thick of things at the same time. And yeah, that's a Crescent Guard. Going to buy some space here, and then the rest of the fight is just kind of a wash. Ruler can't offer the same amount of consistent damage as the Ash Count on the other side because he zigs, and he can't go deeper. He's on the outside of the wall, so why not just look for the Smite Steal, see if you get it, and get out with 4 Barons, or just go, well, unlucky, and walk away. Instead, they lose the Baron and give over a ton of gold. That swing almost got DNS back into the game. So we got to see GENG tighten up a lot of this kind of play.
ผมว่า
This feels like GENG
ที่ช่วย
is,
สุด
it felt like a little bit disrespectful. Like a lot of their fights leading up to this Baron were very close, and they're like, well, we
Holy
can start
shit.
the Baron, and it should be okay. We're GENG, we're just going to take it down. But DNS called their bluff, and I think GENG really need to tighten things up. I do agree.
Yeah, couple of questions for you here, Wolf. Just for the supers, right? Because they are underdogs here. This is a mid-table team in GENG that is great, and we expect them to be higher at the top, with the supers still trying to figure it out. Quantum and Pyosik. Let's start with Pyosik because he's been so solid, but hasn't been able to translate these good plays into wins here.
I've been really loving Pyosik's play this season, and I know that he hasn't found a ton of success. He's on a weaker team here, but his lanes aren't doing as well as they need to. We saw an amazing performance from Dudu, for example, this game, and Pyosik, wasn't able to play through that lane necessarily, but Dudu did great in the early game in a tough matchup into the Gnar, didn't fall behind, in fact, had a gold lead for a while. I think if Pyosik is given opportunities and lanes to play through, he does well. And I think that's why they keep putting Quantum on the Seraphine, so you can get the Ashe Seraphine Prio in the bottom lane. It's just not working though, right? The Canyon gank was very successful. They lost their flashes, and it's just moments like that where you could see the strategy for DNS and what they're trying to do with Quantum here, but the execution is just a little bit missing.
Yeah, Valdez, 3 different supports here for the Supers so far this year. What do
ใช่
you
ไหม
want
ลิ
to
ฟ
see
นาน
out
ใช่ไหม
of
พี่เจ
Quantum that would give you the go-ahead to use him full-time?
Well, I feel like a lot of our younger players that come up from challengers, they just get caught in places where a lot of our other LCK mainstays do not. Like just little mistakes where they're just a little bit too far forward, and it might look like it's a small thing, but when it happens very
แต่
consistently,
ยังไม่กินพี่
they just got to play cleaner League of Legends. They have to position a little bit more smartly, and a lot of these new guys are not. I understand why Quantum comes in. Especially with some of the older guys not really performing too well.
เอาไปกินหน้าเป็นเสือ
being a
ครับ
little bit lazy nowadays, but yeah, Quantum has to step it up
อ๋อ
as
หมด
well.
ทุก
The Supers hung in there for a little bit
อันนี้
longer,
ของน้องเหรอ
but ultimately fell. Let's see what
Oh,
happens here
really?
in game number 2 as we send it on over to Jatless and Jox.
Thank you very much, Gigon and Jaldez and Julf.
Julf is pretty good.
Julf is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Gigon is also pretty good.
Gigon's pretty great.
He sounds a little bit like he owns a studio that helps, that promotes K-pop artists. Oh wait, no, that's G-Dragon. That's a different one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good
along the same line.
I have a very large Dijon mustard. which is not spelled correctly. That's why I didn't say it correctly on the screen. I'm glad that we got to read that one out. And now I'm also glad that we are in Champion Select.
We're just straying further from the light.
We really are. It's not quite working
ใส่
out
ใส่
here.
ทีมเจ
All
น
right,
จี
let's
แต่
see
กลาง
what
ใจ
Ben's
ทีม
going to
อี
be
กทีม
coming
ก็
on
ไม่
through
ไหว
here
นะ
for the second game of the series. Brad going to be taken away.
Yep. Once again, leading with that first ban of the Brad. It's second pick again for GENG. I think honestly, DN Supers had a lot of strength. The first three, the Ash, Seraphine, Zinzao, really strong, and there was a lot of good moments for them in that game. But it's just that missing that extra percent that would have taken them to the finish.
Yeah.
And GENG having the decisive team fight to close it out. I think once again, kind of similar to our first series, which had a close game one, and it can sometimes be hard when you have a close game one.
หมาผมเกมที่สองครับผม เฮ้ยพี่ว่าแผนของเจนจีตอนนี้ใช้ได้ผลนะให้ดูโลเล่นซัพพอร์ตที่สบายใจ
Obviously, with it being fearless, you don't really get to adopt any of the picks
Seem to
from
be
the
work.
series from the game before. Sorry, but
I think the playstyle can always be brought forward.
Yeah. They had some good ideas, so we'll see what they can do with that. Rise going to get banned away by the DN Supers here. Oriana taken out as well.
Nocturne is kind of the big one, and Varus.
Yeah,
Varus available.
Being there. Possibility of a flex. We saw this played in the previous series as a flex, so something that Keen has to look out for and be aware of.
I'm not sure about how Keen,
พี่เก๋สวัสดีครับ
how good he is on the Anivia top, because what I think Keen would like to go towards is something like an Aurora top that he has been very good at in the past, and surprisingly, he's liked to play the Rise as well. But Yunara Lulu just going to be locked in here for Ruler and Duro, and that is a pretty powerful pairing already picked up. It's a lot of P's that I used there. I apologize for the alliteration.
It's strong for the late game, but for me, I'm kind of thinking, do you just put the Varus bot lane then and just really punish this in the 2v2?
Yeah, could be an option.
You know, I'm thinking stuff like Varus Nico has the potential to really bully this out. But for now, they're going to go for the Rise group special, the Wukong Annie, which last year kind of ran. I mean, honestly, it was running the Rise group, but it was also great in the Legend group. That pairing, really strong, great engage when you're playing into a Yunara, but the Maokai comes through for GENG, which in terms of controlling the pace of the game, denying some of these engage picks, but also having engaged itself when you have a Lulu, it kind of ticks a lot of boxes for GENG.
Wukong is kind of good into it though, because you get to just put up a decoy and then avoid the ultimate, but there are certainly some options here for the Maokai composition, because now Chovy could play Yone. He could play all sorts of crazy things in that mid lane, because there will be some extra magic damage coming out of the jungle, assuming that's where the Maokai is going.
Yeah.
Unless it's what Keen has cooked up as his answer to the Varus, but I'm not sure whether that's a thing.
That sounds painfully miserable.
Yeah. Archers generally shoot trees when they're practicing. And so I would imagine
But the tree tends to be fine afterward.
Oh, that's a good point. But he does have a lot of arrows in him.
Yeah.
And the tree doesn't generally do anything back at the archer.
No.
So maybe that's the problem. The Nico is going to be banned away as well as the Nami. So that is going to shore up some potential bottom lanes. Away and Jace to be removed.
วารัสวูคองเจอเมาไค
I kind of like both of these bans from DN Supers. You know, the Jace I was thinking might come out as, you know, that strong range pick.
Slat.
You know, Keen can play
Slat.
also with
ไม่
the
น่าได้เนอะ
prospect of maybe being into the Varus. The Hui did get buffed. But we're still seeing it trying to play beforehand. You have to lock down the Maokai, and you just land all your abilities. It's pretty strong.
เฮ้ยยังไม่มีใครโดนเฟเกอร์กับโอเนอร์ว่ะ เชี่ยอยากรู้ว่าใครจะโดนวะ คือตอนนี้ใครซับอ่ะมันจะมีโอกาสออกเป็นเทเลส่วนใหญ่แล้วก็เป็นโอเนอร์แลส่วนเฟเกอร์โอเนอร์เวลี่แลเฟเกอร์คือแลโอเนอร์คืออย่างดัง
Lucian gonna come through.
Fake fan Gen G.
A lot of value into the Maokai here. Honestly,
อุ้ย
in
ลูเซน
general,
กับมิลิโอไม่ชอบ
playing into the Maokai, you have the AoE cleanse, which can just render the ult useless.
เจนจีครับเรียนรู้จากเมื่อวานนะผมเลือกอากาลิโดยที่มีลูลูอยู่ฝั่งตัวเองแล้ว
I feel like that ability when you get hit by it, the hang
นาฟิลี่ท็อปครับผมเจอเคาน์เตอร์พิกจากคีน
We
เนี่ย
did see this top lane into Varus specifically.
นาฟิลี่เคาน์เตอร์วารัสแบบช่ำ
in team fights and kind of won.
Yeah.
I believe it was Perfect who played it.
I think so, yeah. I can't exactly remember off the top of my head who played it, but I do remember it having a horrible time in lane and then actually being okay after that.
Yeah, it was perfect. He played it. So
there you go.
Yeah, a lot of kill threat, and if you have Maokai, Neferi, they are both point and click. You know, if you get in range as a Maokai, but the range of the Neferi is insane. So there's a lot of targets that they can just kind of decide we're going to kill. I think a lot of backline threat from both teams, ultimately. This is going to be an explosive game. I think very momentum-based.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of champions where you can see them being completely useless or unstoppable.
I mean, that's Neferi in general. That's just how she works.
But, you know, Akali, Lucian, a lot of picks where I think really feast the famine. So early game should have a lot of impact. But we've seen, again, sometimes, you know, early game goes amiss with some of these picks, and then someone oversteps and you just one-shot them.
I have to say, I think that these drafts are a lot more fun than what we saw in game number 1 and could be pretty explosive as we get towards the mid-game. Let's see how it goes. All right, DN Supers fans in full voice here today. And let's just see whether they're going to be rewarded for their faith after this one. I do like the keep it simple style of composition that they have. There's a lot of
keep it simple style. I like
it is it's
หมวกร้อน
still the KISS strategy, except it's just a little
อากาศมันร้อนหมวก
Yeah, a little nicer.
Yeah. They're not able to kill the ward either. This is
อยู่นี่
absolutely massive. As Chovy going to get stunned as he walks towards the minions. Kind of frustrating, but he still manages to get them.
One thing you do have to be cautious about in this 2v2 bot lane is, I mean, we've hit this so many times to Inara, but if she gets wave access...
เฮ้ยนี่เป็นครั้งแรกเลยปะที่เราได้เห็นนาฟิลี่เจอกับวาลัสท็อปเลนเมื่อคนบาปต้องเจอกับแอนตี้คนบาปเว้ยนาฟิลี่นี่ตัวแบบจัดการเลย
So if you go in for a trade, you use everything, and Inara has the passive stacked up. Even if you win the initial trade, she can just run you down. You have to be really cautious about that. We didn't get to see what happened bot lane. I assume they didn't. They weren't cautious about
Perfect
that.
เล่นก่อนเหรอเฮ้ย
แต่
จำไม่ได้หรอ
ก็ได้นะพี่ไม่ต้องแกล้งว่า
also
ร้อน
just
หรอ
kind of pressed barrier for fun.
It was a zoning barrier.
Yeah, the good old zoning barrier. It is a powerful thing. Zoning Slurkle comes through there as well as Doctorm has his health bar halved.
Perfect เป็นเล่นตอนไหนวะเฮ้ยจริงเหรอ Perfect เล่นตอนพี่ไม่อยู่เหรอ
You know, you sort of burn that cooldown.
Perfect
I think a lot of people expect Lucian to be like crushing lane, but
เล่นตอน LCK ครับปะ
This is why I think Lucian has struggled sometimes in pro.
ไม่เห็นเลย
There's definitely a level of execution.
อ๋อเล่นวัน
I also think that
วีคที่ผ่านมาที่พี่ไปญี่ปุ่น
as well. It's just kind of awkward as Keen possibly going for an all-in against Dudu here.
อุ้ยไปแล้ว
Barrier available. The flash out of the way and Dudu outplays it.
เชื่อเฮ้ยตายได้ไงวะ
Kids are angry, but Dudu stands tall. And
เอาอีกแรงมันด้วยโอ้ยตายได้ไงวะนะ
You know, there's so much damage from an Neferi with Ignite, but the barrier coming in clutch from Dudu. Typically, we see exhaust on Vara's top, but I think barrier, clearly the play here, ends up finding that 1v1 advantage. Didn't even burn flash for that. So, you know, I think Keen might be going down the perfect line of hoping that a bad early game is going to be saved by a strong late game.
Let me go back to some outcome-focused assessment for you, though, Orcs. What was the outcome of that Neferi game?
Did win. Yeah.
So there we go. I rest my case as Canyon looking to try and even things up here as the bottom lane is under fire. Ruler is on 200 health though as Quantum could be in some trouble.
เฮ้ยมาว่ะ
Flash in
เฮ้ย
and
ได้
do
ข้างล่างเลย
manage to take down the Melio very comfortably. And the tree will just wander his way out. Flash had to be expended there by the jungler, but both bottom laners held onto theirs, and that is very, very strong for GENG.
Yeah, I honestly think not the worst for DN Supers, considering
โอ้ข้างบนเมื่อกี้แม่งสู้กันแบบบ้าข้างจริงว่ะดูกล้าเล่นได้ยังไงวะ
barriers early
อยากฆ่าผมเหรอครับ
landing everything
อย่างนี้นะครับพ่อ
he saw the angle went in aggressively and
พ
it
ระ
was
เจ้า
really managed to
โค
survive
ตรแบบ
Lived on 18 health. The lowest
ยิ่งกว่าเศษเลือด
out on 18
จะหลบไปยิ้มทำไมพี่ยิ้มเลยแคทดูก็รู้อยู่แล้วพี่ไม่ต้องเก็บอาการหรอกพี่
With how low their health was, I was really concerned they would both die.
พี่เอี้ยวตัวไปอ่านแชทครับเมื่อกี้ข้างบนต้องถอยละดูเลยระเบิดวะอันจริงไม่ค่อยดีนะ
I think bot lane didn't go as bad as it could have. Top lane though.
ไม่ได้กลับเหรอครับ
Keen hits a couple of Qs in a row and suddenly Dudu has to back off. The threat of
ถ้าสมมติว่ายังไม่หนักหนามากพี่ว่า
kind of going back in return despite
กูคงก็ได้ฟาร์มไปก่อนเอา6ก่อน
Still he's 300 gold in the lead, but he even managed to go back and
ไม่แฟดด้วยแต่กี้จริงๆแล้วก็
I guess hit by a few
ไม่ต้องแฟด
too
ก็ได้
many Qs.
ลุ้นเอาว่าทริอัมเด้งทันไหม
Gameplay loop
แต่ว่าเดี๋ยวนี้วารัสเขาเอาเป็นรูลิตอลกันแล้วนะ
Don't get hit by Qs.
พี่เห็นตั้งแต่แบบเมนวารัสท็อป
That's it.
if you get hit by 1 Q
คือมันจะมีเมนวารัสท็อปกับเมนเวนท็อปคนละคนกันแล้วเมนวารัสตอนเนี้ยไม่ใช่ตอนเนี้ยสักพักแล้วอะเขาเปลี่ยนมาใช้เป็นลีตอลแล้วแต่ว่าบิวมันจะไม่ใช่บิวแบบที่เราเข้าใจพี่ไม่เข้าใจบิวนะบิวก็เป็นบิวแบบเหมือนออนฮิตหน่อย
you know you have
เหมือนเล่น on hit อะ
your own ult but obviously the Neferi has
เหมือนยิงรัว
a nice shield just to stop the
ๆเดี๋ยวขอเช็คก่อนเพราะว่าพี่ไม่ได้ดูนานละ เพราะว่า
Jovi going in. Tibbers is blocking a whole bunch of buttons
all
though.
in.
Jovi just presses the next ulti button.
a good Tibbers to block the shuriken
Yeah,
from
gorgeously
Closer.
done. And now Jovi could be in
They
a
do
little
that.
bit of trouble here as Closer has flash. Tibbers gets angry, but that's just 50 gold to Jovi.
Yeah. So the Tibbers initially blocked the shuriken
เฮ้ย
was
แต่
pretty
จำไม่ได้ว่า
crazy
เขาเป็น
from Closer. Nice read there.
The doggos.
Level 6 now hit by Keen. He immediately walks up.
Yep. And Dudu also immediately walks out. I don't think he's going to stay here for much longer as there's the ulti actually. Keen
เรียบร้อย
really
ตาย
going
ดู
aggressive, gets the barrier out, and is just going to call the pack together once again.
นี่
As man, it is so nice having little doggos to help your last hit as well.
Yep.
As they don't manage to get that one, or at least I don't think
เอา
so.
ละ
That's level 6 for Dudu though. Did burn the barrier there.
วัด
in
เนี่ย
that
เขาจะเป็นแบบรูลิตอลแล้วเล่นเป็นแบบกุนซูเอ็กซ์เพร์ลิเมนทัล
I think it's all about whether it has W available for when
Yeah,
those chains
Kunzu
of growth come on
experimental.
down. As Doctor dashes in once again. That was part of what was buffed for Lucian on this patch.
ออกกุนซูแล้วก็
Once again, his
Hexpage
Relentless Pursuit goes to
แล้วก็
zero mana.
Terminus
I don't know whether that matters at all, because you do quite like building Essence Reaver.
It did go to 0 mana before. No,
เหมือนเป็น
I think
AD
what the
top
change
อีกตัว
was it's just less mana early.
I mean, that too.
จะดูว่าเขาออกของไงครับ แต่พี่คิดว่าเขาน่าจะออกเป็น Hex Plate ก่อน
It had been a while.
เป็นแบบเบสิกไอเทมที่แบบมี1ชิ้นก็เก่งได้
No, it was 40.
แต่ถ้าเป็นกุนซูมันจะเป็นเชิงแบบ
Oh, was it still
Now it's-
zero
ถ้า
mana?
ได้ตี
Yeah, now
ป้อม
it's
ก็คือ
32
มันเลย
1 and 0 max rank. And it's 2 seconds less at rank 1. I think the reason that's big is a lot of people had started going.
ก็ต้องรีบซื้อธนูแล้วก็ซื้อตาเวทพอรวมกันแล้วก็จะกลายเป็นกุนซู
People had
เป็นไง
moved
มุ
to
กนี้
W max second, so they've made Pursuit a lot more powerful with just
ฮา
1
อยู่
point
ฮา
net.
อยู่
So I mean, even before you were keeping 1 point net for a while. Now there's even more reason to. So it's a big power boost. You have more mana early. You have more dashes early, and this carries through to quite a late stage in the game. But yeah, a lot of people will go in the
แต่ว่าวารัสความโกงมันคือซื้อเลือดไงแต่ว่านี่ไม่ได้ซื้อเลือดเลยนะ
Ardent Blaze.
Chains of Corruption, decent answer there to Keen, who does press W eventually, and there is the Ignite
ยิง
going
ดุจริง
down.
ว่ะ
And Dudu dealing with the bleed
หมา
and
ดุ
Ignite means that he just loses out on
Fat
the
Q ได้
trade.
ปะ
Still keeps himself
Q Fat
alive, holds onto the flash. That is a big deal.
มาแล้ววูคองมาแกงละ
Keen starting to
Keen
run away
ต้อง
with
ถอย
this.
ว่ะ
However, Pureshik in the area.
แต่ว่า
Chovy
โชวี่ก็มาเหมือนกัน
rotating
โชวี่
up
จะ
as
มา
well.
ฆ่าแล้ว
Chovy too. As Pureshik just
ตาย
doesn't have vision
เจอโชวี่
on
โซโล
where
คิ
he
ว
is. Oh dear. Chovy just going to walk in and see whether he can kill Dudu. Flash up and available here. And
Wait.
he will just wander out of the way. Still, Flash has to be used.
อุ้ยดู
Yeah,
มัน
I mean, Flash
ดู
used,
มัน
but
ทำไม
the
มัน
fact
โหด
he
จังวะ
didn't die there on that low HP, I was assuming it was just a guaranteed.
อาจจะได้เห็น
I
เป็น
think
แบบ
Dudu also played the
ถ้า
1v1
คีนแบบออก
well
จากเจน
because
จีได้เห็นดูดู
basically
ไหม
the
เนี่ย
timing when you
เจน
wanna ult the
เจนจี
Neferi
ดูดู
is when
แต่อายุ
she
ประมาณ
channels
อายุ
her
ดูดูก็
ult
เยอะ
on
ละ
you,
Yep.
because then she's
คง
locked
น่า
in
จะ
the
ไม่
animation.
โหละล่าง
There are
โดนละ
cats here in this bottom lane. Quantum is very dead.
2-0 น้องเอาอะไรมาแบบตึงไม่มีความตึงเลย
They don't want to redive. His closer was rotating down and is unable to
ด้วย
actually
อายุ
affect the play.
25
Still, it will mean some grubs go over. But if at first you don't succeed or do succeed, just come and do it again.
สบาย
As Canyon will be connecting that twisted advance. And Dr. Flash or no is very dead.
Pureshik might have to leave.
Oh, that's so cute. Actually,
อายุห่างกัน
electing
แค่
not to
ปีเดีย
use
ว
it
เองนะ
until Chovy actually does come in and pressure him away.
Unfortunately, that's going
ใน
to
ประมาณ
be
พี่ว่า
for
24 นาทีจ
Gen G,
ริง
so
ๆอัน
they're
เนี้ย
winning on the top
24
side
นา
of
ที
the map in that regard, and they got a crushing play, but I feel like we haven't
คือ
seen
ยูนาร่า
Maokai
รวย
that
ครับ
much for a while, but this was just always textbook Maokai is
Yep.
the massive
Dive
ult on the
turrets.
bot lane, dive in turrets, and Quantum sacrifices himself to try and save his AD carry, but then his AD carry dies anyway. So pretty unfortunate in that regard. Not having the ult available for the Milio really make or break in that situation.
Yep. Keen now just farming with his Q here towards the top side, as we can see. Dudu back to lane.
แต่พี่เข้าใจแล้วว่าอ๋อคือพอเจอนาฟิลี่กดอันติเข้ามาก็คืออันติสวนไปเลยอย่ารอตอนที่มันบินมาให้ใช้ไปเลย
Yeah.
Quantum making his way back down as Dom. See whether he can actually stay alive here. As good fire kick there onto Ruler for the disengage. Does feel like the Yunara is still pretty happy in this lane.
Yeah, I think the Lucian's struggling right now. In a bit of a deficit. Being forced away there.
Yep, Chovy connects the backflip. That closer, I think he's going to be just fine. King gets the cannon and then looks for the ulti on Dudu. Does have barrier once again, but no flash up and available. And so that should mean a dead barrier. Presses W as King can. And Dudu actually playing it about as well as he possibly can here at the same time as Canyon. Oh, Bramble Smash, not quite enough. And Pyoshik is here to help them out. Oh, he blast coned without Canyon, or without Dudu. And Dudu is now going to have to deal with this kitty cat chasing after him. Never mind.
What is this?
It's still bad news, but he remains an unkilled Varus.
That was down to the wire. Multiple points. I was like, okay, he's dead. Okay, he's not. Okay, he's dead. Okay, he's alive.
I thought he was dead the whole time until he was alive.
Yeah, well...
เอาจริงเมื่อกี้ถ้าเกิดถือว่าฆ่าคีนด้วยนี่แม่งจะ
good attempt I think from GENG but the damage wasn't quite there. I think Keen that time Dudu was quite late with his ultimate and Keen didn't manage to avoid it still.
มันต้องจัดการวารัสวารัสเป็นตัวที่แบบปล่อยให้เล่นสบายไม่ได้เวมันยังมีความแบบปล่อยมันไปเดี๋ยวเราค่อยไปไล่ฆ่าก็ได้แต่วารัสมันคือแบบมันแรงมากอะแล้วมันมีซีซีด้วย
Yeah, already they've done their job. Ruler is ready to carry. Doesn't quite have item number 1 just yet, but we'll have it on this back. There is the Kraken Slayer, and 21 stacks left on that cull as well. So Dr. I think he might be able to complete Essence Reaver here, but that's Ardent Sensor as well. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, at least it isn't.
ถ้าโดมหมดสัญญาปีนี้พี่อยากได้ใครมาแทนระหว่างซุดกับคีน
Yeah.
เลือกได้เลยเหรอ
What was it 9 years ago?
คุณเลือกได้ใช่เหรอ
quite as broken as it used to be. As Dudu going for another aggressive move. Keen just bounces out of the way. Sometimes these all-ins aren't really working.
One of the things that's just crazy about
แต่พี่ฟังใครเดียวมาก็คือสุดคือน่าจะเป็นแรง1ท็อป1ท็อป2ของเซิร์ฟแบบของแข่งทีมแข่งท็อปเลนเกาหลีใครเดียวพูดเนี่ยขนาดบอกว่าคามีเรฟเฟอเรนซ์ด้วย
Very hard to punish the Neferi for overstepping.
Well, that is what Dudu is attempting to do right now. As his name is Do multiple times, so I mean he should be able to do it. If anyone can.
ก็ถ้าเกิดสมมติว่าแบบเป็นไปได้จะเลือกใครก็ต้องเลือกคนที่แบบท็อปของเซิร์ฟของทีมแข่งปะมันก็ต้องเลือกซูดอยู่แล้ว
Going to get started here by GENG, possibly by accident.
อายุไอนาก็ยังไปได้ต่ออุ้ยเช็คคอนเนคชั่นมาแล้วเหรอดูแม่งดีแต่ว่า DNS เล่นสูตรแบบแกงคิน2 เกมแล้วนะเลนล่างไม่ค่อยสบายเท่าไหร่เมื่อวานก่อนกูมาชีโชว์แล้วนะที่แบบไปอยู่แต่ข้างบนกันนะข้างล่างมันสู้ไม่ได้อะเป็นยังไงมีฟอร์จูนพัดลมนี่คือโคตรแรงและนี่ไม่เป็นแบบยูนาร่ากับลูลูด้วย
Does it matter?
Probably not.
Probably not. Bot lane is so far ahead.
He's 2 stacks away. So that's
เงิน AD คือห่างแบบโคตรไม่มีทางหัวสู้ได้ตอนนี้
In a game that's like had only 5 kills, it feels like that lane is
ตัวนี้คือ
entirely
ปั่นแล้วแบบ
that looked like Dudu one shot
หล
the
บทัน
turret that he did.
Doesn't get hit by the ult. I think Dudu just missed it. It wasn't even the W came out at the time. But then I guess he was low enough. Maybe if he ulted, if he didn't ult, he was like, I'm gonna die. But he still had flash. I don't know. It's hard to say. But ulting out of the tower
มีผลปะ
definitely did not keep
คีน
him
ที่ไม่ค่อย
alive.
รวยอ่ะ
No.
โชวี่จะจัดกับ
Might have just
น่าก
been
ลัวจัด
dead anyway, but that's fine. played it as best he could. Does have the Eclipse now complete. That is going to be a very good item, especially in the laning phase, if that is going to continue. Level 11 is now done, so has another rank in that ulti. And even on farm, 1.2k though, the lead for Dudu. But 2.2k is the lead for GENG. So that means that elsewhere, things are perhaps going wrong.
รวยจัดครับรูเลอร์อันนี้เงินดิฟ 3,000 นี่แม่งเลวร้ายมาก
Lucian will outscale.
You know what's actually
ลู
really
เซียนจะ
unfortunate as well?
ไม่มีประโยชน์เลย
So you know how you have a cashback?
Yeah.
So if you complete an item, so sometimes when people are on item
เลเวลห่างกัน1
ahead,
เลเวล
like
เงินห่างกัน
big
เกือบ
gold
3,000
discrepancies, they've completed the same number of items. That's not the case. The 80 carry, well, the bot lane quest completion gives you extra gold. So that could also explain a big gold gap. No, they both completed that.
Yeah.
So there's no, he's just that far ahead.
อุ้ยโอ้โหโชวี่แกเดินมาได้เฉยเลย
Certainly
เฮ้ย TP โคเซอร์ทำไมอะ
Teleport to come in. This is an odd one.
What?
Closer, although he was a player on
What is hap อุ้ยเหมือนตีสวยมากฟิลซิกปั่นอยู่อากาลิปั่นวิเชคอลชั่นเลือดรอดมาสวย
As Ruler will be taken down very low. They've got an extra 80 carry here with Dudu in the mix. As Shuriken backflip doesn't quite connect, but Chovy gets himself to safety. Keen finally makes his way in. As Tibbers was tanking up that turret, they will be able to eviscerate the minion wave. It's now Canyon finally moving on over.
No, he's doing Herald.
I think he just wants to do Herald. You're exactly right. As alright, Chovy can
you
find the angle? No ulti there. And that will just be GENG defending their
ไม่น่า
turret.
นะไม่น่าไปคอนเทสนะ
Supers wanting to stop
อุ๊ย
Canyon
แต่ว่า
from
ดู
just
นำ
taking
ทับว่ะ
Shelly for free.
Everyone's so low.
This is such a
ไม่ได้มันโลเกินเว้ย ต้องปล่อยเฮอร์ล
DNS are a little bit too scared to go for the Herald, but also GENG are kind of scared to step up. It's a very tense moment.
Yeah, Slurkle, fair bit of value there as Docdom dashes forward. Chovy gets into the mist. That is going to keep him alive. My goodness, that piercing arrow almost just kills him.
เพียร์ซิ่งแอโร่พร้อมกับกด W แรงมากแต่ไม่ตาย
Take a plate here in this top lane as well. The fact that GENG just got Rift Herald while that was all happening, that's the kind of weird part to me.
ก็พยายามแบบจะป้อมการถอนป้อมการให้ได้
But the culling is just aimed the wrong way.
โอ้ยิงแบบถึงตรงนี้เลยวะยิงไม่ยิงทะลุเข่าได้ยังไงวะนั่งงงมาก
That's right.
A lot of zoning abilities this game.
Yeah, I didn't see what he was supposed to be, but I'm not the pro player.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't understand.
ดูได้
I think that's probably what it is.
Power Spy ได้เคลียร์ไอเทมละ
Lucidity boots. Got the hell
โอ้
now done
ชิ้น
as
2
well.
เป็นไอ้นี่วะ
Docdom looking for rapid fire cannon second. But
เป็นไอ้
he's
ดัส
46
แอนดอน
CS behind. Still 2.5k behind. And yeah, Ruler's got 2 items done.
ฟิลซิก
Pyoshi could also be in a little bit of trouble here, but so could Duro.
เห็น
Finding
Chovy
himself
เห็น
in a very awkward position. There's the wild
ดูโล่
bird
ตาย
on
ไป
the
นะ
Chovy. 5-point strike lands. Where did the Lulu go?
วู้
That was a magic trick.
Wow.
Make the Lulu disappear. Yeah, it was a great wild growth there. And I was like, wow, actually, this might be...
มันแรงอะไรขนาดนั้นไอ้รองเท้าเวทอันนี้แม่งดีเกินไปป่ะวะ แม่งแรงเกินเว้ย
Duro used it on himself, I guess. As Chovy's going to be discovered by Tibbers.
I think he probably, with how quickly he got one shot, I think he was just dead.
Yeah,
I think he was just like still dead,
Yim.
just maybe a slight bit slower.
Yeah. All right, Canyon wanders up to this mid lane. Roller's still here. Does have a Lulu making her way back from the death chamber.
Okay, that's a lot of damage.
Be careful, yeah. Oh, Pyoshik also looking for an angle. Level 11, so an extra point in that Cyclone is pretty scary on this Wukong.
You know, GENG have gold lead, they have the 80 carry massively ahead, but it does feel like this mid game is just all DN supers.
Yeah, I think it's similar to game 1.
Yeah, a big aspect of the Lucian is just being able to control. I mean, we've seen this so much from Lucian not able to control the mid prior, but now...
Canyon
Yeah, pressing the ulti button as Ruler goes in.
เฮ้ย อันติเร็วไปนิดนึง
They take him out as Pyoshik goes aggressive,
Ruler
looking for Ruler. The flash out from
ตายว่ะเฮ้ยได้ชัดดาวว่ะดูสิได้ชัดดาว โคเซอร์
might be alright.
โอ้ยใช้ไม่โดน
Chovy finds the flank angle and the glitter lands connects. Docdom gets hit by the twisted advance and that barrier will not be saving him. Now
เรียบร้อย
Pyoshik able to use the warrior trickster in order to
เสีย
escape.
ป้อมกลางด้วย
But that is
เดี๋ยว
still
นะมัน
a
ตัน
big
ไม่โดนเหรอ
win
วะ
here for GENG.
That's how you can punish it, you know,
แล้ว
go
เขาบอก
in
เขา
with the
นวดกันอีกแล้ว
Maokai, and even with the ultimate from the Milio, just not really enough to get them to safety.
น่าจะใช้ไม่โดน
Chovy
แบบ
finding the solo kill on the flank as well, and now with Herald
ไม่โดนได้ไง
coming in,
งงมาก
this is GENG kind of regaining control.
Yeah.
punishing the overstep from the DN Supers.
And they should be able to drop down towards this dragon as well. And it's an Infernal Soul this game. That is a lot of power here for GENG. Double charge for Shelly. And a 2.7k gold lead will now
แล้ววารัสที่รวย
erupt.
จัดๆแต่ว่าทำอะไรไม่ได้เลย
Quantum
ช่วยอะไรไม่ได้
ulted a bit early here. Maybe was concerned he was going to die and needed the help first, but it meant they did get rooted for a moment. It still gives us tenacity afterwards.
โคเซอร์คือเดินมา
deal, but
มัน
Pioshik's chunked out, and with the Milio
ไอ้ไม่โดน
down, Lucian can't do that.
ไม่งั้นโดนอีกทีหนึ่งโชวี่ไม่ไล่ไม่ไหวแน่นอนอ่ะ
Yeah. Those just didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, the stun missed at the end as well, which is pretty unfortunate. I don't think it would have made a difference, to be honest. The Gunblade Akali, pretty fearsome if it gets on top of you.
3,000 แล้วตอนนี้เจนจีเงินนำ
สบาย
ๆครับน้อง
I guess that's what happens if you don't pull it off.
Yeah, that was a do-don't right there.
ไม่มีเซตอัพให้ก็ แรนดอม ใช้สกิล
Real fast.
แต่คูลดาวน์ไว้
Exactly.
Wallace.
Probably not in time to stop this dragon from going down. As Pioshik clearing out control vision around this Baron. I don't think GENG really need to worry about pulling off this Drake because that will go down very, very quickly. Closer here towards his top
จะ
side
คอ
looking
ส
for
ว่ะ
Chovy.
ดูโลมารอ
Let's
ละ
have the stun now put together.
ไม่น่านะอัน
As,
นี้
yep, just gets himself out of the way. Chovy deals with the wave, and Shroud is just pretty strong.
Yeah, hard solo laners to dive in general.
Yeah.
A lot of, either invisibility, untargetability, mobility.
อู้
Oh, Chovy does find the backflip. But
Okay.
thought maybe he'd go in.
เอ๊ะไม่กลับสักทีวารัส
Topside.
Yeah.
I think it kind of
ยกเลิก
makes sense
TP
when you
เมื่อ
are
กี้
behind
ได้
to
เพจนะครับ
put
แบบนี้
effort
คีน
to one side of the map. If you know you can't contest on even ground, and they are going to be able to defend this bot tier 2. So altogether, I think a decent play from the DN Supers.
A couple of plates do go over to Keen there, but he still doesn't have an advantage. Still 2-0 for Dudu. Playing it quite well. Keen with the teleport advantage right now, though. And we'll be able to go back and probably put together a Black Cleaver now.
I'm still a little bit extremely concerned about the bot lane situation.
A little bit extremely.
Yes.
Okay. I am too, but mainly just extremely.
Okay. Well,
because it's a Yunara.
Yeah, with a Lulu.
And it's Ruler.
With a big gold lead.
Yeah. Tough times. There's also a dash cannon now on Chovy. Kali probably didn't need more dashes, but she now has them.
มันจะแบกได้ไงว่าวารัส
He is also going to be very,
นึ
very
กไม่ออก
frightening. Currently with slight gold advantage, but I imagine the Akali is still going to be able to kill her mark if she wants to.
Does the Rocket Bell have like a full name? Because you know how it used to be like, what was like Hextech Proto Bell?
Yeah, does
now
it have like a number or
is it
serial
just
number
Rocket
thing
Belt
on it?
now?
I just call it dash cannon.
I mean, I know you do, but
yeah. Dudu is
ไปแล้วครับ
just
จู้
going to get shot with a sword, which is weird, and then just taken down. Keen going to be able to lock up that kill. Cyclone comes in from Pioshik.
แอนนี่มา
trying to
ว่ะ
lock this one up himself, but it's 1 versus
หมา
2.
ปั่น
And I don't know whether he has it. He might be able to kill Keen though, as Chovy just teleports out. Because there are a
โอ้
lot
โห
of
แล้วชวิน
bad
ปั๊บ
guys
มา
on
เอา
their way over,
บารอน
and they had Baron on the mind.
เชี่ย
that's a bit of prophecy.
โคตรแบบเด็กห้องคิง
And knowing that there's no ult charges for Pioshik left available to interrupt, they go straight to the Baron now. Wukong shouldn't get here in time, but they're going to try and do as much damage as possible.
Yep, Canyon threw out the ulti there just to make sure that is going to be Baron secured. Pretty late smite, but it doesn't matter because Pioshik was nowhere near. So GENG just need to try and get out.
มีทีพีจากดูดูแต่ว่าจะเอาจริงเหรอบูฮองไม่เป็นติ
The DN Supers looking to try and get on over here, but walking into the darkness is so hard. There is a bear to drop on top of Ruler though.
เฮ้ย
who does
ที
have
พี
just
มาดูดู
Drew behind him, and that was enough to
จะเล่น
make
เพลย์นี้ว่ะ
him brave. Still, Dudu gets in there
อัน
with
ตี
the
อยู่ไหน
teleport, chains of corruption
อันตีโดน
connects, and there is nothing left.
โอ้โหแม่งพุ่งมาแบบบ้าเลยตรงนี้หมามา1 ตัว ตายหมดแน่นอนครับตรงนี้ ซูเปอร์
5-point strike will do it. Finally, it's going to be enough to get him out of the way of the next one. But there goes Pioshik. It's a double kill for Canyon, and the last Q gets in there. That's the ace, and GENG. They were just using Ruler as bait.
It was pretty effective, I'll tell you that. This play on the bot side, I mean, playing Varus and Neferi is already a bit uncomfortable. Neferi Akali just so unfun.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, Pioshik comes in.
แม่งเอ้ยนาฟิลี่ทั้ง
and then
นาฟิลี่
commits the
อากาลี
second
นะ
charge pretty early for the damage, and Chovy just goes, "Oh, you have nothing. I'm out." Immediately starts a TP. There's nothing the Wukong can do, and he's not in range in time. And then this play, you know, they're chasing into, look, the sapling chunks out Dokdam as well. It's so hard to chase them
ทำไม
here.
หน้า
They
ตา
want to
ดู
wait
เศร้า
for the
เศร้า
Varus
ยิ้มแบบมี
backup.
ความสุขมากกว่านี้
But
ห
the
น่อยพี่
Neferi backup when everyone is so low HP is so much scarier. Like, they connect the ult, they get Ruler, but Ruler does a good amount of damage back, and then Neferi turns up, jumps in,
Neferi โคตรมัน
uses
อะ
a
เห็น
W,
อ
so
ย่าง
you
เงี้ย
can't get CC in return, and it's just free pickings from there.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do?
The reset as well.
Kind of obscene. And this is the thing, I mean, it's a multi-threat comp, and Ruler is the main character. He still has a 2.6k gold advantage. He does have shield bow now complete. I actually kind of like that.
บอกแล้วว่า24นาทีแบบชนะแน่นอนแบบดูดิ
Aggressive he's been playing. But
จริงเมื่อกี้มันควรจะจบบ้านได้เลยเว้ย
and then use that in order to force an overcommit from the DN Supers. And now they've got a minute left on this Baron. It's a 4,000 Red Bull Baron power play. As now there's an ulti under the turret. The
คาป้อมแล้วอะ
tandem with this Neferi is so scary.
ไม่ไหวแล้ว ลิงปั่นขัดยังไงก็ไม่ไหวบอกว่า24นาทีเป็นไงเป็นไงน้อง
Carefree, not worried about anything at all as Slurkle connects onto Dudu and now
พอพูดว่าหาว่าเจิมแต่บอกว่ามันเรื่องจริงเว้ย
throws the autos in. That's a really nice polymorph as well to make sure that Dudu couldn't do anything. And they are one Melio away from an ace and one Nexus away from a 2-0.
There's something about these
2-0
like ults with the Lulu, you know, like the Nocturne Lulu, the Neferi Lulu. It's
ขอเสื้อได้ยัง
so hard to deal with. And GENG, this series is a lot of back and forth, a lot of close scraps, but in the end, it's these decisive finishes that have kind of defined them.
Yep, in goes one more time. The Buzz getting low, but the Nexus even lower. And that is GENG locking down the 2-0 against the DN Supers. That is going to move them into third place here in the LCK as well from a tied fifth.
Yeah, so a big jump up the standings, and I think
งงว่ะ
it's still, you know.
ต้องรีบนิดนึงเพราะว่าเดี๋ยววันนี้มีนัดเล่นเกมครับ